welcome back to Métropole Grid. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. That's Nanako. She's asleep, so we have to be very, very quiet. We're good. It is April 9th, she's awake, 2024. Hopefully you're doing well. Yesterday was a pretty cool day. We had an eclipse here in Montreal. We were in the totality. I've never seen an eclipse, even a partial eclipse, but we were like in the spot where you could go outside and just watch. And while we were kind of far away from like the center line, we had totality for about 45 seconds. It was wild, just kind of really frightening. Like, it's something, I don't know, the idea of like a syzygy. I play a lot of Arkham Horror. There's a lot of cards that have that sort of idea on it. Like, you know, the sun disappears for a minute. That seems like kind of frightening. It's a ring in the sky. But then the other stuff gets really uncanny. Like, it just within a couple minutes drops to like night temperatures because the sun disappears. Apparently that's important. And then like it gets darker, but you still get like midday shadows because it happened at like 2 to 3. It was really, really cool. And then after that, we hung out. Mind you, we were at my sister's who lives down the street. She has like a rooftop patio, so we had a really nice view. And then we played Eclipse Second Dawn, the board game, which is a nice way to finish the Eclipse day. So it's been nice. It's been really nice. We played with Patrick too. He was out there. But let me catch up on chat. We've had a nice Netrunner weekend too. We had a circuit opener, our first circuit opener, I believe, this year at L'Abyss. Shout out to Oda Nuvo, Nick, for hosting it. We had 10 players come up, which was even like, it was slightly less than the GNK we had on a casual Tuesday night the day before. I know it can be difficult on the weekend sometimes, but shout out to all the players who came out. We even had a nice player who came to visit from the States who was up there for the Eclipse reasons. So really nice to see him. Play Ashnika, oh my god, Yeti's out there plugging Ashnico. I think it's hard to get people excited about a Hoshiko deck with like one new card from the new set. But Veronica's saying, hey Veronica, I got absolutely smashed at AMT last weekend. I got another tournament this Saturday. What should I play? What did you play the last one? So there's an AMT. It started at like 5 in the morning on Saturday. I actually haven't seen a lot of the results yet because I did not watch the thing. I had a thing on Saturday morning, so I didn't watch any of the stuff. There's probably like 20 players, I imagine. I wonder what the meta looks like. Like, it's a really interesting time right now because we're in this like weird mixture between people finding out the meta, keeping decks hidden, and then like showing up with AMT with, you know, some spicy stuff, some less spicy stuff. So we'll see how it is. Let me just catch my chat. Hi, Kitty. Hey, everyone. Hey, Changeling. How's it going? Aku, spring is rolling hard these days, isn't it? For me, it is. The allergies have started, so I'm a bit stuffed up, so apologies if I sound a bit strange. But spring is like, it's really nice. Yesterday, we were like with t-shirts outside. It was really quite nice until the sun disappeared. And then it was frightening. AMT had 31 players. Yo, let's go. That's huge. That's really nice. So not Chimera. Mind you, there's a Chimera tournament as well. The same day, it was like just after AMT ended, which is pretty hardcore. There's some players I know who played in both. So 31 players. Okay. First place, Jai. It's a new world. So that's just like Glacier, right? Ag Infusion Glacier. Like Sokka's playing, I think, an NPC. Yeah, it's Sokka's list. Cool. List is good. There's a couple new cards in here. Mind you, Charlotte Casador. Super, super important. There's Sokka. And then Tributary. A ban me please card, if you ask me. I think Tributary is so messed up. We'll talk about Tributary a bit later today because I played a Teia on the weekend and I think Tributary is something else. And then Tech Nico, which is basically this Ash Nico deck, which is just like good stuff Hoshiko with an Ash and Epilogue. The only new card from the set, which like is not a huge surprise because like there wasn't a lot of generalist Anarch stuff in the set. It was like mostly Sebastio support and connections. But yeah, I don't know if people are gonna be super excited to play this one. It was a weird thing too. Like we played an event on Sunday and there's like one player who was playing, you know, like good stuff Hoshiko. And like, obviously that deck rocks. And I'm playing Sebastio and I feel really bad because I think Sebastio's inherently not very good. But yeah, how often are you playing Ashen in this? I don't know how often you go through your deck. Hey, Devin, good day to you too. Good day, Bumblejay. How's it going? Carrie Potter, good afternoon. Waiting room. How you doing? I also missed, I think, Lucille's early message. During my part as Métropole Grid's most eager viewer to sneak in before the stream once again. Huge shout out to Lucille. We're going to actually have the reveal come a bit later, but Lucille put in a lot of work and now there's a really cool thing going on my Jinteki.net. I'll show you once we get to Jinteki.net, but thank you, Lucille, for all your work. I did both Norwich and London COs on the weekend. Yo! I played Ace of Cohort and Alarm Clock Lou. Oh, cool. Okay. Ace of Cohort, I think, is really fun. Sid7 posted the list. Mind you, I think Cohort is just such a fun card. We'll come back to this too, because again, we played a Teia on the weekend. But Cohort is just such a fun and flexible card. It allows you to get away with nonsense all the time. I think a lot of people are grinding a list like this, which is cool. It's on 14 influence. Funny enough, I brought 2 decks to the thing this weekend that had both 14 influence in it because I feel like I cannot figure out how to spend 15 influence most of the time. I don't know if we're getting to a point where each faction feels complete enough that influence spends are a bit more interesting and maybe a bit more, not necessary. It feels like that kind of we're sneaking into that. I think there's some holes definitely you need to fix. But this deck is a lot of fun. I don't know if you played exactly this one or not. Lou, like we've seen also, I think NetDad posted another version of the sort of like Lou always open imp engines. And this one, no new friends, Metropole's Owl Carver. Yo, C-Rose. Let's see how that goes. I'm pretty sure I saw it. But it basically just has some weird inclusions in it. It had like the artist, which like very suspicious include for like 5 influence or something. And then it also gave away the infinite engine, which I'd argue that there's a lot of decks, a lot of like matchups in which you don't have the infinite engine. And then you're playing Alarm Clock. And Alarm Clock was a card that was shouted out as something that can naturally go into a bunch of Lou decks, because just cracking HQ and getting your Knob Kree engine is probably worth 4 influence in the mid to late game. I think that's proving out to be true. I don't understand what the heck this is about. But that's like what it's coming down to. It's like you have 5 influence, you can afford to play this card, which this card's okay. I think in the write-up it shouted out that like this text gets used pretty consistently, which is not bad. Like I played the artist in a World Triari deck and it's okay. But I'm so surprised about that. Eric, how's it going? Hey, hi, hello. By the way, I made some Cohort Nuvem deck lists this weekend and it turned out fire. It's under Audacious Cohort to Netrunner to be. I'll check it out. Yeah, I like Cohort a lot. Special JNet tech for stream, just for stream. It's not exactly tech. It's just my JNet now actually works. How's it going, Salamir? How do I search this? Aki said Cohort Nuvem. Cohort Nuvem. I think we saw like some early Cohort Nuvem lists printed. Just cue this Lou deck into a triple hammer, double Archer Nuvem on JNet, rip me. Cobra, how's it going? I heard that as feedback too, that a player like showed up in an event playing this Lou deck, kind of figuring it out or something, and like their first matchup was like double hammer as Mare, and it's like, oh, okay. I'm imagining it as this one. Yeah, that can just get you, I think. There's a lot of ice that's really, really hard to deal with. You not played in the ag matchup, I'll tell you that. Oh, you played in the ag matchup. Oh, you play your like reset button? I guess you do. Hey, Phil, I put Ashen in all sorts of stuff and can never use it. Yes. I've played it in a couple decks. Like, okay, I'll come back to this Aku in 1 second. I think the decks that I've played Ashen in so far are the decks that like have a lot of draw. I think Hashiko could easily have a lot of draw. I'm not sure if that one does. But in the sort of decks where like, it's also interesting because you can play fast. Like you can actually play faster. You can discard cards and understand that you will Ashen them back, so it doesn't matter. Like this sort of, deck. Like this deck has 3 Onicom, 3 Diesel, 3 Stone Chips, not a lot of draw, 3 Onicom. Like you get through your deck. And I think this is the sort of deck where you can play it, arguably, but you have to kind of be ripping through stuff. And I think it changes how you play. Where like you understand you can just discard extra cards. Not that you should be scared of discarding extra cards end of turn, stuff like that. But I'm wondering if we're going to get to a meta where like playing Joyride and VRcation makes sense. Because like step 1 set up, step 2 Ashen, step 3 play the game. Like I don't know if we're there yet. Because it's still hard to tell on the corp side what you're up to. Or what you're up against. But I don't think I played a lot of long games this weekend when we played. Did not really enjoy the AMT, which is a shame. Hope the CO in Amsterdam goes better. Oh, in-person play, Veronica. I think it's very easy, even if like things don't go well. And like, I don't know exactly why you might not have had a great time at the AMT. I know I sometimes have experiences in online tournaments or in-person tournaments. Sometimes it's better than others. That's for sure. That's just kind of how it goes. But in-person tournaments, it's like very hard not to have a great time, I think. I went undefeated with my Ag Glacier deck, published it as Aladdin Ag. Oh, we're pulling up so many decks. Let's go. So I got a lot of boosted set. I'd love to check out your deck. Did I say Iswak? I never meant to say Iswak. I meant to say Teia. Did I say Iswak? I'm never going to play Iswak. Let's search Aladdin. Aladdin. How do you spell Aladdin? 2 Ds? Changeling, is it 2 Ds? Hold on. I got lost. 2 Ds. Let me catch up. My girlfriend says that you have the same vibe as City Planner plays. Big compliment. Oh, okay. I know who that is. I've seen a bit of City Planner plays. I think that's a compliment. They seem reasonable. I've watched their stuff and thought, like, I don't think this person is a massive shithead. So, like, well done, Andre. I claim my last place finished on the AMT, so feel free to look at those lists you want. Okay, thank you, Veronica. Meanwhile, I tried Cohort in Isowak and it was also fire, a garbage fire. I suspect the issue may have been the ID. I don't know what it's going to take for me to be excited about Isowak. And like, for what it's worth, there's been Isowak type IDs that have like done something similar. Like they have an ability that maybe fires once, but when it fires, it like has an impact on the whole game, right? So I don't know. This is like the closest to ISOAC, arguably. It's Harmony Medtech. And Harmony Medtech just means you score out on 6 points. It was also 40 deck minimum, which was much rarer back in the day. But that was the idea, is you played Harmony Medtech, you win on 6 points. Admittedly, the runner wins on 6 points too, but you could also play decks that had like Global Food Initiative, so it didn't matter. And this just doesn't spark joy. Like that's the point with ISOAC, is like ISOAC does not spark joy. Firstly, I don't understand, and this is something I've been thinking about, right? So I think there's some cards in the set too that like I struggle with a bit because I don't understand what's going on. So there's like the idea is when you have a player, you want to identify kind of what camp that player is in. Some players are there to compete. Some players are there for narrative. Some players are there to make like friends. Like there's a bunch of, camps, and nobody's individually in one camp. You're kind of in a bit. And I realize there's a lot of cards that I'm not getting like a good reaction to or reaction with when I play them because I don't fully understand what I'm meant to be doing. It's like a really interesting thing. Like Netrunner's really good at connecting ideas on cards to mechanics. So I understand when I'm playing something, what I'm doing. I do not understand what Harmony Medtech is doing. So I don't understand, like I don't have fun doing it. And it's the same issue too I have with Nuvem right now. And I think we're just like missing a Nuvem lore piece. Is Nuvem to me is not exciting because I do not know what I do when I'm playing this. Like I don't have an idea what I'm doing. And I did not think that I was like a very narrative heavy Netrunner player that really wanted narrative in my cards. But like I've been realizing there's a lot of cards that I just don't care about that like have bounced off of because I don't have a good understanding of what I am, like what is the thing that I'm meant to be doing. And I don't mean like gameplay wise. I mean like when I'm Nuvem, who am I? And I don't honestly know. I think you have good examples of other cards, but like it's so cool that even an ID that I don't like when I play Spark, I understand what I'm doing. I'm rezzing cards and selling stuff to runners so their money just depletes. Like I don't like Spark, but I have a good idea when I'm playing Spark what I'm up to. And I think Jadeki might have it worse. Like I understand who the ISWAC people are, but I don't think I have a good idea of how to connect this idea ability to what like the sort of, there's a word here that I'm definitely missing, but it promises something. And I don't know what the promise here is. It's strange. Hey, Gretel, good morning. How you doing? Welcome. So I got a lot of boost. Yeah, it did. It got a lot of good cards. There's a lot of cards that work well with this wagon set. There's a lot of ways to move and place advancements. I'm expecting the folks there to be awesome and cheer me up regardless of the games. I did enjoy it because I went to R1, Agenda Flood, R2 against this Mario, R3 lost on turn 8 to Regenesis. Yeah, that happens. Those are bad beats. Dropped before I went on tilt. It's good to understand when you can drop. Harmony Medtech, the only way you can get an on-time draw game. Yo, Alec, how's it going? Yeah, Harmony Medtech was weird. You actually could get a draw on time. Well, you can still get a draw on time, but there's ways to build board states where both players win, where like you're both on 6 points and then someone plays Employee Strike, or sorry, you're both on 6 points while someone has played Employee Strike. So your ID box is blank and then you play a current. So suddenly your ID box is unblanked and then both players are 6 points and both players win at the same time. I'm pretty sure there's probably a ruling somewhere. It's probably a UFAX, it's not updated, but there's like this really weird state. I think the word you might be looking for is ludonarrative, the marriage between narrative and gameplay. I'm missing another word, but ludonarrative is definitely the sort of idea, like the sort of ludonarrative. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing when I'm playing these IDs, right? Like for what it's worth, I don't have a good idea what I'm doing when I'm playing a Teia either, which is a bit of a bummer. And I feel like Jinteki IDs are kind of the worst with this. Is like, it's really hard to know what you're doing when you're playing Jinteki. Like I think Polano was kind of like doable, because it was about like, feeding, consumption. You consume, I get paid. That makes sense. But like, I can't think of a Jinteki identity. Like personal evolution, I think it's pretty easy for people to understand. Oh yeah, it's just like sharp things. That's okay. Right? Like I think people can get around that one. But like replicating perfection to me is just mechanical text. And there are IDs that are just mechanical text that I like. But yeah, somewhere in the middle. The word is diagenic. Yeah, diagenic is the idea of like what it means in space. In the game space. Or like in the lore space. Hey Chas, checked out your tier list earlier today. I was a bit surprised by the number of fringe binder cards. Do you know if it's weaker thematic cards a design goal, or is it just lack of playtesting? Chas, how's it going? I don't think it's a lack of playtesting. I think it's very important. So firstly, we put out our tier lists. The runner side went up on my channel just yesterday. Shout out to Jeff. The corp side went up on Jeff's channel last Friday. You can find the link. Mind you, I need to keep plugging this. Anytime a stream is over, I update all the links here. So anything that we reference you can find it there. It takes a lot of work to get it done. So hopefully you know it's there. But if you click on this or this, you'll get there. So I don't want to spoil the exact tier list. It's like one of the longest videos on the channel. I think it is the longest video on the channel, probably, not counting like live streams or events. Um, there are a lot of binder cards and weaker thematic cards. Do you think it's a design goal or lack of playtesting? I don't think it's a lack of playtesting. I think you need to make cards for a lot of different groups, right? So we have a bunch of cards that are in the binder category. For us, binder category is like, we're probably never going to play these unless something else comes out that really changes them. But very importantly, this is a competitive standard tier list. And we're very clear, like one of the cards that ends up in the binder, which arguably is not even a binder card, like it's seeing some amount of play and does cool stuff, is, what's it called? That box. What's the toolbox called? Oh man. What's that cool toolbox called? This one. Thought it was a Marvel Champions stream. Elwin, how's it going? Wait, I can't even remember the name of the box. Wizard Chest. Thank you, Eric. Oh my God. Says Wizard Chest. And I think Wizard Chest is actually like a really, really, really big standout card in this set because it's very cool. It's like a mixture of a card that I don't think is incredibly competitively viable because it has issues. I think there's some archetypes that can play it, but I think it's a sick card that a lot of people are going to have fun at on all tables, right? And I think that's a really big success, right? So if there's cards in the binder category, I don't think that's a bad thing. Specifically, it's important that there's cards that are not competitive that are a bit more exciting. What gets me is when there's cards that are like the worst of all. It's like, this is a card that is not thematically exciting. It's a card that is not mechanically that interesting. And I'd argue that it's not even great in just about any format it's playable in. Definitely not standard. Maybe it is in startup. It's hard for me to tell because I don't know about startup. This to me is the worst. This is what hurts me. It's like if this card didn't exist, and mind you, maybe things will change in the future. I think Cleaver not existing has an impact on this card. Maybe Cleaver won't be around forever. But to me, this is the one that gets me the most. And I don't understand why cards like this exactly exist. There's a lot of other card games where cards like this have a reason to exist because you have things like, you know, booster packs. So like you have formats in which this is a reasonable draft card. Maybe this is a draft card, as much as obviously NSG doesn't support draft as a format. But there's a lot of other games where you can get away with printing, for better or for worse, and I don't like booster pack models, middling cards because they're, you know, your C card in your draft deck, and it just is a role player of sorts. But this is the one that doesn't get me, that like gets me in a really strange spot. I think there's also something to be said about like Thunderbolt, and I think Thunderbolt's also this weird spot of like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not very cohesive what's in the rest of the set. Like Thunderbolt to me is also very strange, and I can't tell what happened here. I'm imagining it's something that's like not dissimilar to like Hyobu, which is just like, it's very hard to design. And I have like a lot of sympathy for that, or empathy, maybe I think is more accurate, where it's like really hard to design for HB and Jinteki, especially for HB, where like, if you want to push HB into a different direction, it's hard to give them a functional economic ability or non-economic ability without... It's just in the context of the HB card pool. It's hard to do something strange and then support it with economic options that aren't going to be busted in like PD or ASA. So we've seen things that go in different directions. And it's not the end of the line for Thunderbolt. Like I'd argue Thule when it came out was also kind of a dud. And over time, with more card pool and more, you know, all the years of experience, people found out Thule decks that are like functional competitively as much as they're an absolute grind. So this one to me, like also, I don't fully get it. It feels like this was some series of compromises, that this was the end solution, and it's okay. Some people might like this. Some people might think this is very exciting. I think a lot of people like AP or Destroyer. So I think to answer your comment, I don't think it's a lack of playtesting. I don't think there's a huge lack of weaker thematic cards in the set. I think the set actually is pretty good on theme. Mind you, this one is, I think, a thematic success for what it's worth. And I think also, like, once this theme was heavily locked in earlier, when we saw other stuff in, like, the Tomina initiative, like, maybe then making this text box was a struggle. Where it's like, we know what the theme is. It has to, there are arms dealers. How do we make an arms dealer ID that's fun? And I'm not saying that's impossible. For me, it's definitely not this ID. So I don't know. I don't think it's that. I don't think lack of playtesting is a thing. Some of the cards jump out more than others, but this set doesn't feel... The way that this set feels different than other sets is that this set has the highest concentration of weird edge cards that that explore potentially problematic design spaces. I think that's the one thing notable about this set. It doesn't do a great job signposting what it wants you to do compared to other sets. That's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing either. It's just a thing. And then it contains a lot of like the spicy cards. Like, to me, it's a really weird, and maybe this is something that was not seen originally, and maybe this is a result of like having to send things back to design and to iterate them. But to me, there's a really obvious division between Automata Initiative and Rebellion without rehearsal. Automata Initiative has all the fun, exciting stuff that lays the groundwork. It's like very straightforward. It signposts a lot. Here's Arasana support cards. Like here's Mercury and some bad criminal cards, right? Like it goes out of the way to do that. And then this is just like all the sharp stuff. Like all the sharp stuff. Like there's a bunch of cards in this set that I do not want to play because making my opponent lose 10 credits, I honestly don't want to do that. Like I'll feel bad doing that. Now it's up to you to not feel bad doing it. A lot of people won't, but I will feel bad doing that. And to me, it seems like maybe in the future, there needs to be a better division between that. Because it feels like Rebellion Without Rehearsal is like this weird pocket of all this strange stuff. And maybe it would be better to divide that. So it's not super hyper concentrated, because this is hyper concentrated weirdness. And that is the one thing that really strikes me about this set. We talked about recursion, right? Like every recursion card's in this part. I think there's like one in this, right? Like why did that happen? If you want to spread it out, I think people would be a less like knee-jerk reaction. Like I know I was when I first saw the set. Let me catch up on chat. I'm pretty far behind. I think Nuvem is doing land deals, that buying the buildings out from under the runner to build up power. Real estate moves quick, so they're happy to wreck things, move fast to get things done, hence expendable. Yeah, Chenchling, and I totally agree with you. That's what I get from it too. But like that describes every single Wayland ID. That describes every single Wayland ID. Like that describes Grendel. That describes Op. And Op is a much better at understanding who you are when you play the ID box because, you know, destroy yourself, push yourself forward. The earth is being extracted underneath you. You're on a boat. You cannot stand still because you destroy everything in your wake. Grendel, same idea. And mind you, Grendel is a bit on the nose too. It's not very good, but the same sort of idea. We're fracking. We're going to destroy the world. Why? For profit now. And sure, maybe being the 6th or 7th page in that book is difficult, but I do not feel strongly. I have a soft idea what's happening, but I don't have a strong idea. Catch a VOD tomorrow, have to run, have fun, rip cards more indie on Nuvem. It's worth it. Oh, for sure it is, Aku. Have a good day, huh? There's a level embodiment that's pretty easy to connect on the runner side that's just harder to make a corp do unless they're doing something really specific. Hey, Radish. Yeah, I think on the runner side it is a bit easier than the corp side, that's for sure. But I think that's one of my favorite things about this game, and it's something I kind of discount, is like how much, like, sweep. Simple card, not a lot of text. The more the runner consumes, the more you get paid. Beautiful. When you play this, you have an idea of what's going on. I really like it. And then there's cards that I think I struggle with because I don't fully understand why they're there, that they seem like mechanics forwards cards more than narrative forward cards. Like, I don't understand what Amani Sanai is about. Like, what the hell is Amani Sanai about? I think people in chat are going to give me a good explanation of what they think Samani does, and they're probably correct. But these are the sort of cards that I struggle to connect, like its mechanics text with its lore text. She is an educator of some sort, but I don't understand why there's a trace, and then based on the trace, something gets returned to hand. Like, that just doesn't connect with me. And there's a bunch of cards like this, you know, through FFG, through NSG. Of course, it's going to happen in any card game, because some cards are designed, you know, bottom up or top down based off of, you know, mechanics versus theme. No money, say no. Hey, dear dog. Netrunner, hell yeah. Wild Wookie, how's it going? The Wizard Chest. I was kind of surprised by some of your evaluations just because you said they were near-prints of soon to be rotating cards. Hey, Turdock, what do you mean exactly? Capacitor looks a lot better if Cleaver doesn't exist. Yeah, Capacitor's I would say definitely better if Cleaver doesn't exist. Of course it is, yeah. Capacitor has the most important effect of filing the bad NBN Ice bingo square. Augustus, how's it going? Yes, it did. Masquerova has the same issue as Capacitor. And even Masquerovka, like, when it came out, like, people were like, what? Right? Masquerova being 3 influence is also buck wild. If this was not 3 influence, would I consider playing it? Maybe. But, like, sometimes this happens. That you just get bad ice that's, like, I just don't know why you need to get this. Like, even in, like, start, like, this is the problem. In Gateway, this doesn't make sense because Cleaver's always going to be in Gateway. Or not Gateway, in Startup. Yeah, but this is not a great ice. Daijin, how's it going, by the way? Good games on the weekend. So, for example, your archetype enabler cards are all cards that will enable competitive archetypes specifically. The Wizard Chest enabling knife deck isn't rated the same, if I got you right. Yeah, I think Wizard Chest was a chance to be above archetype enabler. I think sometimes our tier lists have issues in which there's like one interaction that we miss or we don't highly evaluate when we talk about a card. Because I think, and we've actually seen a couple interesting Wizard Chest decks being posted recently that use weird rules implications. But Wizard Chest, to use it the way that most people will use it, I don't think it's a competitive card. That's on our tier list the way it is. I think we put it in binder. Maybe slots are hard. But that being said, and we were very clear when we were talking about the card, not so much on the tier list placement, that we think there's one deck competitively, if the deck is competitive, where Wizard Chest makes sense, and it's strictly Jay Chinyu. Now, is it an enabler for that deck? Honestly, yeah, it might be. It might be. Because I think it's much harder to play Jay Chinyu without Wizard Chest. I think Wizard Chest is way better than Asmund. So maybe we're wrong on that. But I think a lot of times we were evaluating this on its like generic use case across all decks doing the thing it's to do, not just like, does it produce Jade Shinyu? And maybe we should have put an enabler and just say an asterisk, Jade Shinyu, it's playable. But I think we were really clear when we talked about it that like with Jade Shinyu is the only way that we think we'll see any play. And even then we don't think Jade Shinyu is a competitive deck. We might be wrong about that. Why is the trend of NBN decks not to include large amounts of operation-based economy when they have access to some of the better cards in Standard? Hey Norton, how's it going? It depends. Some decks do, right? So if you're playing Glacier NBN, you do have a fair bit of like operation economy. The problem is the majority of NBN decks, and maybe problem is not exactly the word. Let's see if this works. They're doing something that includes like pushing horizontally. And so your deck needs to have like 20 assets in it, right? Okay, this is not a good example. They have access to some of the better cards in Standard in terms of operation economy. Okay, so a couple things. I don't know if they do. Secondly, yeah, do they? I don't think they do. But there are a couple decks that are running like 8 to 10 operations. I think a lot of the cards like Daily Quest and things that are remote server, those see a bit more play. But most of the decks have a win condition where like just making operation econ doesn't really attach to it very well. Like most of the hyper competitive decks we saw at the highest level last year, right? So let's look at Reality Plus or NEH, right? Like those decks are running 20 assets. So you don't really need to get that big money. You just put yourself sideways. This is somewhere in the middle. Yeah, I don't know. But like, I don't know what NBN cards operations I'm playing that make money. Like YDL, sure, but you have to build around it. Reality Plus can do it to a big extent. Non-equivalent exchange shows up in the decks that are trying to res Hydra in turn 1, that's for sure. And then like Predictor Planogram sees play in like tag-based decks, but generally on its own, a click for 3 is okay. So I don't know. HB does 2 things well: Bioroid, click through ice, and card advantage, either bigger hand size or good click compression, doing multiple things in one action. I think something like Capacitor exists more as a safety valve. I think you need a certain amount of mediocre chaff lying around when the meta shakes up and the question of how many barriers becomes less solved. Yeah, I think you can always argue that any card that comes out will have relevance in the future, for sure, and can. And maybe at one point we'll play Masquerovka, we'll play Capacitor. But for someone who picked up the product right now, like, oops, I don't know. And like the thing on top of it is like, there is a hole right now in the NBN ice suite. And I'm not saying you have to solve it, because I think it's probably good that every faction doesn't have an answer to everything. But NBN right now largely doesn't have like a mid to high range barrier, right? Like the sort of endless EULA that rotated. Now, maybe NBN shouldn't have all that. NBN has big code gates. Arguably, they have big sentries for sure. Do they need to also have a big barrier in faction? No. Maybe if they want to play for it, they can splash it. Maybe it's data loop. It's probably not data loop. You need to play data loop for other reasons. But I think there was a reason. It's like right now the NBN barrier ice pool is like, it's ping, it's wraparound, and now Capacitor. And Capacitor doesn't like, it compares so closely to those other cards. It's also really funny because the card that is like kind of is an homage to is such a more interesting card, which is kind of the opposite of the other like sort of like design rollback cards we've seen before. Like Chimera is less interesting Lycean munitions, multi-munitions. Indexing is arguably less interesting than Capacitor, but Resistor is much more interesting than Capacitor, which is weird. Strength disparity between strongest and weakest cards is a bit worrying though. I don't think it's a bit worrying. Sorry, how's it going? I saw your comments on the what's it called, on the tier list the other day, and I know like Augustus responded to you a bit, and I don't think I have. Like, I think there are powerful corp cards. I think they're powerful runner cards. I think there's always going to be disparity between the most powerful cards and the least powerful cards in any set. I don't think this set has a bigger than any other set. But again, anytime a card comes out that I have no interest playing on any front, obviously, like, that doesn't feel great. Capacitor, to me, is one of those cards right now. I think Janina is another one, potentially. She just doesn't make any sense. Maybe in startup she does. But even then, Regolith just seems better than her. Maybe there'll be some combo with this, but I doubt it. But I do think right now corp win rates are just higher than runner win rates. So if runner cards seemed more powerful than corp cards, I think they needed to competitively, because corp win rates are just been better than runner win rates for the last like year. So I'm not too upset about that. We'll see how things settle, but currently corp win rates are still higher than runner win rates. So seeing a powerful runner card to me is like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. With some cards, I would love to have design intent, mostly out of curiosity. Yeah, I'd love to hear design intent. This is something I know we've talked about a fair bit, but like I would love a document, I would love a podcast, I would love something where NSG can show up and be like, hey, we designed this for this reason, or this was an earlier version of the iteration, we came down to this. Now that's a hard thing sometimes to do, because some people might like see that and be upset and be like, why did you stop? We should have stopped there, stop changing it. Or like, this is what the HB identity looked like before. So I think it's very difficult sometimes. It requires, you know, maybe you need to be quite brave about it. There's going to be criticism for sure. Maybe there's ideas that you don't want to reveal because they'll show up in later cards. Maybe there's learnings that you want to keep for later, right? Like, it's not always the easiest thing to be the most transparent about it, but there's definitely a lot of cards here that like were changed multiple times. Because I don't know that, like, I cannot believe, with all due respect, that this was like the first iteration of this. There's no way it was. There's no way. Makes sense. Thanks for explanation. Yeah, thanks for the question. To some extent, TI provided a possibility of a bunch of cool, potentially new archetypes, and then RWR failed to provide a nice package that showed, and here they are. I'm sure we'll see new decks come out that are super creative, but it's like a Stephen King ending to novel. Like closure. Roasted. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I do think like TI is one of the best sets of all time. I'm not saying RWR is a terrible set, but like it is a hard thing to follow up. It's also like the second half of a set is also kind of very difficult. And we have seen that before where like the second half of the set is like, okay, well, here's the weird edge case cards. And like, we're seeing that here again. So it's not like there's not a precedent for like these sort of feelings, but it is what it is. You didn't do your homework, so she takes away your toys. Cricket educator that makes you less informed, prepared unless you play her. Melanomi, just, I don't get it. I still don't get it. Like, I think we're pushing, we're trying really hard. We're trying really hard to make this make sense. Cause she can't take her, we've already played for them. They're ours. How are we untaking things away? I tried, talked to Unzuke about Dr. Nuka. There was no strong reason for a design. It was just fitting enough. Yes, but Nuka to me is like kind of quintessentially a card where like this card should just exist because it is a good toolbox card. And then just attaching it to a character or an idea is fine. People like characters. Like I do think like unique characters are cool. The fact that she can't be academic, that's a bummer, but I get it. Hey, Rohit, nice to meet you on the weekend. I agree. I've always had trouble understanding why bouncing to hand was flavored as education. Amani Sanai's self-growth program. Oh my God, self-growth program is educational too. I didn't even put that together. Degree mill too is like, why is education attached to forgetting things? Right? Like, what is it? Because we have to pay for courses? Maskarov has a sick full art. Maskarov has really good art. But hey, Scott Aminga does good stuff. Wizard Chess does nothing for no one. Hey, Jason. I've heard it mentioned that RWR feels like all the cards that got pushed back because they need more time dev to balance. I've heard that before, Tanuki, too. And I think there's a big chance that that's correct. And like, if that is the case, I think there's a genuine learning here that having a set, like maybe TII was so good because it was all the cards that everyone was like 100% we should release these. And then the back half of the set was like, these are the things that need to go back into testing a bit. And rightfully so, glad you do take the time. You know, you got to say like, this needs more work. We shouldn't release it like that. That's fine. But then having a high concentration of those like feels weird cards together, maybe that's worth avoiding. It's hard to say. I think tier lists have 100% knowledge. Not having 100% knowledge entirely valid. Yeah, we recorded that tier list 5 days after the set came out. I hadn't played some of those cards, and even like editing the video together the following week, like I feel different about some of these cards. Do you want to hear my big take? This card slaps. This card's in our slots are hard. I don't know if it's slots are hard or binder tier when we did the corp. This card's really good. Like we just messed up. I think one of the things that we might have noticed with Jeff's and I's tier list is that we're really bad on a couple of things. Breakers. Analyzing breaker math is really not the math, but understanding that unflashy cards can be playable on like a basic idea. Like we did not like Kurapira, but like Shibboleth being cool, right? Like breakers are a hard thing for us to evaluate. So keep that in mind when you watch our tier list, is we're not very good at that for some reason. And it's because we look at the numbers, but then it's maybe it's not that we're not good at it. It's just a hard thing to say soon because you don't know what the ice suite is going to look like. That's the more charitable take. But like, for instance, I don't like currently Pressure Spike. But there's a chance that Pressure Spike is actually like a really good card, not in our like slots are harder binder tier, because everyone's going to be playing Brawn and Boto consistently because barriers right now seem to be pretty good into the meta, right? So keep that in mind. I don't like Pressure Spike, but Pressure Spike actually might be a bit more playable because of context that we can't see coming forward. By the way, Boto is good. I want to play 3 Boto in the Decky deck. It's kind of sick. I like this guy a lot. So we're to see those victory lap cards like there's no Encore Apocalypse. There's a couple more in the format though, Elwin. We still have Exploit, I think. Hey, Miso Nacho, I'm behind on chat. Thank you for Wizard Chess. Yeah, I was Wizard Chess. The best Operation Economy cards are probably too big to fail, fully op and extract. Yeah, I wouldn't say MBN has any of them. I'm glad we're not getting an Apocalypse anymore. I think the deep dive is a good power level for the quest requirements as far as when the game is concerned. Yeah, I agree. I think Apocalypse is interesting in terms of like a release valve for asset spam decks, but I think Jay Chinyo takes that spot while also being a bit more fair. Bastards at baseline 4 cost 3 strength and to run. Yeah, with no face check. It's pretty bad. NBN envelope. Yeah, it's NBN envelope. Jenny on Trank is funny at least. I hear you, but like the amount of clicks you're spending to do nothing when you can just install other things on top of Tranquility Home Grid, like it makes no sense. It's just hard to make this make sense. There's a lore card, obviously. What do you mean, Phil? Hey, Lane, I played my first tournament this weekend and managed to win a couple games. Yo, I played against a prison deck for the first time and only had an idea of what to do from watching your streams. Thanks. What was the deck? What did you do? Congratulations. Hope you had a good time. I wonder how much the flavor for NBN cards like Amani is meant to be re-education rather than education. That's a cool way of looking at it. Re-education is cool. That's a cool idea, right? The idea that you forget your stuff and become something like this card thematically makes sense to me. Lose your hand to draw another hand. Like re-educating does make sense for this one. Like this one I think is, and mind you, this is not a Katara card. I'm pretty sure Amani is a Katara card. Yeah. So this one predates like Asmari, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this one does land for me. I think education is linked to forgetting things because NBN is brainwashing to you. Our patent clear mind technology pacifies the trials and tribulations of everyday life. Which one is that on? Is that on? That's not an Amani, is it? But like the idea of forgetting stuff, to me, that's so much more ancient tech your HB, but whatever. Boto's amazing. Learn the hard way to CO. Yeah, I know. Where are you in lobby at the moment? Hard to say because I haven't seen exactly competitively what folks are doing with it. We're sorry that we're talking for so long. I enjoy talking. We're going to look at some deck lists because I brought some decks to a tournament. We can talk about them. I think pretty interesting. I played against Lobby Somu in most of my games. I think 2 out of the 3 runner games I played. I think, okay, in terms of like the sky is falling on Lobby Somu, I'm not sure. In terms of a card that's going to exist, that's going to just dunk on fair Netrunner play, right? Like someone's going to show up to JNet casual with their Ice and Agendas deck and just get dunked on. The same way that Turbine does dunk on it. I think that's pretty rough. I think we're going to see this wolf in the future. I think currently the decks I played around at the event were like really inconsistent, where they were the sort of like draw, what's it called? Spark of Inspiration, or the deck does nothing decks. And I'm convinced that you can play Lobby Somu for 8 credits as your Fractor and Decoder. I had a cool matchup where I actually taxed this thing out in kit, where my remote server was like Botu Tattoo Bola after like a Thimble Rig swap. And that was sick. Like it did feel like it had a downside to it, but that deck wasn't playing a Fractor. And I think even in kit, you probably don't need to play a Fractor, but I don't know. Boto's good. It's just Brawn. It's just Brawn. I have seen no one call this. Mind you, this will only fire. So why is Botu good? Firstly, in the decks that I'm playing Botu in, I'm running 2-pointers. So you do hit threat 4. I hit threat 4 on turn 1 on accident, which was, I lost that game, but threat 4 gets hit consistently. The face check is okay. 3 Separate Tunes is good. It doesn't get Fizzarumed. It gets boomeranged awkwardly, which is quite nice. And people don't often face check into Jinteki Ice when you're around 6 to 7 credits if they don't have a breaker down. So I've never had someone run into this where the fire fired and then I had to do this. That being said, I think this cost is totally fine. You only have to do one of them. But then for the mid to late game, this is just a Brawn that they can't click through. Not that a lot of people will click through Brawn into a Jinteki deck that has like upgrades in the remote server, because if it's an Anoetic, what are you doing? Let alone like the already rezzed, what's his name? Adrian Sayas. I still don't know the text on Adrian Sayas. I've been playing 3 copies of him in the deck for a long time now. It's just good. Just good. Kurapira for 5. What is it? Kurapira for 6. Sorry. 6 to 8. Sick. Like, just good. I don't know. It's just fine. Like, I played a deck that had a Brawn and 2 Botos, and I'm like, I can just not play Brawn anymore. Pressure Spike being Pharaohs is nothing to sneeze at, but that's the problem. It's like, when it comes to beating Pharaohs, 2 things. Firstly, Pressure Spike, very easy to forget. I'm pretty sure my opponent and I forgot this on the day. It's only once per run. So stacking multiple barriers is a good way to tax out Pressure Spike. Secondly, if you're playing against a Pharaohs deck, those are the sort of decks that are running as many 3-pointers as possible. So the chance of your Pressure Spike actually having a threat 4 text, and for how long it's going to be on the threat 4 text, is probably very, very, very low. Right? Like, that's the issue. Is like, this is meant to be an answer to late game Glacier, but late game Glacier just fundamentally interacts with threat 4 really poorly for the runner. Because it's either they're on threat 0 and trying to kill you with the clearinghouse, they're on threat 3 for a long time, you're on threat 3 for a long time, or they're on threat 6, and then like the game is nearly over. And at that point, when you're on threat 6, they probably have multiple barriers. I tuned into an AMT game where I think someone had a Pressure Spike. Maybe it was an AMT game. No, maybe it was actually playing in startup. It was Baremu. And then the remote server was like Pharaohs into like Tree Line or something. And like Pressure Spike falls apart. Like it just doesn't do as good of a job. Admittedly though, like Cleaver Turbine will suck into that too. I always read the education things as core brainwashing makes you a worse runner. I guess so, but the cards are already on the table. I think the threat on Bodo is sneaky handy. Boris, how's it going? Yeah, it's good. It's definitely fine. Did threat 4 turn on 1 upgrade your opinion? Did threat 4 on turn 1 upgrade your opinion on Bodo? No, I don't think so, Daijin. Because I don't try to res Boto very early in the game anyways, right? By the time that you're resing Boto, you're probably, like, the 4 strength doesn't matter that much. But, like, you got threat 4 on turn 1, but you also played pressure spike, so it was, like, totally a wash. Does spike be brown, though? Threat 4 is tragic in it? Yeah, threat 4 is tragic. It is tragic. It's really, really rough, unfortunately. Oh, it's on self-growth program. Thank you, Eric. So self-growth program talks about, like, forgetting. Our patent and clear mind technology pacifies the trials and tribulations of everyday life. Okay, I don't know. I want a startup tournament over the weekend with Architects of Tomorrow on Mercury. Tons of fun. Oh my God, Flip. It's like you're trying to get me. Congratulations. Unironically, the podcast section of these streams might be my favorite part. Connor, that's really nice to hear. I think that's a thing that actually I should keep in mind. Like this video, as much as like I went in and uploaded like 420 different card arts. So if you're watching this, especially when we refer to older cards in standard, you might not know, you can read the cards. This thing is totally watchable or listenable as a podcast. Unless you want to like see the cards. So I think that's something I need to keep in mind, like making the content as accessible as possible. Mind you, if you're on YouTube Premium, you don't get to watch ads, you support content creators better, and you can download stuff and play them with your phone screen closed. So if you're like in the car, you can listen to this 3 hour and 20 thing while you drive. I don't know, a quarter of the way across Ontario. You can get pretty far on this video, that's for sure. Okay, let me catch up on chat. Excuse me. The set feels anti-casual to me. Recursion combos trigger specialized cards. It's probably hard for new players to learn all the different matchups and what to play patterns look out for. Sector, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it could be. I could see it. And I think if you're a newer player and you're listening to this, I'd love to hear your opinion. In fact, I don't care how long you've been playing the game for. Hearing your opinion on what you think about the set is sick. As a way for, you know, myself to hear other people's points of views. Same idea. If you ever have questions, let us know. If you ever have pain points, let us know. I heard cool pain points in the last video. People talking about like what an action is not really well defined. And you have to kind of go in the rules book. And maybe that's something that NSG should think about. We have cards that refer to actions, like on Julie, but then the question is, what is an action? You have to go into the rule book and like look in a comprehensive rule document. I think there's certain things like that before that NSG might want to try and communicate a bit harder, like the Trojan change. I don't know if that was on a card that came in the set, but these sort of things, like we probably should just make short videos on the channel to be like, hey, I've heard a lot of people are wondering what an action is. This is what an action is. Thanks for watching. Stuff like that. So anyways, I lost track a bit there, but if you have questions, you have opinions, definitely like hit me up in a comment. If I don't respond to it, I still read it. I try to respond to as much as I can. I'm biased, but after playing 2 Lobby, 1 Ngolo Kid, I was almost happier to spark into Ngolo most times. I hit threat 4 on turn 1 by accident. I lost that game. Yeah, that game was hard to win on threat 4 on turn 1. It's really hard to win. I did click through a Braun 1.0 against this Mario bunch this AMT. Yeah, sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it does make sense. If you're breaking Braun for like 6 credits, is 3 clicks worth 6 credits? On some board states, easily, yeah. Hey, Pod, I absolutely said this is Braun in faction. I just haven't got around to editing the video yet. Oh, what's the video? How's it going, by the way, Pod? Adrian side game match, meet only him. No match, meet only everything else. I wish it could have been written less awkwardly. Every time I played the side game, I still have to double check, and my opponent had to double check what Adrian does. It's really funny. So what I do, I just brought my side spinner, I spun it, excuse me, and then just made a bid. Whether the spin and the bid are related, that's up to you to figure out. And then we still have to double check the card. And I played 3 of in the deck because he's so good. He's so good in the deck. Precious still breaks for 10 credits, which isn't a disaster. Hey, Tron. Breaks Pharaohs for 10 credits isn't a disaster. Kind of sounds like a disaster. But I hear you. It is a Pharaohs. I went to my first event just over a week ago and I got thoroughly re-educated. Had a great time though. Shout out to Sauce for running a kick-ass event. Yo, Leon. Glad you went to your first event. I hope you had a good time. Re-education is a mean one. I think it's a sort of card, like if I showed up and I got re-educated and just died on like turn 3 against NBN, I would be like, this game is terrible. I had clearly remember against who's now like an old friend of mine. We like hang out on the regular, but I met him for the first time playing at a casual like meetup and he was playing Cerebral Imaging, which back then was hand size equals credits. This is not legal anymore. And I had the audacity to make one run on archives or something. I was a newer player. And then he was like, okay, hold on. I will C-source. I will give you tags. Then I will play from hand, Scorched Earth. I had 5 cards in hand. Then I'll play Biotic Labor to gain a click. Then I'll play Archive Memories to grab the Scorched Earth from my bin. And then I'll kill you with that same Scorched Earth. And I was like, this game sucks. This is terrible. What was I meant to do? And he was like, I'm so sorry. You probably shouldn't run when I have more money than you. I'm like, this is ass. Still played the game. Funny enough, the card that I got as like a promo for competing in that league was a Plasticky Carapace, which is really nice to give someone the antidote to the poison that you delivered to them. Anyways, shout out to Eric. He's the best. We've been playing. Well, he doesn't play Netrunner anymore, but we play Arkham like every week now. It's been like 7 years. Glad I met him. Pressure Bike still beats Big Ferris for 9 without threat, which is better than anything else. It might be. It might be. Or you play Propeller. Never mind. The fact you can keep track of these 4 different conversations while going back through chat is really impressive. Yes, I haven't lost many conversation trails, like all these deck lists I open and just talk about. Appreciate it, Veronica. It's kind. Zombie Quiz Pat. We saw him last night. We unfortunately bodied him in Eclipse 2nd edition. He played the one that wants to protect the Ancients, and let me tell you, the Ancients must be defeated. We unfortunately all dunked on him. Feels bad, man. It's good to see him. I think you undervalue Window of Oppo. It's inside job and not the greatest play around. While you can click compress a boomerang install. Turdock, I hear you. Just the way that I see it is slots are really difficult in generalist, like consistent crim decks. I think if Window is going to be good, it's going to be in something weird. And it's hard to say what the weird thing's going to be. That's usually what we get surprised with in tier list. It's like, okay, well, we didn't see this whole deck. And I think I say in the tier list, like, I think this card is good. And I think Melandrism is good. I think we're too low in Physarum. I think Physarum in Shaper actually does make sense, because you can install it after they res, which is one of the big downsides of Physarum, is that like Physarum in RE is actually good. I think I said something like, why you're not playing Botulus in Arasana? Why are you playing Physarum? And that is just straight wrong, because Physarum, like Botulus only gets 1 counter. But Physarum, you can always SMC, Muse, you can Simulchip for it once they res a big sentry and never get punished by the negative text on it. So there's some cards that we're just wrong about, but those sort of cards like Melandrige, Wind of Opportunity, Physarum, I think coming together into a deck is just not going to look like the good criminal decks we know, so it's hard to evaluate them. I think it's a flexible card, but I think also Wind of Opportunity is one of those cards where like the amount of times that it's dead in your hand, people forget about it. People easily forget about the amount of board states where they held this in their hand and it's awful. I played a Mercury deck just last week. We held copies of this in our hand and they were terrible. Immediately that deck wasn't good, but it's something that's very easy to forget. Where like Inside Job and Boomerang are a bit more flexible. So can you play all of them? I'm going to sneeze. The older I get, the more unhinged my sneeze gets. It's a video about iterating on a Teia. Oh, sick, pod. We're going to talk about that today in a moment. We've been talking for an hour. I think it's basically final. Just need to record one final game. Sick. I think the next deck dive on this channel, which hopefully should be out next week, will be an Teia deck. Hey, Maris, I think as you say that, I'm really worried about Crim design. They have so many cool one-off tricks that I'm starting to get the feeling Crim only makes sense if you have 10 cards in hand and 3x PvP on the table. That's kind of how I feel. It's really hard to make the trick style make sense. And for what it's worth, it reminds me of Arkham Horror. Because in Arkham Horror, the Rogue class, which is also meant to be the criminal class, and I know I've dunked on criminal enough in Netrunner about not feeling, Gesundheit, thank you, not feeling too much like they're doing crime. And when you look at the Rogue class in Arkham Horror, everything they do feels like a crime. So it's possible. It's really interesting. There's a lot to explore. Mind you, 1920s crime, I think people have a soft spot for. Probably. It's not problematic for you, is it? But that sort of class has a lot of like built-in card draw on success, right? Like, I think that's what you need, is any sort of class that's attached to like utility unique cards. It's hard for that to be put together into a deck because you're just fundamentally lacking stuff, right? Like, this is not a really good thing to compare because it doesn't make any sense. But for a deck in Arkham, when you play Rogue, that again has a bunch of these trick cards. In fact, they have a lot of ways to like make sure that your one trick pushes you into a second trick. And I don't know if I'd like that right now when it comes to criminal design, but cards like this are exactly it. Succeed by a large margin, get the next trick. And then you can actually build cards with the trick subtype and just constantly do like rude, one-off, powerful, like, oh, cool jab, oh, sneak attack, oh, evade. And like, that's kind of where criminal design is looking like. And it's cool that there's like a, you know, matching between the two illegal factions between these two games. But this faction is the card draw faction. Oh no, that's not true, Seeker is. But they can do it well. And I think Criminal's missing something like that. Like, I don't know if Zenith chip gets you there. One of my first games was against Tugtagut in our local meta. That was Tag Shower and Rocket to the Face. You can get bodied by Tug every day. The good thing is he's a nice guy. Shout out to Tug. I really like Tug. Tug is one of my favorite, like, high skill Netrunner players to watch. The guy has a lot of like skill expression. He's super aggro. I haven't seen Tug play in a while. Sorry, the zombie happened like that. Thanks for the shout out, Leon. Hey, Sauce, that's nice to hear. I had a blast running my first event. It was your first event. Will be more to come. Love to hear it. You can play Propeller, never mind. Yeah, and somehow Toronto, you summoned Jeff in chat. Agree completely. We were wrong at Fizzarum. Yeah, man. We were wrong at Fizzarum. And it's good to like, we'll look back at our tier lists, but we were definitely wrong about that. I like the interaction between Saucy and Window of Opportunity. I've seen so many people try Los right now in JNet Casual. Admittedly, I've been smurfing a bit over the last weekend preparing for the event, but like I ran into Los Saucy a lot. And I think the Rubicon Window of Opportunity thing is something worth looking at. I also think Window of Opportunity and Shaper is like worth looking at because you get better value from this and it's just kind of a cool Shaper thing. Fizzarum is really good. Yeah, Fizzarum is good. Why I like Bato too. Fizzarum and Ari is sick. I face checked into a tier and broke it for 3 credits. I think it'll be 4 because you have to do all 4 subroutines lane, but I'm being pedantic on you. One of the strongest plays Crim have is delaying their breaker installs. This card helps delay it a lot. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Seabag is really good. Makes my toll booths really sad. Yeah, man, I've like messed the Chesso toll booth. It's all real bad. Bring back Boxy for Trixie Crim. Boxy just gives you hand size, right? Like we can imagine a better card. Like it's funny. We wanted Onicom in Criminal. Like Onicom would be so much better in Criminal. I know we have Swift and like with Swift you can just draw a card after you play your run events, but I don't know. I love your reviews of the tier list at a later time. Any chance you'll do it for TI or both sets later on? Did we not do one for TAI? Radish? Crime is okay as long as you say, yeah, see? afterwards. Secret Case and Netrunner could be fun. Secret Case and Netrunner could be fun. It really could. Netrunner criminals have all the problems that all the runners are criminals because they're hacking thieves. Yeah, Radish, which is why I think people need criminals to like... They're all thieves. They're all... Not thieves. They're all criminals. But that's why I think criminal needs to align more with like the sort of like vault breaking, casino, heisting, the plan coming together, the guns and crime, as opposed to anarchs, which are more like Molotov brute force, and then shapers, which are like, this is a joke to me. That's the way I see it. Feels like criminal needs some sound foundational cards that can expand the niche events programs. When Mercury came out, I was bummed because I was like, this whole set's going to be a total wash for the criminals that I like playing. And it's like, man, criminally finally got their premier weapon this set. Yeah, that's true. It's a knife though. Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, Dave. Anyone else watching the tier list and want to hold an intervention for Andre playing rogue trading and Seb? No, because you're too late. Because we're going to talk about that once I catch up on chat. Because rogue trading and Seb is terrible. And I recorded that very early, like a week in. And I think the 2 cards I talked about most when it came to Seb were both rogue trading and Nuka. And I think I would play neither of those in a Seb deck anymore. Los is everywhere right now, yeah. Whenever successful runs end, you may spend 5 credits to gain 6 credits and draw a card. Seriously, Turdock, like... Maybe that's unhealthy because now when you're winning more. But that sort of idea of like the sort of like that's the problem too, is like bravado was meant to sound cool. Bravado was meant to be that bravado. And unfortunately, this card comes out to be like, I'm just going to do like a dirty laundry for value. Right? Like this is what I think we wanted with criminal cards. This 6 credits, make 6 credits, but only if the run is successful on unresed dice. This card has a lot of problems with it, but this is what like I think more criminal want to be with. Risk versus reward, heisting, as opposed to bravado, which is just like fundamentally like a Hoshiko ass card, you know? Hi, I'm people. Hey D. D, you're double anvil D. Not anvil, hammer. I heard stories about you. People are trying low saucy and Fight Club, wild stuff. Yeah. No, I honestly think there's a deck there. It's just probably not gonna be fun. Knife is probably my favorite crim card at the moment. Yeah, you and a lot of folks too, Bill. I think we should get a criminal runner who's actually just a bad guy, like a serial killer who murders his own connections for benefit. Jesus. I do think having somebody that's just like, I know this criticism came up when it comes to talking about the set. Like all the runners, because of the narrative, are, you know, very sympathetic. Every single run in this set is sympathetic. I don't know the last runner we've had that hasn't been sympathetic. And I think there's a lot of exploration space there for non-sympathetic runners. I think this set is like admittedly a bit too black and white for me, where like there's very sympathetic runners versus very ghoulish corporations. And I don't know if it always has to be like that. Nobody takes risks in that runner. Nobody takes risks. They push bravado and they're like, I don't care what happens. I'm getting 3 credits. Like, come on. Give me a job. Give me something with stakes. I think Los is very good though. I do think the reason it's good is sadly Sable and Xayah stocks are so low right now. D, why is that? I haven't like been messing with good stuff criminal in a long time. Anyone Rex on nice decks to learn standard with? Respect, Anteaters, how's it going? I would honestly recommend older decks, right? Like, unfortunately, this might be a result of the set, but I don't know if there's cards from the new set that I would recommend you learning. My decks that I would recommend you to learn, go into here and, oh my god, I'm going to search Rangi Doge. I really don't like the name of this list. This one I think is a bit tricky to play, but it's good fundamentals. We have video on this channel talking about it, and then the other deck list, I would just search like Ronom's Precision Design and call it a day. I think these are two very good fundamental driven decks. This one is just no nonsense. It cares about setting up, planning your next turns, putting things in a remote server and scoring them out and pushing yourself forward. Very, very easy to learn. Link in the description. Mind you, it'll be very late because I'm behind on chat. This one's also very good. No nonsense, straightforward, face check everything. If you were a newer player, I would recommend playing a second mutual favor and just going to 41 cards or cutting. Just play 41 cards. It's totally fine. Cut Awaken Plant. Play 40 cards. These are the two decks I think for new players. They have none of the new cards. You can add new cards to this. You can probably put Alarm Clock and Xayah, but you don't need to. I think these are pretty great to learn. That's perfect fundamentals, what I'm looking for. Yeah, we have some videos on the channel. Search fundamentals, and there's one recently that has the Xayah deck, and I think we talked specifically how to play this. There's very little content, unfortunately, on my channel of how to play Corp side, which like I'm more of a Corp player than a Runner player. I think I need to fix that at some point in the future, but good luck with that. Let us know how it goes. SBT's calling NBN the Brian Hammer. I think Nuke is still a Seb card. I've been struggling Augustus. Okay, let's talk about it. I'm going to get out of a chat loop, unfortunately. I love chat loop, but I'll just put some stuff on the screen so we can talk about it. We had a CO this weekend. We had 10 players. I went 5-1. I came in first. So I have my invite, which is good. I probably tend to cast for the event, but it's nice to have it. And so I brought two decks that I wanted to bring. Firstly, I want to play Asa, 14 Influence. We'll talk about this one after. But then I wanted to keep iterating on Seb. And two things happened here with the Seb deck. Oh, I feel so bad. I need to catch up on chat before I close it, okay? Alarm Clock could have been piggybacking or tailgating to make it more crim. Alarm clocking is really weird because it's so on the nose that it's honestly kind of silly. If the alarm clock wasn't an alarm clock, like if it was like a coffee machine or something else, then the joke would actually be a bit deeper. Maybe it's funny because the joke is just, oh, it is what it is. But I agree, like alarm clock had a setup to be like thematically interesting for what it's doing, but instead it's just like, oh, wake up. Which like to me, again, Shaper card, I don't know. High stakes saw literally no play because 6 cards is too much to throw away for a likely payday. No, high stakes is garbage. But did intentions behind high stakes, like having stakes on your card compared to Bravado, which is literally anti-stakes the card, like that's I think what we want in criminal. Nuvem is sympathetic. Have we had unsympathetic runners in the past? Yes, I would argue we have many. I think Gabriel Santiago has largely been, he's just here to rob people, nothing to it. What's his face? This one's like a bit more nuanced. Crap, what's his name? Edward Kim. So Edward Kim is part of the Humanity First. They want to just destroy all biroids. My only regret is that androids cannot feel my hate. He wants to go and destroy things. Now, admittedly, the narrative behind why he is like this has to do with the fact that he doesn't believe that people should be judged by their ability to contribute to the workforce. And I think that is a very sympathetic claim. But at the end of the day, he is technically a terrorist. But admittedly, all runners are terrorists, if you want to classify it like that. I don't think it's a good classification. But a lot of people look at him as a hateful piece of shit with a hammer who just wants to kill things. Which, like, it's cool that that's there. I don't know who else is more unsympathetic, though. Like, that might be it. I don't think Apex is particularly sympathetic because Apocalypse, like, we try and avoid that usually. I'm probably missing one or two. Yeah, but Kim's, like, the big one to stand out, right? 419, oh yeah, 419 is pretty unsympathetic. Yeah, 419 is just there to make money. And people hate 419. Like the fact that 419 when we play against a corporation, they go, ah shit, like that's kind of funny. But 419 is this just there to like grift. He's just grifting. He's just taking money off of people. He's not doing it for any bigger reason. He's just there because it's profitable. And that's to me like very criminal. Yeah. Sunny's sympathetic while being a corp employee. Man, the discussion about Sunny being like corpo and people like being anti-sympathetic about it, like I'm not going to dive too deep into it. I think D has a really good message that D wrote recently on, not on this card, but on the Manuel Latches Demora. Mind you, Enishi has said they did not want to character assassinate Sunny intentionally. They didn't think it would come off like that. But to me, like the big thing about Sunny is this card. It's like this. Like Sunny works for a corporation, but Sunny is not into it. Like Sunny is doing it because Sunny has to do it. If you want to, you know, think that Sunny's bad because she has to work for her kids, like You can't always choose what you do for a living. I don't know. Alice Merchant? Alice Merchant, I don't think she's exactly a gang merchant. She's a clan agitator, but the thing is, like, the clan is fighting for independence for people and workers on Mars. So, admittedly, yes, obviously illegal work, throwing, you know, fireballs at people, but she is fighting for the freedom of the oppressed Mars workers. So I do think she comes off as being sympathetic. Yeah, so mixed bag, definitely. But yeah, there's some good shout outs of like more grayness. Like I thought Mercury was going to be a bit more of that. And admittedly, like Mercury's, you know, finale about just like killing a couple people and that solves, you know, the whole political situation in Brazil is like to me a bit silly. But like I thought Mercury would be somebody who's like a coyote and just does it for coyote reasons. But obviously Mercury being a Bayrite, excuse me, a Chrome Libertador has more to fight for. Okay, I'm catching up on chat. We got to talk about the deck lists. Let's port Leo Anderson and Netrunner. He's already blue. Tributary and Holloman are both busted, and I think both wreck Crim in two very ways. Oh my god, Tributary is so messed up. I haven't struggled into Holloman just yet. I have poisoned the PD search list with my spinless shenanigans. Yeah, I saw that earlier today, Augustus. Congrats. I do like Spin Doctor, though. Crim has no efficient way to break Tributary, and while every server has +1 ice, Mark and Central access strategies feel so much worse. Yes. I know Jeff wasn't as hot on Tributary. I think Tributary is single-handedly so messed up. Because run-based folks cannot run. You cannot run your mark for fun. You cannot dirty laundry archives. You cannot info bounty archives when you have to break a 4-cost ice. Do you have to break this? In certain decks more than others, I think in a Teia you have to break this because it can cost you the game on the spot. I think also this card is overperforming because people are learning into it. I are like making mistakes into it because they're learning about this card. And it's so hard. Like this puts such a stress on runners where every single run has to be questioned. And I've seen runners make cool plays around this where I've been caught off guard. But the problem is being caught off guard with this is not the worst thing you can do. Like, so the idea is that you can move Tributary on the first run of the turn. So my HQ that probably had agendas on it only had a rezzed Tattoo Bola, so low strength barrier, into a Tributary. And my opponent, who was unfortunately playing Buzzsaw with no additional support on the table so far, I think there was a leech, but no counters, thought like, okay, well, I'm going to run archives so I can move the Tributary over. And then Andre has to decide, either keep the Tributary there so that the Botulus is stronger, or sorry, not the Botulus, Tattoo Bola is stronger, or I can run archives and get the leech counter. So what does Andre do? It seems like an interesting fork. It's not. I put the Tributary in archives. He had to pay 4 credits with Buzzsaw. Right? Like that's what it is. It's like, just because the breaker math on this is so good for you, obviously Buzzsaw is one of the better things, but like try breaking this with a Shibboleth. Try breaking this with any code gate breaker. Like it's ass. With a Unity, you're paying 3 credits in the best case. Like you just can't make a run for fun. Unless you think them repositioning it and putting it in a worse spot is much better. Like there are some turns where it's on the scoring server and there it's a real tax because it makes a difference about making your both twos 8 strength. Like, okay, maybe. But playing around this when the face check is that bad and it still costs you so much money, I just always moved it. And I'd argue it was 95% correct to do that. Like to see more criminal cyberware hardware because the current ones feel kind of meh, just have really nasty downsides. I think they're cool, but I hear you, yeah. Holloman basically means every single deck wins the game 1-2 turns faster than previously. This hurts Crim far more than every other faction because Crim makes the most money ever early game clicks. Oh yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, Diogene is my 46th card. I brought Stargate just for you, man. I also brought Stargate. We'll talk about the deck list. I think you need to play Stargate. Someone with his hammers on balanced coverage. Not only someone, Milanomi, but somebody we know. This balanced coverage person, these people are the hammer people. So right, Humanity First, the hammer is also like, what's it called? Like kind of crocheted, I guess, patched on this person's shirt. But this character here is seemingly this character. I think a lot of people said this is the same sort of character. I think it's the exact same clothing. I think his skin seems a bit darker here, but yeah, it's 100% the same Human First sect and even some of the same people. Aren't Crims there to grift? Sometimes, but some Crims are there for information. Andromeda, mind you, is also like not particularly sympathetic as much as people like Andromeda because her narrative makes her a bit more sympathetic because she's more now eating the rich and people like that. Is there any corps that are sympathetic? Abstractly, yeah. Ampere is super sympathetic. They're just trying to build the best cybernetics. Admittedly, they're neutral. I would argue that like Global Food, sometimes you see it more on cards than the actual IDs themselves. Like Global Food Initiative is largely sympathetic, obviously incredibly sympathetic. I think Polana is arguably sympathetic. They're just feeding people. Obviously it's for profit, but like it doesn't seem absurd. They're trying to find sustainable ways to feed people too. That's kind of cool. Harmony MedTech, I don't know what they do. I think we opened with that point. I don't know what they're doing. Kate? Oh yeah, Kate is now a shithead. I think they changed that though. I think they eroded it a bit. I just hushed the damn tributary? Yeah, sure. I think there's ways to beat it. There are ways to deal with tributary, but the thing is like, if you don't have those ways, you're cooked. Arya is of course a sympathetic character, but her opening story of just stealing from a uni causes because she's annoyed is almost comically evil. I want to go that far. She's young. She's made a mistake. I don't know. I've been playing R+. This is an R+ with eavesdrop. Yeah, Drew. Putting an eavesdrop on this is really fun. I think there's a couple other conditions that can increase its strength. I'm leaning on tributary. It's not Mati 2.0. I'm not owned. I say as I shrink into a corn cob. Yeah. Tributary is a current. It's almost a current. I don't know. We see none of the characterization of Arya in the cards, which is how most people experience the cards. Yeah, that's for sure. Experience the story, yeah. The fact that you can go to an unnice service bonkers. Yo, Keith, how's it going? To me, that was the biggest deal. Let me just close the door and I'll catch up on the deck list. But to me, why Tributary was so good is when you played a Teia, and I'll start with the Seb deck first, is that when you played a Teia, the problem is what you put in your new remote server. And in this set, we have really good things to put in your remote server, and then you've iced them. Because as long as you have a Tributary res, checking your remote server is actually a fair bit more difficult. So this is just like one of the best cards for a horizontal deck. I honestly don't know if you're playing like Traps P and you're playing 3 ice, whether you should consider this on top of it, because it's just an ice that's relevant on all board states. You pay 3 credits. And you've technically for 3 credits, you have iced every single server as long as you've res this. Obviously it doesn't end the run, but even just having a draw card that they have to break for 3 to 4 credits, it's messed up to me. It's real messed up. Yeah, Trib builds a server in Asa, and very specifically in Teia builds a server too. Should be able to move to the outermost position of an iced server. That would definitely make it less good, obviously. But yeah, the fact that like you have to, if you want to run my cohort, you also have to deal with the tributary is like kind of interesting. Well, between classes. Tap Tabby, how's it going? How's classes? Her other fiction is 100% friendly, so I get that not being a popular sentiment, but I can't get the story out of my head whenever I think about it. Honestly, Tron, I don't even know the part of that story you're referencing to, so I think I probably redacted it as well. In theory, Jinteki makes medical advances? Yeah, in theory. The cure for tributary is a fully charged hyperbaric with Peach Shao living on it. Well, yeah, that's the cure for every ice in the game, isn't it? Played against Eavesdrop Tributary combo yesterday. It's very annoying. Oh, super cool. The uni Ari stole from was being nasty. They deserved it. The flavor text suggests the hammer guy's Edward Kim, doesn't it? It's definitely not. Because Edward Kim only has one hand. I don't know how many backs I have to go. What's the name of that card? I don't even know the name. What is the name of the card? Balance coverage? Maybe it's him. I don't think it's him. I don't think he wore glasses. He has a different haircut. Different haircut. Could be 419. Who knows? Oh, man. I think in the tier list video, we talked about Seb and as like, does Seb have legs in the format? And I'm like, I probably should use my words different. Absolute clown. Give me 1 second. I'll close the door and we'll talk about this. What happens if a Teia overwrites the tributary with a new ice using the ID ability when the runner is encountering it? What happens if a Teia overwrites the tributary? You can't. Tributary says on a different server. I thought the legs pun was intended. No, Thanos, I would not make that pun. That is a terrible pun. Not intended. Apologies for that if that seemed like a crass joke. I listened to that. I'm like, shit. Oh, shit. It's just a term I use. Excuse me. Oh, Nimrov, I'm not reading that. Okay, so this is the Seb deck that I played. I've been just grinding Seb for a while. I think, as you probably know, there's some really powerful Seb cards, but as a whole, Seb is super, super clumsy. Now, this deck is actually just a worse version of a current deck that's succeeding in Standard. And that's the sort of deck that I've, tried to build earlier, which is like a patchwork deck. So you have Amakua, you have Conduit, you have Aeneas Informant, and Patchwork. Now, this deck I built, I don't know if it's time stamped, March 25th, 2024. And that same time, people were playing this deck. I did not know at events and doing really quite well with it. These are the sort of like Hoshiko patchwork decks. I think they're really quite fun. And they're really quite good. I think Man of the Moon or Santa, I'm not sure which brother played that at Intercontinentals and won it, but people were out there building the same sort of deck. This came April 6th, right? And this is the second version of it. I think Offices won an AMT in the March with this, but it's the same third idea. We now have Aquaceres crew, which is really powerful. This deck has no recursion for it. Mind you, we can play recursion for it. It has Devil Charm, and then it has Simulchip, Leech, Chisel, Amakua. And you just eat all the ice that you can do. It was Man of the Moon. Thank you, Bink Bunkle. And it's really good. Hannah's also sick in this because you have Aeneas Informant. Mind you, this is a connection, not my most exciting thing to play in Seb. And then you just have all this built-in card draw of Hoshiko. And this deck is just good. It's really, really good until like the decklist of the week. I'm not too scared about the decklist of the week. I would be scared about it if I was not prepared for it because it is just nasty and slow and tedious. But if you have a deck like this, like we saw this when Office played against, in fact, this matchup, the Prison Morph player, this is Alpi, conceded in the finals because it's unwinnable. It's unwinnably bad if you can like just bounce off their assets and make 3 credits and then just deal with all their ice and destroy it at instant speed. So I decided to try and put that shell, like marry these 2 type of ideas in a Seb deck. And why? I don't have a good reason. Just because I want to play Seb. Aquaceres crew coming down cheaply is quite nice. And the biggest reason actually would be privileged access. And with privileged access, you can not only reinstall an Aquaceres crew, not only can you reinstall, I guess, an Aquaceres crew, but you can also install a Chisel from your bin. And this seems really nice. It also means with Amakua and Aquaceres crew, like you can run a bit sooner because you get through all 2 strength ice really quickly. And I put a Stargate in it, which obviously is not conduit if I'm not playing Aeneas Informant. So I actually like Stargate a bit better because one of my big struggles with Seb is that I was not consistently controlling the game. I was just, you know, getting my Amakua up, trashing all their ice and then being like, well, I sure hope the agendas show up. And a card like Stargate lets you control the game. Our MU is not that texed up. It's really nice too. You can discard Stargate in the early game and bring it back with Praxis, and I like that a heck of a lot. And I think there's something to this. And I'd actually probably run multiple Stargates in Seb because I think it does make a fair bit of sense. That being said, the rest of the deck kind of just is a worse version of the Hoshiko list. There are some standouts. I'm on 2 Lagu. I definitely should be on 3 Lagu. There's one P matchup where he's worried to install it, but just getting the free card draw makes you closer to Hoshiko and you install this for free. It's obviously very, very good. We're not running Strike Fund. We're running Steelskin, but we probably should be running 3 Lago. I'm coming around on that. I played a single Scrubber, never installed it, but like I was just worried about the Mirror Morph decks. I didn't play into it. There was 1 at the event. I'm playing 1 Valentina now. Honestly, might want to go back up to 2, just because I was manually clearing a lot of tags for 2 credits and because our card draw is just not that good. Maybe we played 2. Big thing too is I decided just to play Diesel because this deck inherently is just way too slow and you need a lot of cards in hand. So the play of like installing Dr. Nuka for a click less, then clearing the tag and then drawing 3 cards for the next click, like spending that functional 3 clicks to get your Nuka to fire once felt way too slow. So I decided just to play Diesel and call it a day. Mind you, DJ Fenders is actually one of the nice reasons to play Seb. DJ Fenders for 1 credit is messed up. I've DJ'd for Steve, and with Steve, it's really gross because you can trash all the ice on HQ and then just bring back your, you know, your ice destruction cards. That's really quite good. But also I like went into Los in an very quickly in an op game on tempo, and that was awesome. Like it made me like 6 to 10 credits. It's really, really quite good. It was only a 3-game event, so it wasn't that hard tested, but I think this is just strictly worse than the Hoshiko deck. I have nothing much to say about it. This is the worst part though. Rogue trading is just bad. It's way too slow for the modern meta. I need to be a bit more aggressive. I think the thing I would next do definitely is cut the rogue tradings and just play, what's it called? Hot Pursuit. And just say that Amakua leech counter, I spelled that wrong. We can get in there and just send it. Because the problem is inherently if you have no other support like Valentina, mind you, I'm also missing 1 influence. I can't figure out what to do with 1 influence. Like rogue trading is basically 3 clicks for 6 credits, literally 4 clicks for 6 credits and a connection. And I cannot spend 3 clicks a turn making 6 credits and installing a connection turn over turn over turn over turn. It just is not good enough unless your Earthrise hotels are firing, which this also felt a bit too expensive for the deck. Just because if we don't open an early sure gamble, I think it is too expensive. So we definitely want to do 2 Earthrise, 3 Lago, and then figure out like what to do here. Like play 3 Hot Pursuit. I still think it's quite bad. Pinhole for missing influence. I think it's possible, but the card draw for this was so rough. But Pinhole easily could make sense into the deck. Hey Kat, how's it going? Hope the stream's going well. Yeah, we've been talking mostly. How are you doing? We had a great weekend. Mind you, were you able to, I think you were able to see was New York in the line of the, what's it called, Eclipse? There's no such thing as too much of a good thing. Everything in moderation besides moderation. Have too much moderation. Is Julie not worth it? No, I don't think so. As you might have seen in the tier list, I'm not that hot on Julie. Like the fact that you get her down to clear a tag to save clicks in the future, like to me, she just seems like would I rather install a Hannah, and Hannah is just messed up in the deck. And does Hannah just give you more clicks? Mind you, Julie works with Hannah, but to me, Julie falls into the same camp where like, is Julie just better than a Diesel? My guess is no. Would I rather have a Diesel in my opening hand than Julie? Probably a Diesel. Would I rather have a Raindrops than Julie? Probably Raindrops. Because it's very easy to abstract away the click compression you get from Julie and just get something else. Maybe Julie makes rogue trading more playable. Maybe it does, but I just feel like that coming together is really difficult. Biobands is also an option. Maybe. It's hard to see, like it's kind of expensive too. It's nice as like a single tag removal, because like removing the tag for this deck with only a single Valentina is the worst part of the deck. Once you're on HP, Nuka clicks probably feel better, but do let me know if you still like Diesel over then. What's HP, Augustus? Julie's cool, but I felt like the decks I tried to read through was too clunky. You're sitting there with an RT you never want to hit until you find Julie. Yeah, exactly. Like then if you're waiting for Julie, she's not good. If you draw into late game, she's not good. Like Julie to me just seems so extra. The biggest reason to be Seb is to be happy with -2 with arrows, but with Charm, that sadly ends up being irrelevant. Yeah, I don't know. Like Seb to me is like easily one of my favorite IDs because I think playing Seb is fun. The sort of play pattern, like, you know, carving your hand and understanding like one of my runs, which was not a good turn, but against Op, it was like the remote server was unresed ice. No, it was resed sandstone into resed, what's it called? Descent into unadvanced card. And I had an Aguaceres crew on the table. And I think the play was like, okay, run, bounce sandstone, run, bounce sandstone, run, bounce sandstone, run, which obviously shows you a problem with the deck. Use Aguaceres crew to take a tag to install the second Aguaceres crew, eat the first card, then with Aguaceres crew, take a tag, eat the second descent, steal an Atlas, blow up the server. Right? The sort of weird click compression to install your connections, and Jeff shouted this out in the tier list. The ability to install your connections for free at weird timings is definitely the appeal of Seb. The problem is clearing the tag is just kind of butt. It's just bad. It's just not good. I don't know. How do we beat Tributary? Not that bad, actually. Amaku is okay. You just eat it. You just trash it. Hot Pursuit. Oh, yeah, Hot Pursuit. Hot Pursuit. I think Hot Pursuit would be pretty attractive. I like it. I could see Julie in a red team deck in Crim, Sable, maybe. Yeah, it's just so hard. Like, you already have so much click compression in Sable. I don't know if you need a card that has situational click compression when you're already, like, pretty click compressed. Like, you do good with click compression already in Sable without a clunky card. My roommate is convinced that Julie makes any plan work better because everyone needs clicks. I'm at the point where I can simply look at him and he knows I'm heckling him for the Julie decision. I think there's a chance that Julie's okay. It's just like what Julie does feels so good. But this is like the thing that it comes down to. Julie, she gives you situationally on board states, and mind you, if you install her later in the turn, she doesn't fire if you've already clicked. She gives you 4 clicks. This is daily casts. It gives you 8 credits. What are you going to do with those clicks? And I'm not saying daily cast is better than Julie. I think there's board states to do it, but it's very hard sometimes to like compare 2 cards, one of them giving you clicks where clicks could be anything, and the other thing does something clicklessly, right? Like the idea is Julie plus telework is basically a daily casts. So it's up to you to figure out whether it's Julie giving you the click compression you need or just playing a 5 credit econ card for 1 click giving you the click compression you need. I'm with Steph's roommate on this. It can be hard. I don't know. It's all about how to stop worrying and float tags over your turn ends. I don't think we have a payout to do it because we're not playing the console. We're not playing the console. We can't float tags. Mainly with rogue trading, we can't float tags. Even with Aguaceres Clue, you can't float tags. If this is your most important card, you can't float tags. This is our win condition. If we allow the corporation to trash it, we've lost the game. So this is another problem with Seb. Floating tags doesn't make any sense. Have you tried Sebs with the Mercs? With Uragnev? We don't care about Uragnev. We don't care about meat damage. And if you're talking about Uragnevs. I made a 3-card homebrew set for Crim around the information broker with a mock-up window cleaner service around the idea of inside man. Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. Okay, now talk about a cool deck. So this deck came up, it was called Red Asa, and I just wanted to build Asa and have more cards to put in remote servers and play like an HP Asa group deck. Originally, this deck had fully operational in it. Notice I'm at 14 influence, because fully operational seemed okay in Teia, and Teia wants more money and more card draw, and that does everything we want. Now, I've stumbled across something that I actually really, really enjoy. I played a whole bunch of this on JNet, went undefeated. I played at the event. I lost 1 round against Diogen in round 1. On round 1, he stole 4 points from central servers. Feels bad. Maybe I could claw back up from that. I think there's ways to make it easier, but he was playing Control Shaper. Not a good spot to be in, losing that many points on turn 1 when we have to jam the remote server. But let me tell you a bit about this deck. And I want to show you another deck too. I think we're going to do a deck dive on a deck like this because the other deck shows off the kickflip that this deck can do even more interestingly that we're not fully built into as much as we have small kickflip potential. So why Teia? Teia says, the first time each turn you install a card in the root or protecting a remote server, you may install a card from HQ in the root or protect another remote server ignoring all costs. So as long as you're setting up in one of the servers, you can install something in the other server. Now, ignoring all costs is important for ice, so you install the second and third ice for free as long as you put it into your second server first. And so now a lot of people are trying to figure out how to build a Teia. We've seen a Teia fast advance decks that are doing like Moonpool shenanigans. I think that's interesting. We haven't really seen a Teia Glacier, and I'd argue a Teia Glacier probably isn't it. Unless you're going fast enough, you'd probably play Egg Infusion because Egg Infusion's kind of messed up good. So we're trying to do some midpoint between the two. Now, for this to be good, a couple things have to happen. Firstly, you need to be able to file a Teia on as many board states as possible. It's trivial to fire Asa on most board states. It turns out it's still not that easy to fire a Teia on more board states, even with more card support. So we want to keep that in mind and figure out how many turns we're firing a Teia and how important it is for us. Now, the biggest thing though with this ability, while we might not fire it every turn, Asa group, when it fires, it usually doesn't lose the runner the game, but we can generate board states in which if this fires, the runner can lose the game. So it's kind of interesting, where it might not fire as consistently, and I'll explain why I believe this. We can fire a Teia and actually win the game. So let's talk about the deck. We're running as straightforward as an agenda suite that we can. So I'm on 2 bacterial programming. It was between this and send a message. For what it's worth, this was never scored or stolen without winning the game, so this hasn't fired. But this ability is obviously really good because with a Teia, you can set up your hand to get a good Teia in the next turn. It didn't matter, but you want to play 2 3-pointers. Then we're playing Nisei Mark IIs because it seems to be really good in the meta right now, and we are scoring in a remote server, and it's a nice thing to have. I Nisei Mark II'd like a jailbreak with a pretty Mary De Silva, and I felt good about it, so feels good. And then 3 off-world office because you need money. Right now, I think my biggest complaint with the Jinteki card pool is they don't have an agenda I want to score out. Nisei Mark II is the closest to it. Next up, this used to be a longevity serum, and I was like, you're not playing longevity serum, buddy. And so I played 1 copy of Timely Public Release. We should come back to this because, mind you, this whole deck is more about Timely Public Release. Shout out to Steven, who also played this at the same event. But Timely Public Release can do some really messed up stuff, even with the new cards, even more wild than you thought they could do. And we'll talk about those combos in the future. I think there's definitely a version of this deck that's on 2 Timely Public Release, 2 Nisei Mark IIs, and you have to figure out what the balance is. But when you score this card out, you can do nonsense. So I think building around it actually makes some sense as long as your economy is a bit more robust. So I think doing 2 and 2 or even 3 and 1, flipping the TPRs and the Niseis is pretty good. Shout out to the original Timely Public Release art. It's one of the rarest cards in Netrunner, and it's not this art. The other, it's okay. So to make this deck, I see 14 out of 15. I'm sad. Both my decks were 14 out of 15. We'll come back to that. So this deck, what we want to do is we want to have as many opening hands where we can Teia. And Teia got 2 huge ideas with the new set. Firstly, Charlotte. Charlotte's fantastic. We are a Lacosta deck. We are fundamentally a Lacosta deck. So Charlotte just gives us so much value. And so turn 1, we can put Charlotte in a remote server. And then in our second remote server, we can put Cohort Guidance Program, ideally. Cohort Guidance Program is so good. I think the problem is the more that I'm going to talk about this card, the more people are going to trash it on site, which is a huge bummer because when this thing fires, it allows you to do messed up nonsense. And I wish people didn't trash this thing because it's your win condition. It is so powerful. And we'll talk about it specifically with the combo deck. But this thing allows you to get cards out of your hand and allows you to draw cards and replace them and just go faster. This is such a busted ability. I was talking about this and obviously in context, it doesn't exactly make sense, but imagine that this text was just on an Anarch console. How good would that console be? It's fundamentally what Patchwork is on, and obviously that works with the Anarch card suite a bit more than it does with the Jinteki card suite, but this is just such a good ability to trade your worst card in hand for a better card and just push yourself forward. This also really matters. Obviously, you need to set this up, and there's some cool combo ways to set this up, but this is also a very important ability that it actually buys you full turns with this deck. Other things, Adrian Slice is really good. Inherently, the sysops are just very, very good because on click 1, we can install Charlotte, and then we can, in the other remote server, install Adrian. Then we can ice up Charlotte with something cheap and early, like a Tattoo Bola, and then we can advance Charlotte, and then we can slide over the Adrian Slice. That's why we're playing 3 Adrian and 2 Vovo, so you can get all these sysops working for you, because they're fundamentally the easiest cards to fire a Teia on any board state. Because no matter what, you can put Vovo and Adrian into the remote server you're not using, and mind you, this deck generally doesn't ice up the second remote server more than 1 ice on some board states. So you a lot of times want things like this, that you just put in the second remote server to save on ice installs or click and press you forward, which is really good. You believe Adrian's better than Biovault even though you're in Lacosta? Yes, because we're faster, but specifically yes, because it works with the Teia's ability on all board states. So the idea is that we install Adrian, install an ice, saving 2 credits is worth it because you're going fast enough. We also have enough other upgrades where Adrian protects them in a reasonable way. I do think one thing the deck would want is actually an Anoetic Void, because having a hard end the run instead of the Adrian end the run is probably worth at least 1 deck slot, way more than the slowness of Biovault. That's the thing, is like this deck actually wants to put something in the remote server on all turns that can be advanced. So advancing the Biovault instead of advancing the Charlotte or an agenda, there's actually not that many windows where you have extra Lacosta value. Yeah, it's like 0, exactly. But you get to pick the card, very importantly. Vovo's obviously good. Money's not the best, and he moves around really nicely. We have 1 Mavirus because of the meta, and then we have Lacosta Grid. Now, I'm not probably breaking any new ground here, but Lacosta Grid is obviously so important. It's hard to trash, and in the remote server, it means we can never advance all our 4/2s. But the biggest thing is when we also have a Cohort Guidance Program, if Cohort Guidance Program fires, we can put an advancement on our agenda remote server, then get an advancement from Lacosta, and then we can never advance a 5-3. That rarely happens because it counts on the runner not running the cohort, which they should. But if you're rushing on early game, they sometimes don't have time for this because they think you're just drawing cards. And then you flip a card, and then you can score out a Nisei Mark II or an Off-World Office on your second click. Because you get Lacosta, you get cohort, then you do advance. And that is so important because now you can jam something and get an Teia trigger in the same turn. I cannot understate how powerful that is, right? Like that's the problem with ASA, and ASA goes out of the way to make sure that they can fire it, is you want to score, and if the server was secure, it probably still is secure. You want to jam the next card on that turn, whether it be a Charlotte, a Rashida, another cohort, anything to push yourself forward. Fire a Teia is super, super valuable. So having that cohort mean that you can like fast advance a 4-2 out, not fast advance, but never advance a 4-2 with having a click left is so good. It's really, really powerful. Talk about the ice. I'm on Braun. I also probably should be on border control instead of Braun. I think Botu turned out to overperform. I think Botu just looked great. I think I can play 3 Botus, no Bronze. Bronze was still very good. And then probably play a border control, because border control works really well with timely public release and a bunch of other stuff. Like we do have a thimble rig, so border control gives us some flexibility. I think that's a totally fine way. This all sounds like Holobin with a lot of extra steps. Yeah, but it doesn't cost 6 credits and it's faster. And it doesn't cost us influence. I agree, Augustus, but it is a lot more consistent in the package we're doing, and specifically the way that it works with our nonsense, which I'll talk about the nonsense combo line. We have Tattoo Bola, which is so powerful. This is why I think Teia is really cool. You cannot let this fire on the remote server on some turns. Now, a lot of times you do have this on centrals, but the big thing with Tattoo Bola is that if it swaps, it counts as an install. So say, heaven forbid, the runner runs last click and swaps the Tattoo Bola, you can install an ice from hand, and then a Teia can fire. So with a Teia, you can install an agenda in the other server. Now that means in the other server, a lot of times I'll put an extra Lacosta grid there and the runner won't trash it because it's nonsense. But this is where a Teia gets really tricky. Where if you let a Teia fire too late in the turn, another good reason to have border control, you can just a Teia Tattoo Bola swap and put the agenda on the other server and then score it out with either a cohort if it's in the first server or just with a Lacosta grid. That's the big thing. And we'll talk about Tributary. Same thing with Tributary. If you let Tributary fire, and I've had runners do this, as the runner runs, lets us draw a card because they're like, I don't care, it's on archives. And then I may install a piece of ice on my second server and then use that to install an agenda in the first server. And now they have 3 clicks to run the remote server I'm scoring out. Like, this ability is obviously, you know, it's a thing, but specifically in the context of a Teia, you cannot let this fire. Because if this fires, I can put an agenda in my scoring server as long as I have an ice in hand and an agenda in hand. So you have to make sure, like I've had players run into this last click and it'd be like, that's the biggest mistake. I'm just putting the agenda on the table, like, because I have ice. It's also in ignoring all costs. That's messed up too, because it helps with the glacier thing as much as you usually install the ice on the weekly ice server to get that thing in the first server. But this ability, firing with a Teia, can just win you the game because it puts agendas on the table. It is so gross. Have you ever done the double agenda in Lacosta Fork? I've never done the double agenda because we're always pushing out the agendas in hand relatively quickly. Everything else, we have a magnet for meta. We have a thimble rig, which gives us flexibility to move around things. Another good reason to play border control. We have Vampire Nasa, which I think is just a really good ice right now. And then we have 2 Saisantans because I could not care to Resonant Nancy. This is enough. It's good enough. I don't need to pay 8 cards for a Nancy. It's too expensive. I've run Tattoo and Asa and people will just refuse to run it. It's incredible. Yeah, exactly. You have a lot of flexibility in it. If I'm voted decidedly middling, the deck is really exciting. It's fine. It's totally fine. Now, last things, we're on 3 Hedge Fund, and we're on 2 copies of Corporate Hospitality. Corporate Hospitality is a card that in some decks plays better than others, and I was really excited with it in this deck on the basis that it does 2 of the big things we want. It gives us card draw and money. That's really important, like most decks, but specifically with a Teia, you want to have a lot of options in hand because you need your options to set things up, let alone discarding at end of turn is fine because you want to discard face down cards because of cohort combo. But the biggest thing is add 1 card from Archives to HQ is actually really big because that's sometimes the problem with a Teia, for better for worse, and this tells you a bit about the ability, is that there are certain board states where it's hard to Teia. So using this ability to Corporate Hospitality to grab the Adrian Seiss they've trashed, and then using your last click to install Adrian Seiss and an agenda means that this being a double is not the end of the world because you can install 2 cards for 1 click. So I really like this card as a way to very consistently set up good Teia turns where I have the remote server already set up. So my turn is Corporate Hospitality, get a defensive upgrade, get the agenda, which I hopefully draw or already have at hand, install the Vovo in server 2, install the agenda in ice server 1, res Adrian, move him over. Like it's a 1 card build scoring window. Very, very, very powerful. I was originally on 1 copy of fully operational, 1 Corporate Hospitality, and just realized the Corporate Hospitality is more flexible on more board states. I also mentioned this earlier, the fact that Tributary is just messed up. The fact that Tributary protects your cards in the uniced remote server if you haven't iced it up is wild, and it just costs a lot to break. I played against Paul. He was playing Buzzsaw, Hoshiko, just good stuff, worlds winning Hoshiko. He played like 12 credits to break Tributary. Can we use our last influence on team sponsorship? I don't think we can, because this is the big issue you're struggling is you only have 2 remote servers, right? And a lot of times having the second remote server hold a cohort is more important than the powers that be. That's the hard thing, is like there are some hands that are a bit ugly because you draw into a weird combination where you're like, oh, I have a cohort, but I also want to put like a Charlotte. Like it can be really clumsy. Mind you, also, we haven't talked about Charlotte. Charlotte's just really good. So it's hard because you have to commit to that thing. And that thing in the second server is usually less good than the cohort on more turns. Maybe it's up to you to figure out how often the runner's contesting your second server and how empty it is. And if it's more often empty than not, then maybe you could play a cohort. I could see it. Now, you want to see something really cool? So I didn't talk much about what you can do with this. You might have seen this combo before, but specifically what you can do with timely public release is you can use your ability to score out agendas from hand. Even for 2 agendas, you can fast advance. So the idea is that at the window on the end of the runner's turn, or at the window before your turn, at the beginning of your turn before start a turn, you can use timely public release to install a piece of ice on your second remote server, which means you can use a Teia to install your agenda in server 1 that has a Lacosta, or that you have a cohort guidance program on the table, which means that you can just chain timely public releases into one another, or chain off-world, timely public release into off-world office. Does this make sense? That's a really big thing you can do, is that you can use this ability, you can install an ice on whatever remote server, and then you can use the Teia to install your agenda into the remote server that has Lacosta. Then start a turn fires, Lacosta advances it, maybe cohort advances it too, and then you do advance score. It's Astro Train. It's really strong. It's really, really, really powerful. And this is where like playing more TPRs is a possibility. And then you could play less. Mind you, shout out to Steven. Steven talked about, he's on 21 agenda points. You probably don't want to do that. I'll talk about his ice suite too. This is a bit different than how I'd run it, but that's very, very strong. Now, the coolest kickflip, and mind you, he's called this thing Flick Flack. Flick Flack, from my understanding, he said is the fastest land spider, which is really cool. It's a tumbling spider. The really coolest play that you can do that I haven't seen anyone talk about besides Steven is you can use timely public release, and you can install an ice on your second server. And if your second server has unresed ice on it, you can trash that ice. So you install your ice, you trash that ice. Why would you trash the ice? This ignores all costs, but you still can do it. And then you can install the agenda into server 1. Then if there's a cohort, now there's a face down card in archives. So you can flip that card up. And even if you have a cohort and on top of that, you have a Lacosta, you can fast advance a bacteria programming from hand, right? Like you can force cohort to have a face down card by using TPR to destroy ice. It's wacky and it's really cool. And I think there's probably some marriage between these two decks, because this one's a bit more consistent Rush Glacier, I'd argue, and this is a bit more Kickflip the deck. And I think there's some midpoint that makes a lot of sense. Now, he's on border control, which makes a lot of sense. It's just a good target with TPR, and especially if you fire it late in the turn, like you can set up weird forks where they just can't run your remote server multiple times. He's on Hanseis for money. He's on seamless launches too, which, mind you, as long as you do the TPR combo on their turn, you can seamless launch it. So you're not actually dependent on Lacostas. He's not on Adrian, and I honestly think he doesn't Teia probably that much to set up, but he Teia's a lot more to combo. And I think he Teia's because he does build 2 ice servers, which is not exactly the way I'm playing Teia. I would need to try this. He's on a Teeny. I don't like a Teeny. I think Vampirnaus is really good. He definitely should be on 2 Tributary. We've talked about that. And then border control makes a lot of sense in this deck. Immune to Clot. Yeah, it's totally immune to Clot as long as you do it on their turn. You can do it, and he did actually do it on his turn once because he already used a Teia. So like if you used a Teia on your turn, you can do this combo on the beginning of your turn, but technically if you do it on your turn, you are weak to Clot. You saw me this deck looks wacky time to become a Jinteki player. It's really neat. It's really neat. So I think there's some marriage between these two ideas. I think this deck has just been like consistently very fun, and it plays like a jammy red Asa, which is what I called it. You have like very unfair things like Nisei Mark II, you have strong defensive upgrades, and like just to show you how it draws, right? Like, how do you play this hand? Like this hand is sick. Like this hand, you keep it. Admittedly, if you're playing against HQ pressure, we have to play a bit different, but you can install Charlotte, you can install Adrian, you can res Adrian, move on top of Charlotte, advance Charlotte, put a Sai Santan on top of it. If you wanted to ice up HQ, you can. That works too. But like that's your opening line, right? Then Charlotte gives you 2 cards and credit. Cool. Well, HQ pressure might have been a problem. We can put Vampire there. You can advance Charlotte. You can like install Rashida. We can set up a corporate hospital. Like it just rolls. The problem with my deck is I think I have one too few ice. I'm on 14 ice. I think you want 15 ice. I think you do. I probably want to play another Mavirus. I probably want to play another Chrysium. I likely cut the Brawn, play a board control, maybe another one. There's some midpoint here. But like the opening game, once you set up your stuff and you're going, like you're off to the races, right? Like here, we definitely need something to put in the remote server. We probably just ice up 2 centrals. And then next turn, like we can get Adrian, Cohort down. We probably actually would do Adrian, Lacosta down. And then we'd ice up Lacosta. Cohort fires, we cycle our worst card. You just go. You just go. Teia says you can't score the second card this turn. Does the timing work differently for your turn if it does it right before the start of turn triggers? Oh shit, we actually might have messed it up once. The first time you install a card, install the root, you may install one card from HQ in the root of protecting another remote server. You cannot score the second card you turn. Yeah, so you're right. You'd have to, for that, use timely public release on the core runner's turn. As long as you use timely public release on the runner's turn, the second card you can score out. If you do it at the end of the runner's turn. You're right, if you do this on the corpse turn, you can't score out the second card. I think actually that might have been missed at the tournament at one point. That being said, the amount of times that you have to fire on your start of turn trigger versus the runner's end of turn trigger, yeah, you usually just do it on the runner's turn. So if you haven't used a Teia that turn, you can do it. I think genuinely that might have been missed at one of the games. I don't think that's a huge impact on the deck though, because the amount of times that you fired this on the end of the runner's turn is usually what you want to do anyways. Yeah, but you're right. If you do it on your turn, you can't score the agenda out. Seems you have to be careful about when you fire Tattoo Bola Swap or Trib install because that eats your ID. Yeah, you have to keep track of it. It's the first time. So you can choose not to swap. You can choose not to tributary, mind you. They're all optional. So you have to keep that in track for sure. You can install an ice during a run on a server. It's as it stays in any place. You can do it during a run, but the runner will never encounter it. Like, I don't think you can use timely public release to put an ice in front of the runner. It just doesn't work like that. Yeah. Yeah, Daijin, I'm pretty sure it was missed in the game against you. Yeah, I think that's true. I don't know if it needed to be missed that turn or not. I'm not sure why it was. But yeah, generally you just do it on the runner's turn. I barely touched my coffee. I've been talking too much. Anyways, those are the decks I played. My matchups were pretty good. Round 1 I played against Diogen. He did like jailbreak into run R&D for a single, stole 4 points. It was really hard to get back from that. I was playing this version. And then from that point on, I played against a kit with Labisomu. I managed to make a remote server that was like Botu, Tattoo Bola and just jammed out agendas faster than I think he could set up with Spark, which is really good. And then my second matchup was against... Who did I play second round? Shit. Or not second round, third or fourth round. Oh, I played against Paul. Yeah, Paul probably should have bodied me. He fundamentally missed one too many trigger, I think. He was pretty... And I would be too. He was a bit upset. It was like a really close game. It came down to time and I scored out. We played a bunch of side games. He had to make a lot of calls. He ran through multiple like Vampire Nasas with 3 cards in hand and always hit a steel skin so he could do it again and again on the final turn. But he paid so much money to break tributaries over and over again because he was on Buzzsaw at Leech. It was so good. Yeah, it was really good. Seems like Braun muck up your PTR timing. What do you mean, Thanos? Do you want to share your definition of Prison Runner? Not really. You're playing Control Shaper. I think people know what Control Shaper is. It says in any position, can't you install an innermost position or do I misunderstand? Oh, does it actually? Oh yeah, you can. You can put it in front of them. But I'm pretty sure if they initiate a run, you can't put the ice in front of the runner spot. I think you have to put it further down the server. I'm not actually sure how it works, Zombie. I think a rules person has to explain. But I know if they make a run, you can't just put this in front of the run. You have to interact with other ice already on the server, I'm pretty sure. Because I don't think you can insert something in front of the runner, but you can probably replace something that exists. I don't know how it works. I honestly don't know how it works. I've never seen anyone fire this in a way that actually does what it's intending to do. All right, let's build a deck. We've been talking for a while. I wanted to try some like Nuvemodernism. I haven't like Nuven. Really hasn't done anything. I want to see if we can just like rush as fast as possible because it's really hard to tell what the corporations wants to do. And so like just going fast and trying to kill the runner, like I think that's the best we have. I think we're not going to try punitive. I think we're just going to try end the line and just see if we can rush out. Because I think the one thing that like really excited me about Nuvem was the idea of like digital rights management into Oaktown renovation. And that seems really fun. I have to remember not to install with Braun if you plan on using PTR since it will eat your ability. Oh yeah. With Braun, it's optional though. You don't have to fire Braun. But that's another cool thing about Braun in the deck, right? Not to discount Braun, is like Braun's ability fires a Teia, and that also can like be game losing. Like, check that out. If someone runs Brawn last click, or like too late in the turn, you may install a piece from HQ or archives directly inwards, and then you can use that to Teia an agenda in their remote server. So yeah, it does make sense in the deck. It's just like maybe 3 boat zone and boarding control makes more sense. Hard to say. I had fun playing Nuvem though. I don't think it's tier 1. I just had fun though. You can install it in the innermost position during a run, but the runner will always have a jack window. The runner is already approaching the server or first dice when they initiate a run. There's no way to install an outermost dice in either case that will approach the run. Yes. But what about Spark if it's like there's 3 ice on the server and then the runner initiates a run and then the first paid ability window you use that neutral agenda to install the agenda replacing the ice in the innermost position? They'll encounter that one, right? I know you can't dunk ice on them because it just goes behind them, unfortunately. I barely drank my coffee. It's so cold now. Not good. Okay. So we're going to be playing a Modernism and Nuvem deck. What is Modernism? It is the idea that we want to rush to the point where the runner cannot keep up with us because they either have to sacrifice cards in hand in safety or money in safety. Our fork for that is probably going to be pretty bad. I'm pretty sure we might have tried this on stream before, and it was a long enough period of time that I forgot, and the sort of negative reinforcement has faded. So things like public trail are really important, because if we do public trail into end of the line, they can die. And then on top of that, we can play other additional chip damage. Our chip damage is going to be Angelique. She's really good in faction because we actually make money when you play her. So if the runner has less than 8 credits and fewer than 4 cards in hand, or 4 cards in hand, we can do public trail into Angelique into end of line. That's it. Yeah, we did Hanging Gardens last year in Startup with BTL, which was totally fine. I think in Startup, obviously it's a bit different, but I think we might have done this on like the first week when the set came out. The main takeaway with TPR is that you can never force the runner to encounter the new ice. Either it gets installed behind them or they have a jack-eye window. Okay, cool. As long as you TPR before the movement pass to give an ice. Thank you, Spark. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. What's our agenda suite? Above the law? I think we're going to do Oaktown Renovation. The question is what our 3-pointer is. It's probably Basalt Spire, let's be honest. I think we generally want to play a food here if we can. The other option is like to play hostile takeovers and like push ourselves forwards like that. You usually end up playing hostile takeover in the index and not actually playing any 1-pointers. Mind you, we have to play 22 points. So we'll see what that does to our agenda suite, because finding the hostile takeover is inherently going to be a bit difficult. What else is good on tempo? Like Azief theory, if they get a low hand size, you can kill with Azief. That's hard to set up for sure. So like what other agenda do you tempo out in a Nuvem deck? Like we're not a reg cap, right? I guess we're in Slash and Burn, but like it doesn't feel great. Looking forward to copying this list tonight. Netrunner meetup. Uh-oh. Like Slash and Burn, the thing is like Slash and Burn doesn't really work with much that we're doing right now. And I don't think I want to play Eminent Domain because it's just like doesn't do enough to make us win. It's just a 1-pointer. Obviously Slash and Burn is really good. False lead to steal clicks. Things if we're scoring false lead out, we're actually kind of slow. Maybe we can Slash and Burn false leads and feel okay about it, but like we're at the point now where most of our deck is agendas, and I think we want to avoid that because we're kind of inconsistent already with a bigger deck. Like 13 agendas is already kind of nonsense and we're not done yet, right? Like it's probably Atlas, right? Because Atlas gives us the consistency to pull our combo pieces. There's no way it's not Atlas. So I'm gonna get rid of that and then we'll do that. We'll call it a day. Domain is kind of sync. Yo, Winnegon. Sick. Though you get like Sanson or Archer or something. Yes. Maybe. I think we need to try it. I think Sanson I don't care about. Maybe one of Sanson is good enough, but then like scoring out Alice without counters on it, it's like whatever. Let's try it. We haven't tried it. We'll try it. So let's do Eminent Domains, and then we'll cut the hostiles, and then we'll cut an Eminent Domain. That seems okay. We can also Slash and Burn an Eminent. That seems fine. And so now we need to figure out how we're going to win. So we're going to put in some amount of assets, not that many assets, but enough assets. I think we're at the end of the asset list. Is there anything else we want in the deck for sure? Like we're not gonna be running like advanceable ice that we're trying to like tempo forward. Expend is pretty good. Yeah, the expend on Slash and Burn is totally fine. As long as we have, or sorry, on Imminent is fine. As long as we have targets for it. Oh, Spin Doctor? Yeah, I've heard Spin Doctor is good. I don't know, Augustus. I don't know. But the Agenda Suite could distributed tracing be an option. It's really hard for it to be an option, right? It's 4 influence, it's a double. So you could do distributed tracing into end of line, and if that hits, I guess that hits. But already we can play like only 1 of copies of it. It's really, really slow. Like probably oppos, 2 oppos is what we want from there. I'm imagining. Let's put together some ice that we're happy about. We have to play a bit more ice than we think we do because, again, it's a 54 card deck, we're assuming. Trust op for big boy. Trust operation doesn't search your deck, though, right? It's archives. We can try it. Maybe. I wonder if retribution does more damage modernly. So let's put in the ice that we want. We can play 2 Afshar, that's fine. We want to play tempo forward ice. Ice that we can rush behind it. We'll definitely play at least 1 archer because Eminent Domain has a target. We're trying not to draw it. If we draw it, we get upset. Boarding control 3x. I think descent is just good enough. I don't know if 3x is right, but like it just gives you a credit, draws you a card on some turns. Like, okay, that's fine. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Hammer seems okay. Hordem is fantastic right now. Ice Wall is honestly okay. Do I want to play Maskarovka? Kind of like Maskarovka. Cleaver's not real, right? Seems fine. Otherwise, Sandstone is good for a rush deck. We probably need to put some viruses in it. Yeah, Sandstone's pretty good right now. And then Winchester's on HQ. You want to play a Watchtower? We can go get our cards consistently. Treeland's pretty good. So what are we at? 19 ice? Seems like a bit much. Sandstone's so much better than Mask. Oh yeah, you risked for 3. I love a Masker of a misprint. I don't think you can play that with Cleaver's Legal. What's your misprint? Operations. Okay, so we have more influence. I'm gonna play Tomb of Virus because we have Sandstone. Why not? We want to play as many of these tempo operations that make sense for us that will push us forward. Like there's a chance that we want predictive planogram or something to go forward. Oh, actually we want DRM. Oh yeah, we want DRM. Pivot's too slow. It probably is, Bruno. It might not be. Only 1 archer with that many 1-pointers. We only have 2 1-pointers. So it's not too bad. It has an extra blank sub. Oh, that's sick. They have to break it. Go get him, Banar. Okay, so digital rights management seems like a cool thing to do because you can just like grab a 4/2s and go. Just for end of line, yeah, we could probably consider playing 1. I don't think it's like unreasonable. Yeah, it's probably fine. We need money, hedge fund. Audacity seems fine. Hostile architecture. Oh, we're already at 50 cards. Hostile architecture doesn't make sense. We have like 2 assets we care about. Extract. Armed asset protection. I don't think those are that strong. We probably need, I think economic warfare as a 6 credit swing is pretty good. Gaslight we can't really protect. I'd rather play pivot if we're going to play something. This already like, I guess we have too much ice. That's 12 agendas is really rough. Economic warfare makes public trail much easier. Yeah, it's not bad at all. It's a 6 credit swing even on most board states when you play Nuvem. Like that's totally fine. The fact that it's also after flavor text confound the runners so they cannot see our true intent is perfect. What else do we want here? Like maybe we can play TBTF. It's like a 9 credit econ card. It's okay. SCP we don't really need. Pivot we could. I think it's gonna be hard to find like consistently our end of lines. Like that's gonna be a problem we have to deal with. I think extract and like armed asset protection are probably more playable than government subsidy on more board states. I think. Planogram is a possibility. We're just out of influence. Oh, we're not yet. We're not yet. Yeah, planogram seems fine. I don't mind planogram. Draw 3, gain 2 credits. It's actually kind of good, huh? One card I also wanted to play in this is like Forced Connection or Snare. I think Forced Connection is a bit easier. Doesn't fire from archives, but like as long as we have money, we can make this kind of ugly for the runner. I've won a couple games with this thing. It's also nice just to have more upgrades so that like the armed asset protection you're not playing fires and tree line fires we're not playing. So maybe that's something. So this is 64 cards. Oh, damn. That's terrible. This is so bad. What happened? Oh, God. Okay. So we probably should be playing like 16 ice. We're playing 19. Hammer. 1 of. Hordem, Descent, Afshar, Tree Line Sense. It's like no nonsense ice. We probably should play 1 big stuff. Just add some Basalt Spires. Honestly, it's probably correct. But then we're going to cut like Oak Towns and then the fun thing I want to do is not going to happen. Oh man, build a 54 card deck struggle. What's going on? Okay. Crucial, arguably crucial, arguably crucial, 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 not crucial, not crucial, crucial, not crucial. Too many operations. You need a lot of operations in Nuvem. You definitely need operations. 1 DRM for 1 magnet. That's a problem, is like Bruno. Trying to convince myself that I want to play a 1 of tech card that I can get sometimes in my 54 card deck on the board state that matters is like such silliness to me. Like, it might be right. It's just like, I feel so bad. I don't think it's a wrong thing to do. I just feel really bad playing like tech cards. 2 Rashidas? Nah, never. It's like the best card. You already play 2 planograms. They are not the same card. Not as tech card is good ice. I think we already have Hordem as like that sort of slot of ice. Like, I don't think we need a mid-range code gate. If anything, we might want to play like 1 Pharos or 1 Tree Line. Like, just to have a big ice at some point in the game. Because our big ice is... Let's just not respect the meta and not play Hammer. This is the secret cost of playing Eminent Domain. It's like deck slots. Let's see how bad this draws. I thought this would be such a simple conceit. All right, we drew our Archer, so we're going to mulligan that. Okay. So we have End of Line, Public Trail, and Forge. So here we do just board control, Oaktown, Advance. Next turn, if they've ran, we can do Public Trail. We can't Angie, because Angie's threat 3. Oh, that's kind of ugly that she's threat 3. Whatever. We would do Public Trail end, or if not, we would just score out the Oaktown. Steal an Alice off the top, no big deal. Here we could probably do Rashida, Angie, Forced. I think we don't want to score Rashida until we get another ice. If this fires, we can do Tree Line probably. Angie seems too cute. Yeah, she's really good. Like, if they run her, they do 2 meat damage, which is exactly what we want to do to set up, you know, our kill combo. There's Public Trail 1 planogram for the big snake. Oh my god. Like, the question is, how soon can we find our end line to be consistent? Mind you, we played all those simulations without like trashing the top of the deck. But here we probably do Spin Doctor open, Winchester HQ. I guess we don't need 2 Afshars. This is not a keepable hand. This is okay, I guess. So we do planogram, draw 3, look at the top. It's a descent. I think we'd trash descent. So we're up on 7. We'd probably do... I don't know if I like Sandstone. Hey, Sword of Evil. Yeah, we Bruin. I don't think I like Sandstone. We're not ever going to purge. Might as well just play another Tree Line and then a Logjam. Just have a big... At least 1 Angie should go. Yeah, maybe we don't need 3 Angie. I think that's right. She's not that good until we're pretty deep into it. Maybe 3 Force Connection is also some nonsense too. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Pivot seems good. Yeah, we cut a pivot though. I think there's a big chance that we just do... The thing is, like, pivot's also threat 3, right? For total newbie, Isaac, how's it going? Which sets do you recommend buying first? I guess it's addition to SG and SC21. I'm not planning to play competitively, only casual with friends. Okay, Isaac, how's it going? Thanks for the question. Definitely you start with System Gateway. System Gateway is like the best learn to play thing ever. It comes with a full play set of everything, and everything in here is fantastic. So you should start there. From there, it's up to you. System Update, for what it's worth, is a bit of a strange set. It is reprints of old FFG cards and NSG, art and framing. And it touches, again, every single faction. It gives every single faction cards that are interesting. And then there's some duds in it. So it's not bad. And I think for money, it's probably a pretty good thing. The only thing you need to keep in mind, and mind you, if you're playing casual, this doesn't matter, is that this will rotate later this year. And in just a couple months this year, there'll be a new thing that's meant to take the place of System Update that will be designed entirely by NSG, and I imagine we'll be both most excited about. So if you're just playing casually on your table, you can pick this up, but I'd recommend getting System Gateway and then grabbing a full cycle and just not worrying about System Update until later this year. So for instance, Borealis cycle is both Parhelion and Midnight Sun. So together it's technically like 130 cards, and it explores the north. So what Corps and Runners are doing in like above the Arctic Circle. It's a pretty cool set. A lot of really exciting things, a lot of like very cool packages that like really kind of tip your hand to build decks in very interesting ways. I'd actually recommend this to be your next thing over System Update. Now, if System Update wasn't rotating last year, this doesn't matter if you're playing casually, mind you. And very important to know, if you want to go out and play in public, which I'd recommend to do because it's kind of sick, proxies are legal at all events, so you can just print cards you don't have. But I'd argue that you probably want to consider picking up the entire Borealis cycle sooner than System Update. Maybe some people will feel different than that. How's it going? Pivot solves that we can't find the end of line problem regardless of threat. Yeah, but then we don't have tags. right? Like the problem with pivot's a double. So if they don't have tags and we don't have threat, it's useless unless we're pivoting to add it to hand, which I don't think we can do. If there's any way to get 2 tags landed with 2 clicks left, Basalt sure does give you an easy second end of line. Yeah, maybe Basalt's actually just worth playing because Basalt has good text and means that we could do like public trail into public trail. Now, yeah, it's hard. Yeah, you're like 2 minutes behind. It's okay. I'm anxious about system update rotating. The game will be a completely foreign land without at least nearprints to so many of the cards. Oh, there's a lot of nearprints still in the set. As a casual player, I love the Borealis cycle. Yo, yeah, Boris, it's a really fun, flavorful cycle. There's a lot of really exciting stuff in there. Thanks a lot. Of course, Isaac, let us know how it goes. Welcome to the channel, by the way. I love the suggestion to get Borealis over Liberation, even though Liberation is the new hotness. I think Borealis is a more straightforward set. Yeah, so, Isaac, the last set that just came out, mind you, is called the Liberation Cycle, and it's also 130 cards. If you ever want to get into Startup, which is like the format that most newer players get into because it's the smallest card pool, that format is System Gateway, System Update, and the Liberation Cycle currently. Now, Liberation's a really weird set because I think it's a bit more complicated of a set, and it's less, I would say, hand-holding. Like, it kind of pushes you into the deep end a bit and says, here's some weird cards. Like, fundamentally, I think that Rebelling Without Rehearsal is mostly strange cards, but if you want to get into the game and understand and like have a clear like focus, I think Borealis is the way to go. It's not the newest set, but they're both good sets. But for new player, I think Borealis lands better. It's my guess. -2 Pred, -2 TRM for 2 Oppo. That's how we started. That's how we started. Like, maybe we don't need DRM. Maybe this just cuts slots out and that's what we wanted. The problem with Oppo, though, is like we're really bad at threat 3. So I think we do actually play Basalt Spire. Because like Basalt Spire to return an Oppo to hand seems kind of reasonable. And this is where you end up cutting Eminent Domain because like it's Eminent Domain. That seems okay, right? That we cut the Archer. Like, we're getting somewhere. My local meta is finally starting here in Honolulu. We're up to 4 to 6 regulars. Yo, let's go. David, that's sick. Yeah. I like the suggestion to get Borealis over Liberation, even though Liberation is the new hotness. I think I read that. I think, yeah, I agree. Still need to remove 2 points. Oh, yeah, it's true. That is true. Maybe like that? Maybe? Like, the thing with the Oaktown is we want to open Oaktown. Like, there's no way around it. We want to open Oaktown. Winchester's better than Afshar. I agree. Yeah, maybe we have enough end the run code gates for the remote server. We don't need this. So now we're down to like 2 little ice though. We're at 11, 12, 13, 14. What? How did we do that? We're down to 14 ice. Yeah, the next 3 slots should all be ice. So, oh, talk about also that Teia deck. If I could play Drafter, man, I want to play a Sentry and feel happy about it. Drafter's poisoned everything. We've opened space for pivots. Yeah, okay, fine. I'll play pivot. We hit threat 3 a bit better. We can play a pivot. Crimson Grid's also worth something. Why Oaktown over Offworld? It's faster. It pays us off if it gets stolen. You can score it and ice it and push everything in a single turn. Yeah. Envelopment? I'd rather play Logjam, maybe. Maybe an Envelopment. Because, okay, this is the thing. Mind you, if Logjam gets res for 4 cards, are pretty good. So the idea is like Oaktown, you install Oaktown, you advance Oaktown, you put ice in front of it. And even if you res a Whoredom and you go down to like, what, 3 credits, you can still score at the agenda. Even if you res an Envelopment, you can still score at the agenda because the first advancement pays for the second advancement, pays for the third advancement. That's why Oaktown's been like really core in a lot of rush decks. 14 ice in the 54 deck. It's not a lot. No, we're working on it. Let's try Envelopment. I think if we're playing Envelopment, though, we should play Extract. Because, like, this is really bad. The other ones can be sorted by, can be cheated. Logjam, I guess not. Yeah, Logjam doesn't get cheated. Like, I kind of like Logjam. Envelopment doesn't get cheated. Look, let's try triple Logjam. I don't know. Oh, triple Tree Line, double Logjam. That's art. 853. So what are we at? 16 ice? 17 ice. That seems good. Let's do some test draws. Okay, this is good. We would just do... Okay, I like this. We would do Oaktown, Advance, Logjam. Pharaoh's grows better with Tree Line than Logjam. Yeah, but I want to res this for 4 credits. We care about the Pharaoh's tag. I just don't like Pharaohs. I don't like triple advancing Pharaohs. I don't like Pharaohs. Pharaohs shouldn't exist. Then let's score this, I think. Here we can probably Economic Warfare to see at the top. If it's a Spin Doctor, we probably wouldn't trash it, let's be honest. We can strap this somewhere. Ice H, probably Ice R&D sooner. Then we'd go, yeah, this doesn't seem great. It seems a bit stodgy. Here, this is why we want to Oaktown. We do Oaktown, install Advance. What's wrong with Pharaohs? I don't like 10 strength ice. I don't like advanceable ice. I don't like ice that like, I know we're playing logjam, but logjam is 3 separate. I don't like advanceable ice. Admittedly, logjam is a bit more problematic, but like, ooh, my Ferris is 10 strength does not excite me about Netrunner. Having the Oak Stones actually have been really good. Yeah, this is the issue, is how soon do we draw to end the line, right? Like how many draws does it take for our combo to actually do anything consistently? It's within the realm. Malper Data Vault Subliminal. Yo, this I don't know about. People love Subliminal in Nuvem because it obviously is sick in Nuvem. It obviously is sick in Nuvem. I just don't see why the runner can't run every turn. Why can't the runner run every turn? Like if they don't run, you're right. It's like a clickless 2 credits. Like it's 3 credits. It's sick. I just don't understand why doesn't the runner run always? Like what are they scared of, our ice? I can't figure out why Subliminal is good. I guess yeah, with Public Trail it is good. Maybe we should play 2. Just to me, like I think a lot of people put Subliminal in decks where it doesn't belong. Admittedly though, in Nuvem it is kind of fire. Especially because if you also trash it, it comes back from the bin. That's like undeniably good. Even if you play it once, there's 3 cards for no clicks. Yeah, I know. It's not bad. It's not bad. And you probably play it twice and it fires from the bin. But like what slots take that Subliminal slot? Mind you, we don't have enough economy. Like we have 2 econ cards. Holy shit. I didn't know how do we have not that much economy? Like we have to pay 7 for our combo. I merely know we pay 5 for our combo. Wall to wall, we need to be jamming in the remote server constantly. Maybe it's good to have something that's not a wall to wall, or not an agenda to jam, but maybe that's what this is for. You think we trashed the force connection for subliminals? I think I'll check back in an hour for the version with econ. Yeah. Seth, if you want to break it out in person, maybe you should wait a bit. What is this, Kentucky deck? Yeah, but we have an ID that gives us economy sometimes. Yeah, maybe ditch. This is the problem with like the cool cards, is you probably end up ditching them. I honestly think Force Angelique might be worse than Forced. But Virus is a crutch. Yeah, but it's kind of necessary. Quick payout with NGO. NGO we don't want to do. It's not as good as an operation. Like NGO is a whole turn to get functionally 6 credits. When we can just play like a hedge fund to gain 6 for a single click. Bruno, before government subsidy, I would either do extract or maybe armed asset protection, which are very comparable, but more easily playable, especially when we're on low credits. No, we'll play NG. Mindscaping to mold your Nuvem trash. I think spending time and effort molding your trash is probably not worth it. But that being said, I do think Mindscaping is worth it with a public trail combo. Like it's very comparable to Angelique. Yeah, we're just gonna send it. This seems okay. Yeah, Mindscaping makes sense in some of these decks for sure. It's not econ, but a clearinghouse sure does help kill the runner. Yeah, we played clearinghouse in our startup version of Modernism. We did like a year ago. It's okay. It was the most cuttable card in the list. Ah, okay, yo, you want to see something cool? So the seal put together a script, and then it didn't work, and then did a lot of troubleshooting to make it work. And now I am so happy. Thank you, Seal. If I go to the deck builder tab, I used to have 1,102 decks, 1,102 decks. Now I have 21. Look how smooth this thing loads. I can click on stuff. It just shows up. Oh my God. It's like an absolute new thing. Thank you so much. It's a script to run that just not only saved all the decks in a JSON file, so arguably I could re-import them, but also now deleted 1,080 decks at the same time. Yeah, it runs great. This runs incredible. I used to run like absolute garbage. I don't know. Was I the person with the most deck lists? Like, do people delete their deck lists? I'm imagining they do. I didn't. What was the most cursed deck list you had to purge? I don't know. So I did not check through all 1,100 of them. I just hit the script and just typed in a number and it deleted that many of the oldest. It was funny because the first time we ran the script, it was sorting by like deck ID, which is just like some irrelevant string. And so it deleted 2 random decks and then we were trying to figure out what they were. And that was kind of funny. We figured out what they were. They weren't that good. It was like a Geist deck. I think that's a safe bet for a random delete. Do you want to script the double the amount of decks you have? Yes. Actually, if you have that, just because I feel a bit lonely. Oh, it's 419. Hey, hey. All right. So this hand is not very good. This is the... Oh, it's Zaya. It's Zaya. New haircut. This is the Zaya alt-art, which is forced upon you, I think. I'm going to turn off the egg. So this hand is Rashida. I genuinely thought that was 4-9. That's not even 4-9's card. I think we can mulligan this. Yeah, that's a much better hand. Okay. Oh, that's a much better hand. You think Zaya's going to run turn one? So here we're going to do hedge fund, Winchester and HQ, probably Hortum and R&D. Double Winchester on Centrals is not terrible against Zaya, let's be honest. And we can keep the end runs for the remote server. Like, this still is a pretty rough trace. That being said, we can't res into a face check. That's kind of bad. So I'll do the subliminal. Trash a border control. Imagine's on the bottom of the deck, am I right? HQ, R&D. All right, well, we have... Oh, shit, we shouldn't have played 2 events. We should have staggered our events. That's on me, yeah. We should have staggered our events. We had no reason to play hedge fund there. And Nuvem is first time a turn. I don't think we res here. Not a fan of that alt-art existing. Yeah, me neither. It got me good. This is the plugin, mind you. This is a Zaya. That's not JNet. I played Tron 4 on this alt-art the other night and played around 419 for like 2 turns before I realized. What did Tron see? Tron saw the BC, okay. Yeah, this alt-art I don't think should be foisted on everyone. All right, let's draw once. Okay, hedge fund to start. Spin doctor on the top. We're not going to trash that. That feels really bad, honestly. New remote. Cool. It's extremely poor for accessibility. Yeah, this one's pretty bad for accessibility, for sure. That's kind of the joke, but yeah, no, I hear you. Jane has labeling and settings? It does? Dirty Laundry, gonna find out that we threw out a border control. Pretty cool. Turns off the 3-credit econ card. Carmen, Jailbreak, Winchester. Gonna steal an Atlas. Don't have to break all the subroutines. We're gonna get hit here pretty bad. It's kind of expensive though. But you're gonna get 2 credits for it. What this says about me, but I would have snap trash that spinny. I think so, but we can't win with this hand, so we need to get a better hand. We don't actually need 2 more credits there. We're getting, like, because this we need, otherwise we're drawing, right? Like, we needed to make a play like this. Can we let HQ be open turn after turn? I guess with double Winchester. I wanted to put that on the remote server, but I think that's okay. We can't fire Rashida behind a single Winchester. That's some cold coffee. Andre, you talk through your coffee. Okay. We'll res a Hortum here. It means we can play a bit around, what's it called? Hermes before it shows up. Inside job the remote server. We could consider resing the border control again. It plays around Hermes, but I don't think we have a big reason to. We don't put an agenda behind a single ice. This is where, like, if we top deck public trail, we win. Like, this is the thing, is we top deck a public trail, we win. The problem is it's 3 and 42. Let's go for it. Stack cards, just label unres and label face up. For real? Oh, that's sick. Why doesn't everyone do that? All right, so we have a chance of finding a public trail here. I'm without fear? No, you should have some fear. Okay. That's not good. Oh, that was a bad turn. We do not have the ability to make plays because we are inherently very inconsistent as a deck. We fired Nuvem on most of our turns, and it's been okay. Yeah, I do my archive sorting through, oh, we got a subliminal, that's nice. 1 turn too late. Okay, so we'll do Sublimity. Angelique, in more like in the bin. We'll do server 1. And we probably do Oaktown Advance. We'll see if he lets us have this. His money's pretty good. Double barrier is like, okay, it's a board control too. So like it beats inside job, it beats, you know, most things. I think he can let us have these 2 points. Like he doesn't have to tilt into this. Now his money is good. So public trail, economic warfare, and the line is like not a real thing. Yeah, this is what you do. You just let the corporation have this. Oh, but he didn't run. Yeah. Okay, Subliminal's pretty good. So next turn we probably jam the Basalt Spire, I guess. We'll have a second ice here. I think Tron now has gone through more than half the deck. So having a breaker. Tree line at this point has 3 extra counters. That's kind of great. It means it comes in at 4 strength. I think it was unintentionally, but I love and immediately have adopted Sublimini. What? Sublimini is the name of the card. There's not that many. I think we can let Tron trash that. There's not that many cards, I think, from System Update in which I cannot decide which of the 2 arts, the old art or the new art, I like better. Subliminal Messaging is one of those cards. I can't tell which art I like better. The original art is so weird. This one's equally weird. So, blah, 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 blah. There's the Hermes, okay. Shibboleth. So now the problem is like if we push out the Basalt Spire, I think we public trail here and we just trash casts. Like either he pays 8 or we ruin his board. We also could have economic warfare at first. I don't think we have a huge incentive to. Public trial? I have not typed that into a thing before. Pays 8, love it. Drop card is hedge fund. Yeah, let's get rid of that. So now we can economic warfare him down to 1, but immediately with daily cast, they'll be a bit better. So here we can like push the Basalt Spire, and by push, now you econ warfare. Yeah, but then we lose the Nuvem ability, right? Like dropping him on this turn. If we had a 3-2, yeah. So I think we waited for the economic warfare for next turn where it'll be better. Like hopefully that slows him down enough. But I don't love the Basalt in the remote server. We can't score it out unless we top deck literally nothing, right? Like Audacity maybe. We could public trail again, but we don't have single tag punish that matters. Like retributing the Carmen actually could have been game winning. Well, probably the Shibboleth. Hey Coke, I like the Subliminal art. It has that 90s. This is what the internet will look like aesthetic. It's like the second edition Shadowrun art. Yeah, it's like ONR. It's cool. Trail again out of spite. No, we need to keep it for a win condition. I'll draw. Ugly. Server 1. Okay. Not great. I think we can score out this Atlas and get something bounced. If we top deck the like 1 slash and burn, I don't know if that's good enough. It might slow him down. Like paying 8 credits when we pay 2 is kind of wild. Retribution and pivot to find it might be a good slot in Lobby and Crim. It's hard to do pivot. We have a pivot, but a single retribution maybe is worth it. Just have a toolbox. All right, so we're probably cooked here. Actually. Oh, I think I know what deck this is. Not at all. Yeah, I like Pretty with I think she's a bit better than I think she is, but I've like seen her with like the decks that are running 3 copies. It's cool because it's a card that allows you to play Jailbreak a bit better, and Jailbreak is like on the cusp of being playable. The problem to me, like Jailbreak is a really upsetting turn 1 card, and Pretty makes Jailbreak better. I don't know if I like Pretty to support other run packages. Andre talking about being cooked all the time makes me hungry. Almost lunchtime. Oh, don't make me hungry. I got a bunch of lessons tonight. So like we stream till 4 and then from 4 to 5 I have dinner, and then like 5 to 9:30 is like lessons tonight. No change. We need to get that Shibboleth down because eventually break Horden for like 6 credits, which is pretty good. We don't know the top of the deck, right? No, we don't. Uh-oh. Okay. Why is Jailbreak upsetting turn 1? That's how you lose 4 points in turn 1. Can't ice up everything. Sometimes you just lose 4 points. 5 cards in hand. Okay, so we can like Spiteful and the line him. We can do Economic, Public Trail, and the line. He knows the next 1 card on R&D. Shibboleth is now bad. You can ice up centrals. If you're icing up centrals turn 1 and not pushing out, you're generally losing a lot. And even then, rezzing all your ice on turn 1. Like, you'll notice most competitive decks, unless you're playing Glacier, don't ice up both centrals turn 1. They want to make a play. Because making a play is more important because you have to close the game out really quickly unless you're like a full Glacier deck. Like Ag and Fusion will ice up 2 Centrals. But like that Teia deck cannot ice up 2 Centrals. Time to push out the Basalt? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we have to, but like he can just find a barrier breaker. Like he has 14 cards left in his stack. Like how does he not have his barrier breaker? What does it cost to break tree line border control with Kurapira? This costs 2. Yeah, it seems really bad. I think we're in a really bad spot. And once he's on game point, obviously like end of line public trail, it gets a bit harder, not too hard. I think we economic warfare for spite, Atlas advance. We just gotta keep pushing forward. You can hedge Atlas advance. We'd rather do, yeah, economic warfare. Because it's not that we need more money. We need him to have less money. Our money doesn't matter. His money matters. Yeah, going from like 16 to 20 has no impact on this game. Yeah. This doesn't feel good. We're just not consistent. We don't have a consistent enough game plan compared to like, I don't know, the other Waylands. There, yeah, now we're probably cooked. Oh, it's Bravado. Now we're definitely cooked. Andre and Nuvem, yeah. Pick one, how's it going? This is really not good. Yeah, we lost the game, I think. Oh, this is not the Basalt. This is where, like, I think throwing out Angelique was wrong. Because we can win on maybe 4 cards in hand. It's so hard to win on 5 cards in hand. Oh, wait, we got our Atlas, actually. Wait a second. We're the best. He can't break it? I didn't realize that was last click. Hermes is going to return the Winchester to hand, and then we probably are in a bad spot. I honestly don't think we need the hedge fund. Beatrice is sick. Yo, putting together all the like the female connections from the last couple sets actually does make a good deck. It's really funny. Like I don't know if intentionally they all worked well together, but they all work well together. Like Beatrice, pretty. Even some of the older connections, like the girlfriend tribal deck, if people call that. Like Psych Mike. Oop. Oop. Oop, our board state. Now, if Tron didn't draw there, we would win. Unfortunately, with 5 cards in hand, we have no way of winning. Oh, yeah, if he didn't draw there, we could win if we top deck this, which we did. So the best we can do is spitefully trash his whole board. I think here we probably need to do that. It's a Hordem. It's pretty good ice, honestly. At least trash bad beat. Beatriz, Freire, Gonzalez. Which one am I more worried about? I'm actually more worried about Pretty. I've never trashed Beatriz before. I'll trash Pretty. Seeing more cards is more likely to win. Megamind, no retribution. It's somewhere in 54, right? Do you need the mandate so you can do some extra damage? I was thinking about it, Jeff, but like, how do you set that up? Like the question is, what is extra damage? Because you need to play an operation. So you could do like mandate into public trail. And then you have to be like Beatriz into, not Beatriz, you have to do Angelique into end line. Like maybe for Mindscaping you could do it. It seems so hard. Yeah, maybe Mindscaping. It seems really, really difficult. I think at this point though, like if we hit a retribution, it's probably more game winning. Yeah, just play retribution seems correct. I think that's a probably better thing is we should have 2 forks. It shouldn't just be kill. It should be also tags matter because we have retribution or yeah, maybe even we could do the other one. Maybe we shouldn't play kill. Maybe we should just play public trail tempo. Like that one where the guy is like sneaking up on some people in an alleyway that we cut from the deck. Why couldn't you Angelique public trail in the line? Because it only does 5 damage. You had 5 cards in hand. We could have done it, but it wasn't flatline. It just empties his hand. We could res a Spin Doctor here, but it means that he sees more cards. Any big money win contests besides Big Deal? Punitive, arguably. Big Deal, Holloman, sort of. Oh, shit. Well, we can't kill him. I thought Angelique was 2. Yeah, she's 2 when you access her. She's 1 when you expend her. Now they're dead? No, they're not dead. End of line clears the tag. Eric, the thing you have to remember is, like, if you want to play Sudden Commandment, it costs like 7 credits. It's really rough. 2 Angeliques in archives? Yeah, we milled 1. So the most we can do is still 5 damage. Yeah, 2 Angeliques end of line would have been lethal here. I think we have enough money. It's like +1, -1. Spin Angelique. Yeah, but then we can't draw her. Like, we don't have enough time to draw her. Reshuffle Angelique into the deck and Atlas for her. Oh, yeah, wait. That makes sense. Yeah, that seems good. Well, even like Public Trail, I think, is lethal. Is Public Trail lethal too? Because we do Public Trail, we're down to 4. No, we don't have enough money. The thing is, like, Tron didn't have to go this hard. Shouldn't have listened to Wolf 2. Good game. Yeah, I think if he didn't listen to Wolf 2 there, we're in a bad spot. Okay, that was cool. Yeah, Public Trail takes much more money. I thought we maybe would be able to scrape through. I think we're short 1 credit, maybe? Thanks for the game. The connections synergy is pretty slick. Okay, so we need to make that line more consistent for the deck. All the bullets, count the shells? 2. 3. 3 bullets. That's all it takes. One of them is really big, though. Because I think this fellow here has like a... Can't tell what he has. Looks like a big gun. I'm having a lot of success with R&D, Zaya. Just hammer and collect ID money. You got Eerie in there? I wonder if you do 1 Eerie, 1 Beatrice. I think they're the same influence. Yeah, I played online where there's like I played against a bunch of Shaper players too. They just drop Beatrice, Pretty, Iru, Hermes, and just hammer you. And then the game just feels like hopefully R&D holds up. Oh, beans, right. Zaya only triggers if the run's on R&D or HQ. Where was that tag from? He floated a tag from the Public Trail last turn. He didn't clear it. Right, like Tron wolfed hard there. He didn't have to wolf that hard. If he just cleared the tag, we have no game. Yeah, Zaya says whenever you run an HQ or an R&D. So the run for Iru is run archives. Unfortunate. 2B a 3 pretty, 3 geobic, 3 pretty. Whoa. I don't know if I'd do 3 pretty. I get it. It's really good. Play Psych Mike. I mean, free money? Yeah, for sure. It is an econ card. But I wonder if like Dawkins Pass and Wake are just better. How much does Psych Mike cost? Tron, can you hear me? Oh, 4 influence. 4 influence. Woof. 50% more accesses? With jail, well, it's not 50 because you can't fire pretty on a single, right? So it's always like 33% more accesses. Yeah. Neat. Thanks for the game. Yeah. So things that we could have had if, okay, so this is where like the fundamentals of the deck get challenged. If we had whatever the trace one is, that could have fired off central servers, then that actually opens a window for us. Going from 2 to 3 is 50% more. Yeah, you're not wrong. I think of it as 33% more, but I see what you mean. Yeah, I get it. Psych also doesn't combo with Beatrice. Oh, it doesn't? Dead, how's it going? How's the artist? Why are you playing the artist? What happened to you? What happened to Netrunner? We're playing the artist? We just have too much influence? Answer for yourself. Just play Maker's Eye? I don't know if you want to. I think Jailbreak is just as good if you have Pretty. Yeah, we're playing the artist. Yeah, I saw. Okay, let's change nothing and see if this is somehow better. I can't believe you're playing the artist. It's so silly. It's 5 influence. Like there's no... I don't know. Environmental testing, is that better? I don't think I shouted this out. I think Jai posted a deck that was like doing Ari and playing privileged Axis with environmental testing in Shaper. So the idea is with privileged access, if you're on threat, right? You can run archives, take a tag, then install an environmental testing, and then threats reinstall a program so it sees the environmental testing. I think that's hilarious. And it's only 2 influence. It's just the tag, obviously, that's really ugly. But like, that seems kind of cool. I'm kind of into that. Resetting environmental testing at 1 counter seems kind of great. Force connection, yeah, force connection. Only playing the artist I can see is Ocarina. Is the artist good in Ocarina? Slots are hard. What to do when you have 5 influence in 1 slot? Yeah, yo, NetDead, I played an event this week and I played 2 decks with 14 influence. Like, I don't know what to do. There's some decks I'm just like, I guess I'm good. But you don't have to spend all your influence. Just play Bravado. Like, that's unfortunately what it comes down to, right? It's like you end up playing Bravado. Okay. Can we rush out Logjam Oaktown? I think we can. Thanks, you too. We're playing against Kit, so the question is how quickly can Kit spark out? I think Oaktown Logjam is pretty good. Oaktown Border Control is probably fine too. We fundamentally res this for 3, this for 4. We actually want to wait for the Logjam. Let's just do the Border Control. So this is why you play Oaktown, right? Logjam's a sick card. Yeah, I kind of like it. Practice environmental testing Muse. Coalescence is the most hilarious way to accomplish very little. I don't think you can Muse for Muse. Oh, wow. Waken Plant. Hardcore. Because Muse is a non-daemon, right? You can't host a Muse on a Muse. I don't think you can. Yeah, you can't Muse, yeah. So now you can lock 3 on R&D. You can also lose to like some really rough top decks here. So now we need to ice up centrals. Uh-oh, slash and burn. I think it's so hard to play against Shaper decks. Like how they spend their influence, it's impossible to tell. Okay, so put this on R&D. This on HQ seems good. And then why click for credit when you can advance this? The question is, can we res all our ice? Probably not. So was their turn stealing 2 points worth it for the loss of tempo? I don't honestly know. I don't know if they trashed the pivot. It's hard to tell. But like they're so far from setting up and it's so easy for us to get 2 ice. Oh my God, never mind. So if we res the tree line, wait, how many new cards are they seeing? 1? Liam, I'm doing good. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. So thinking. Very importantly, if we res the tree line, we go down to 4 credits, which means we can res the border control. So if we do all that, we can't res the Winchester. This is again, another reason why we play Oaktown over Offworld, because you can res your ice and go down to 0. So I'm assuming we res the tree line, then HQ gets farmed. I'm actually okay with them seeing 2 on R&D. Trashing the pivot also like made the border control. Oh, it's a border control, not a logjam, excuse me. Slightly better. Except that one's actually really good if you want to pop SMC on the corpse turn and have DZ lily pad. Oh, Jesus, what's happening? Well, if we top deck well, they can die this turn. I'm doing great, thanks. Hey, good to hear. Not sure why you didn't res there. I think they only saw 1 new card. The chance of it being a 3-pointer is pretty low. If we res both of these, we bottom out on 0, and then they can run HQ. Like, I think it's more important we keep the Winchester credits to stop the wake. Right? Like, this blows the game out. Stopping the tree line, I don't think was that important. Hey, Steven! Trick Shot is an extra access. Yeah, no, I was aware about that, but I thought they knew the top card, so they'd only see 1 card. It turns out it was, but it was a Basalt. But I think if we went down to 0 and then they just hammer HQ with Wake, I think it's worse than us. Like, the fact that we can do all this and trash the Wake, like, puts them on nothing. I think that's much more important. Is this deck on a Duduwa? I think my new favorite server is a Duduwa from Logjam. It's not. And I think there's a bias on this channel where I just fundamentally don't like infinite advanceable ice, that I avoid playing it at all costs. I wouldn't call 5 points nothing. Yeah, but 5 points is not the expected result of accessing, what is it, 4 cards. Like, obviously it wasn't nothing, but like seeing 4 cards and stealing 5 points, like you don't play around that. Steven, I shouted out your deck list earlier today. We talked about it, Teia. I think your list is cool. I think you know that though. We didn't score this out too, because like we don't have to. Okay. So we want to get something in front of this so it's a barrier in the innermost. A Duda was a way to get advancements on it before you res a Hilarious until it's amazingly hard to hippo. Oh, it dies amazingly, yeah. Sometimes variance blows you out when you play the odds. You still play the odds? Yeah. Omicron, how's it going? Yeah. It's a results thing. Like, I don't think resing there was correct. What happened was bad for us. Like, there's no way around that. So now we advance it, we get 2 credits, which happened on the other advancement there. I think we can't afford to greed this because of the board state. Like, I think we do have to score this out. And then we'll just put, I think this on R&D. I think a Winchester will hold for a bit. Thank you. Just jumped out on for a second, missed the beginning of the stream. Hey, no worries. You can tree line the Dudois, Isaac and the new card. Yeah, it's not an archetype I enjoy. I think sitting back and advancing your ice and then moving Isaac around and advancing your ice to build like a thing that the runner can run on is like just some of the least exciting Netrunner. Okay, now the problem is we have to force him to run. Being behind on 5 points is obviously going to make that a bit tricky. Okay, let's draw once. We haven't played an event. That's the thing we want on their mode server. And then I think we can just put a logjam in front of it. We don't have to actually res it. We need to make sure we're not going too low on credits. I say as a Digimon player who sometimes does not find stuff because all my level 6s are clumped in the bottom 15 of my cards. It sucks. Weren't you the one that's saying the other day I will eavesdrop on my tributary? Yeah, but that's fun. You make decisions. I haven't done it yet. We should definitely do it. A bunch of other folks were talking about it today during the stream. Okay. They're on 9 credits. They have to beat Logjam twice with border control. So I think we want to go for Atlas for a counter. The Mavirus looks better than it is. We haven't fired Nuvem once. Like, keep that in mind. We haven't fired Nuvem once. That's a really hard spot to be in. As a former Digimon player, I feel your pain. So we can put the Mavirus on top of it just to look better. We're going to discard a bunch of cards here. So maybe Spin Doctrine on the table is totally fine. So we can Audacity this out for another counter because our hand is kind of not good. Where are your operations, Mr. Streamer? I didn't build a better deck. They're in there. With your luck, you only face Shapers on Hush and Cuban? Yeah, maybe. It just lost to Eavesdrop, Tributary, and GameNet. Oh my god, GameNet. I think I play an R+, maybe. Maybe you don't need to. Let's see what they do here. Would I trade this hand? Because like here, they're probably just like waiting to Spark of Inspiration. If they do, they're down to 6 credits. If they're on Kit, it's very hard for them to play Hush because it doesn't spark well. But we have to just make sure we don't go too low and can't res both of these servers. So like scoring on the Atlas is going to have an implication on our economy totals, that's for sure. And we actually don't have that much burst economy. Like drawing a Subliminal here would have been sick. It would have fired like 5 times. Maybe 3 times. Pretty. Okay, Eru's going to come down. Furball, cool. I think this is the thing I noticed with like Pretty is there's a lot more people playing like the Haymaker R&D decks, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to ignore the board state and then just Haymaker R&D every couple of turns. Which like, okay. I don't think it's consistent, but it can win games. It's frustrating to lose against it, I think. But they're just inherently not going to interact, and then like an Eru will come down and then they'll send it. So I think we want to Ice Archives. They're also not running anymore, so our whole win condition of Public Trail is like cooked. I will steal your future. Threw out Beatrice and a Trick Shot and a Cataloger. That's a lot of Centrals pressure. Okay, I'm going to Spin Doctor to find an economy piece. That was good enough. Tree Line. Yeah, we can throw that out. I think Logjam and Archives seems silly. We have a click left here. We can advance the Alice once more. So Pivot lets us actually search for agendas, which is like kind of nice because we can grab the last Basalt Spire and close the game out. We don't actually need that with Alice. But I think our game plan is like get this Alice to have another counter and then we can push a double agenda thing. I don't know if we actually need this. Because I think our game plan is to score out another Atlas, use these Atlas counters to Audacity this Atlas, and then Audacity the second above the law or whatever. They need to play economy. Spark, there you go. Spark waiting room. There's a Lobby Summon. They found the good one first. More Subliminal, punish non-running. We're on 2. It's just a 54 guard deck. I don't want to play 3 Subliminal. Maybe we do. Maybe it is just that good. It could be that good. Nyasha? Yeah, these are the sort of like Hailmaker Centrals decks that we play against a lot. This is an issue with trying decks to kill with Nuvem and Modernism style decks. You have to sit there not playing your operations so your ID doesn't fire. Yeah. That's if you have too many of these. Like, I think we played one deck of Super Modernism in like launch week, and that's the thing we came down to is like our ability doesn't fire. Okay, so I think we can go for 1 counter here. We could have gone for 2 counters, but I think we need to res both of these. Lobisomum still goes through it, and they just see 3 cards. And there's not much we can do about it. That being said, we beat Cataloger. But here, it's money that's a problem for them. So I don't think we're going to forward Oppo. I think we just discard this. Click for a credit. I think we just discard this. Because next turn we Atlas Audacity. And then the turn after, we hopefully reset it, I think. They're on Hippocampic? Wait, they're on Hippocampic? No. No, they're not on Hippocampic. Are they? Three cards in hand? They were, yeah, but they didn't run. Maybe that's a sort of far-fetched, but there's how my brain was prioritizing to discard. They have verbal, they're going to be up on cards every turn, yeah. No, it's going to be hard. Hey, the doorbell went off. I can't... Did my partner hear it? No, they didn't. I'll check in a second between games. Credit. Like, they just have economy issues. But the thing is, like, they'll trick shot R&D. Luckily, we have a border control there. But, like, the thing they'll do is trick shot, probably, or jailbreak. 1 second. Oh, in the log of Spark, they showed it. Oh, yeah, they are on Hippocampic. You're right. Hand size. I see what that means. I see what you mean. Just click for credits. And, like, this sort of play pattern, like, when you can, you know, send it R&D for... Like, we can easily lose to this. Like, Estabrado R&D. Admittedly, we can border control that, but, like, oof. So we can do Atlas. Okay. We can do Atlas, Advanced Audacity, be on game point. We don't have hostiles in the list anymore, right? We never did. So if that's the case, we would have to hope we draw 3-2. I played tags in Nuvem and I've cut end the line. Yeah, I could see it. Maybe we can play slow here. The problem is, like, the stakes are relatively high. Like, I think we draw once, hedge fund, spin doctor, and server 1. Because I think having this spin doctor on the table is actually really important. If they run it, it's good for us. Economic warfare, more like it's gone. 1 second. Partner can't hear me. It's okay. Where's Scorpus Hunter Killer when you need it? Hey, Ren, how's it going? They hadn't stolen agenda since, like, turn 2. We're sitting there with our Hunter Seeker in hand. How's it going, Tuesday stream? Got done powering through both tier lists to warm up from a Netrunner. Yo, how'd you like the tier lists? Spark, waiting for breakers. Let's see if we get an Orca. We got an Orca. None of our ice is safe. For what it's worth, like, I don't know if you need the Orca here to face check. You're, like, worried that this one is, like, a Stavka or an Archer, I guess. But if that's the case, you can still close the game out. Shaper Indian pressure just ramps up really fast now, which works really well with how quickly you can set up pressure after TAI's cards. Yeah. Oh, they overinstalled on their... Oh, they had to overinstall on top of the Nyasha. Right. They don't have a console. These are both 2s. That's unfortunate. All right. So this is the last click. So we just make them spend as much as we can make them spend. Lobisomu is a code gate. Rip MUs. Yeah. Yeah, MUs went. Trick shot. So this just taxes out, what's it called? Lobisomu charges. It's a bit expensive. No, it costs 2. It's not expensive. Love the discussion around tiers. As a bad deck builder, to hear more discussion about how to value cards is awesome. Hey, cheers. I know I got some good feedback that, like, having the more nuanced tiers is actually really good. Right? We're not, like, the difference between an enabler and a role player are kind of important. So we just don't let this happen. Like, we're back to R&D interface. Oh my god, trick shot still fires? I totally forgot about that. That's really funny. Trick shot still fires. 100% agree that this use tier structures, but yeah, that's totally Jeff's idea, by the way. That's entirely Jeff. He's like, hey, I have a better idea for a tier structure. I'm like, oh yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Cool. Great idea. Running this spin doctor. Okay. So this spin doctor, we don't really need to use. I think we'd rather Polymaze not have 2. Oh no, they undid the click. Same, the tier structure was good. Hey, good to hear the feedback. If you have any feedback, even if it's not like, this was good, you can definitely let me know. Yeah, it's okay. Hey, no worries. Run that back. So how many points are left in the deck? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We can set something up where we know the top of the deck, so there's some value in that. So there's still 11 points in R&D, if I'm not mistaken. So this logjam, how good is it? It's enough. 4 strength feels good. They don't have counters on the logjam, let alone the border controls here. If this fires on the face check, I think we're okay with it. Would an development been as good here? Yeah, maybe. Don't we save money for the win? We can score out on very little money, but ideally if this fires, it only costs us 4 credits. It's not that bad. Oh, that's ugly. Actually, that's not that ugly. So now we're just going to hope R&D holds, especially with 4 points being in archives. Because I think we just do Atlas for Audacity, but then we have to draw a 3-2 and then hold a 3-2. That's pretty difficult, actually. Oh my god, if we let them have a successful run, we would have just killed them. Yeah, if we didn't res. Yeah, I'm just realizing if we didn't res, we would have won the game. Because we just would have done public trail into end line. I am a monkey. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Ugly. Oh, I hate what I have become. Okay, 3 tricks that are out, 1 overclock is out, 24 cards. Thinking. Because now, if we throw out our 2 public trails, we're in a really bad spot. HQ, mind you, costs them 4 credits. That's like not too expensive. In fact, 3 credits? What do you mean? They steal if we don't pop the... No, we could have made them run server 1. And if they touch the spin doctor, they made a successful run, and we just do public trail into end of line, they die. Resing the logjam cost us the game. Yeah, that's on us. That's really, really bad. Should have kept that in mind. I didn't realize I had 2 cards in hand. Yeah. Yeah, the logjam. Yeah, blinded by the jam. We wanted to play the new card. We wanted to see all those cool counters show up. Yeah, that's not good. Now this spin doctor is ugly. Thinking R&D costing 2 credits is rough. Yeah, but what can you do about it? Like it's this icebreaker suite. It's hard to make it cost less than 2 credits. Like they only see 1 card unless they like play something. We're good against cataloger because we have spin doctor, so I don't mind. Can you afford it though? Yeah, it costs 7 credits. Because public trail costs us 2 because we get 2 back, and the line costs 3. We're credit perfect. Let alone we wouldn't have res the log jam, so we would have had more money. So we were totally fine. Sorry, still thinking. So we have to figure what to do. If we do Atlas into Audacity, it's pretty ugly because we throw out the public trails, and we want those to win. So I think we just like hunker down a bit. I think we draw once. But what are we drawing into? Like we have to jam in Oaktown. Can you hide the Oak in archives and just Audacity a hostile next turn? We don't have hostiles, right? The problem is we don't have hostile takeovers. So if we Atlas this, we throw out our win condition. I'm going to do it. I'm going to tilt, and we're just going to do it. Angelique. Nice. So once we top deck a 3-2, which we have 2 spin doctors to break lock, we can win the game. There's also 2 points in archives, which is sick because it's not an R&D, and I don't think they're going to run archives anytime soon. They can break 3, but not 2 after the end of run once. I think on this, if they have an overclock, we're in a bad spot. Because they can Lobi Somu charge, and then they can overclock this, probably break it. Jam Oakdown, if they steal, we kill. No, if they steal, they win. They're on 7 points. If they were on 3 points, yeah, we would jam the Oakdown 100%. The best case scenario is they think that the game is here, and that's why we stalled for so long. Oh, that's the worst case. That is straight up the worst case. They needed a multi-axis run to make. So they're going to see here 4 cards. Yeah, they were on 4. Yeah, you're right. So we're going to just put some cards back in there. Just put some cards in there. We're going to put public trail, I think. I guess Atlas. The Audacity always public trail. We probably lose here. Yeah, all right. Good game. Next game. Yeah. Hey, cheers.
Yeah, we botched that. We definitely should have won that last turn. That's on us. Just don't res your ice if you have a public trail in hand. Yeah. This sort of like, this is what I worry about, is like these sort of cards too, just gave them focus on running R&D over and over again. And I think with Brute Force, it can overwhelm a lot of corps. I think we were unlucky, obviously, losing 5 points on turn 1, and then sitting against this feels really rough. But like, running HQ made sense, I think, on an earlier turn. And a lot of players, when they play pretty, they play, you know, trick shot makers out of the tunnel and R&D. And it works out, right? Like, it's just enough Brute Force that you can continue to do that. Axis 10 stole 3. Yeah, it was pretty bad. The early game was really, really rough. But like, there's not that many agendas left in the deck. Like, they saw 4 there, which is a lot. There was only 4 agendas and 28 cards. So we were not unfavored to lose that access. Like, if they also really want to make sure that access goes through, I think you challenge this Spin Doctor first. Oh, no, we cracked it anyways. But, like, if you want to run this Spin Doctor... Oh, because we have 2 Spin Doctors. Yeah, you can't force the Archive Shuffle. But yeah, there's only 4 agendas and 28. We probably statistically don't lose on R&D there. Does it, though? I don't know. Maybe it's too ace build, but if the runner doesn't interact, I just win on turn 8. Yeah. Well, no, I hear you, but, like, I don't know. If the game is just like before the corporation jams into your remote server and does ace of nonsense and wins, you can't see enough cards on R&D. Like, I feel like it's just 2 people slot machining at each other. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the interaction doesn't feel as nuanced as you want it to. Have we played a single oppo? No, we haven't. I think it probably should be cut. Hey, it's Albie. Albie has the decklist of the week right now. Yay. Maybe turn them into Phoenitria. Seems to follow our game plan. It does. I don't feel great about spending influence on ice. I don't know why. So we have Lat. We can do Whoredom, Above the Law, Subliminal. Yeah, let's try that. Let's rush. I think it's all... I think the all-in on R&D is a high slot machine, but I think it's not a consistently good playstyle. I think it's a playstyle that a lot of like new players like really enjoy because it gives results and it is exciting. I find myself, thanks you too, frustrated playing against it because it does just feel like slot machine Netrunner. It's just like, can you survive 7, 8 accesses on R&D, 10 accesses on R&D? If you can, you win the game. And almost regardless of what you do on the remote server, it doesn't matter as much. It's strange. So do we want to keep Descent on top of R&D and keep R&D safe this turn? That's the question. No, I want 2 credits. New remote server. Logjam was a better draw than Hornum. We can advance it once. Advancing it once is kind of, excuse me, fascinating. Because then next turn we can push the Atlas. I don't think we advance it once. We make it look like Rashida. Maybe we should advance it once. I'd argue having a new player-friendly strategy is probably good. Part of why P is in the game, arguably. Yeah, I could see that. Oh, Swift. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, I hear it. I think my complaints are not correct. Right? Like, I feel bad losing the slot machine R&D, but I think, yeah, it's good that there's like, oh, you can just get enough accesses and win R&D. It feels good for people. Oh, no agenda or no resource. We really need to go to, can I set up a kill here before every single action? Like, if we top deck at the end of the line here, we win. Imagine if we play hedge fund and hit the end of the line, we win. It's a Basalt Spire. Oof. Oof. Logjam over Whoredom with only 1 face-up card in archives? Yeah, I think so. We're not trying to have a long game. Top card? It's gone. I don't care. They'll be on 5. Where's my Descent, please? I think we draw now, so we don't have to kill this turn. We could have. Okay. I think we have to ice up R&D to some extent. They could maybe steal us above the law. Total tangent, but went back in the stream to see your thoughts on my Teia. Fun kickflip is that you can TPR ice La Costa on your turn if the agenda is installed already. You can't, Steven. We actually messed it up. There was a ruling that we got wrong. When you use TPR to install an ice to stall an agenda with a Teia, you cannot score that agenda on the same turn. We actually made a bad ruling on the day because a Teia has a thing, has a text. So you can't score out the agenda. So you can't really do it on your turn. Hey, Singer, really enjoy recorded streams. Yeah. Creative commission or dirty laundry, you can have the creative. We have 10 credits so we don't win until they feel so bold to not play into public trail and 3 cards into Wayland. Did they have 8 credits? I don't know if they had 8 credits. Well, this is a good above the law. I TPR'd the La Costa. Oh, in that game, the bacteria was already installed. Oh, that's way cooler. Okay. Okay. So you use TPR to install an ice to install a La Costa, res La Costa. Oh, that's why you were doing it at the start of turn trigger. Totally correct. Okay. That's what you're saying. Okay. So use TBR to install an ice to get the Lacoste on the table or the Cohort on the table, which you still have a window to res before the start turn trigger. Okay, good. I'm glad we didn't goof it. That makes more sense because I was trying to struggle why you needed to use that window. That was exactly why. Yeah, that was really good above the law value. That went from potentially very bad to incredibly good in 0.5 seconds. I'd argue it's still pretty bad when they have their ice suite set up and we have a logjam. Oh, subliminally, you're very, very nice. This is very good of you. So we can pivot, not for an agenda, mind you. We still have cards in the bin here. So do we pivot? Operation or agenda? Shit. I was going to pivot for like, yeah, kickflips. Yeah, it was really cool. So we always start with the subliminal to trash the top card of the deck. It's an Atlas. How many face-ups do we have in the bin? Event. So logjam comes in at 2 strength. That's terrible. Our opponent doesn't know that though. So we can draw, install, bluff. You don't trash it, then can trash after pivot. I'm not sure I follow. What are you going to do? Score the Atlas? Me wanting to score an Atlas? Yes. Okay. Start a turn. Oh, stop. Make it stop. Make it stop. Maybe we should play 3 Descent. We have drawn so many points. This is bad because it gets cards out of hand, but we just have to be brave. I'm a virus. Yeah, more like it's gone. So there's so many angles we lose here. Yo, Propeller. Yeah, Propeller's pretty cool. Double Fractor. Yeah, Propeller's good though. It breaks all the high stuff, strength stuff. Like it's nice in synergy. Checking archives. That's gonna be bad for us. Player plus Cleaver's flex. It's cool. So now we're threaded up. What do we add to hand? Like hedge fund would make sense. Descent is kind of funny. It means that there's agendas in hand, and I'm pretty sure Alpi will be like, why are you putting that? We're going to run HQ. Running archives here instead of HQ is really funny, but we have been trashing stuff and pausing. Fell into your trap powered by your logjam. Yeah, our logjam's good. So like, okay, grabbing the Descent is like the reasonable play. Me neither. But I think it would force pressure on HQ. I think I'm going to do it. I think the Basalt Spires are really bad in their hand right now. But like if Alpi sees that we added Descent, I think he just runs HQ here. Maybe we should have just gone for the hedge fund and said, whatever. We need some money. 6 credit econ card. Okay, SMC, nice. Probably has Clot. 4 cards in hand to 5. Grabbing Descent depowers logjam too. Yeah, it doesn't really matter that much into Propeller, but it is what it is. So Descent, expend. Done. It's a tree line. Getting the logjam tree lined is okay, but now the issue is like with Swift, we're gonna lose to either catalog or to more likely deep dive. So like that's a hard thing to fix. So we just have to force them to like misplay into end the line. It's very kind to install an SMC instead of running HQ. Flips in, yeah. Admittedly, maybe there's some respect against fast events, but hey, David, a little too busy today. Enjoy the stream contemporaneously, but I hope it's a fun one. Thank you, David. Hopefully you're doing well. Descent here could look like you need another ice, not the expend effect. Yeah, but having another ice into Buzzsaw seems really bad, right? Like if there was no Buzzsaw, I think the Descent is more like, but getting a Descent into a Buzzsaw seems kind of butt. There's a big difference between snapping Descent and stewing. That's true though. The fact that we stewed on the Descent choice makes it a fair bit more interesting. The problem though is like Alpi can just set up here. Maybe the Rashida is going to draw some attention, but probably it's just going to set up a deep dive. Yeah, overclock is kind of what you want. So we'll just res most stuff. Good evening. Hey, Simmer, how's it going? Okay. So it is a logjam. If we res this, we go down to 3 credits. 3 credits is a bad spot to be. How many subroutines will this have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't resist. A 4? Okay, I can resist. So that's only like 3 credits to break. Like that's why Propeller's kind of cool. 3 credits to break a logjam, right? Being down to 3 credits though, I don't think we're going to get deep dive this turn, but like maybe a trick shot here costs us the game. Maybe we don't res this because it's still overclock credits. Yeah, that was fundamentally very bad res. Unless we crack the border control. The question is, do we want... I think we crack the border control. Oh, it's even 4 cards with Cleaver. What the hell? Like, we just need to keep him busy here. I don't think we can build a remote server that is genuinely going to ever be taxing enough. So yeah, this is like the... Oh my god, we're punished so hard. I think what we did is bad, and then this is the punishment for it. We have 2 Basalt Spires in 52, and we've lost them in like every single game. That was not close. That was not even close. It's wild too. Like playing Swift over Onicom is kind of cool, and it is making sense thanks to the game. At no point in time were we in control, and I think this is a good deck. This isn't. We just can't do anything. 10 Axes again. Yeah, we did throw an agenda to archives. I think that 10 Axes even counts these like 5 cards that they saw. Yeah. They stole out the remote. They didn't steal out the remote, did they? I don't think. No, this is the first remote run. They never stole out the remote. Brutal. Really, really quite bad. Really, really quite bad. And Nuvem was okay. I need to retire this deck immediately. I don't know what's happening. This is not doing anything. It is not interesting. Sprint to even out the draws. Adding a singleton card to your deck to even out the draws to me is like, doesn't make sense. Should you throw the Spire into archives without a spin? Yes. I think you just hope. Because Spire in hand is also kind of bad. Lat 47. This hand is okay. It's just fundamentally because our deck is so big, getting the public trail combo together seems so hard. What about we play no ice and only operations? I'm not joking. What about if we play only operations and Nuvem every turn? Yeah, I think we'd rather have another descent than a sprint. And probably cut the oppos for planograms like we had before. Like just having more options is good. Thanks. Thanks. You too. As long as there's no support to Corp for self-trashing, it's at best a mediocre ID. It's surprising how little support there is for trashing. Like I thought we would see more Nuvem support. The Nuvem support cards are like kind of mid. Like Armed Asset Protection didn't get good suddenly. We thought it would. Okay, so we have an econ issue. Descent is a gain a credit, draw a card. It's like Mindscaping players light up. That seems like my value proposition. I'm kidding. I played someone at local CO last week and playing Mad Nuvem with no ice. Oh, only upgrades? Talk, how's it going, by the way? I think I'd rather do that in op. All right, Onicom Fermenter. So it's going to be harder to kill with Onicom for sure. All right, it's a slash. Let's draw once. Oh boy. I think we'll do Logjam Treeline. I think we'll expend this just to like get it out of our hand. We're not going to play another thing this turn, so like it allows us to control the top of R&D. So there's a good value to doing this. Hordem, more like gone. I never realized the Nuvem was 50-15. I'm glad that was clearly too powerful to be 45-15. Yeah, I don't know if it's like who knows if it'd be more powerful as 50, 49. I think sometimes it doesn't feel that bad to be that big, but only when you're firing ability a lot, which means just playing more operations, and then deck building gets a bit tricky. All right, it's a logjam. We have one face-up card. I think we just push the Atlas. Here, unfortunately, I have to click for credit. This is where we get bodied by like Trick Shot again. Actually, Arzen can run this. What are we doing? Like this basically says it's a Pharos. It's not a Pharos. This is a terrible play. Am I tilting? Oh my god. Oh my god. Can we concede? Are we allowed to concede now? If this is a Hordem? Yeah, how does Hordem get? So Hordem actually has, the subroutines have changed. There's too much jam. We've jammed too much. They'll defuse the Tobal out. It doesn't anymore. NSG reworded it. FFG Hordem would be diffused. Yeah, it's actually a really interesting thing. FFG Hordem actually gets eaten by Hush. NSG Hordem does not get eaten by Hush. It's like fundamentally actually a mechanics change of the card. The way that NSG reworded this. Raspberry jammed. Yeah, exactly. Wild. Well, we had a good game. Hordem has the alter subs, so you can know, yeah, can now be broken with AI. That's the only thing. But like old Hordem, for what it's worth, I want to pull this up, actually had the like do the additional subroutine text as part of text on the card itself. So it says, if there are 3 or more advanced host advancement counters, the runner cannot break this using AI. No, I have to read this. If there are 3 or more advancement counters, resolve the parenthetical text that used to be hushable text. It no longer is hushable text. The ability is added to the subroutines. It fundamentally is a mechanical change that NSG did. Back then it didn't really matter. Now it does. All right, well, he has Fermenter with 6 credits on it. Like, the difference between a bad deck and a good deck is kind of night and day. Hey, Gwen, got back from some sewing evening. Played some IRL Netrunner with a friend today. How'd it go? What'd you play? How's sewing evening, by the way? All right, we'll start with this. Oaktown off the top. Like, this feels so bad. Actually, we should trash it. We should just descend. I don't want an Oaktown. We'll descend next turn. We can get 2 more credits. Greed is good. Like, draw. Be cool. This deck is so happy to give you agendas all the time. All the time we give agendas. Eroded Wonder Dice is literally different. What the Alex, what the hell? You're not meant to check archives. Complains that the runner steals this many points this soon. Yo, what the heck, man? You're not meant to do that. Makes me sad that Magna doesn't counter Hush. No, it doesn't. Playing around Punitive now. Fire all. Which one is this? Trash or program? I don't think we can make these matter. Punitive kill, go. Great, still working on the starter decks with them, but it was like their 4th game and they beat me. Very proud moment. They'll be killing you with Seisenton in no time. Hell yeah. That's really good. That was short. Yeah, no, it's okay. So having a generalist idea, it's like weird. It's like with Asmari, this works, but with Nuvem, it doesn't seem like it works. And I think just on the basis, what happened? Oh, did he paint all of them? Oh, Lat has Link. Come on now. Aiming for the end of line now, it's impossible with Anacom. Not exactly impossible, like functionally impossible. Like 6 cards in hand, Anacom. Like, we should QQ. Don't mention it. So bad. No. Like, that turn, what did we do? Nothing. It seemed cool, but we functionally did nothing. We functionally did nothing. Oh god, the artist is here. Damn, I was actually going to install and Purge next turn. The fact that he cracked that turn's really good. The poke trails and end lines are so bad. They're really, really bad. They're very, very, very bad. Like, just going fast enough is not good enough. Obviously, this is the worst case. Like, imagine a 3 advanced logjam. Imagine. Draw. And the thing is, when he's on game point, like, he has no reason to run this server. Like, there's nothing in this server that can be that problematic for him. He doesn't have to run this. And that's a huge issue is when you're playing these sort of decks when you're behind. Like, it's hard for you to make them play. Hey, the artist. Make them play your game. Like, this hand sounds good. Oh, overclock. Let's go. Oh, our money. Probably shouldn't res the board control here, actually. I shouldn't have res that. SDS, it doesn't matter. You have 3 simulchip in your deck. Doesn't do it. You definitely shouldn't res the board control. I'm like definitely on tilt here. I'm not going to res this for 3. He might have wanted SMC there before he lost the 3 credits. I don't know if anybody expecting to trash there. Maybe a wall-to-wall makes sense. I don't know if we overinstall the Hush. I don't think we do. I think we're happy with the Hush being there. Got him. You ready for our remote server? How did know to Hush Logjam? It's a triple advance card. There's no triple advance card you don't want to hush besides hoard him. And I don't think people would like hoard him immediately. That being said, it would have been cool. But we tree lined it. So like there's 3 advances on it. It's either going to be Pharaohs, it's going to be tree line, it's going to be logjam. Like there's no reason not to. Draw last click. Oh god. Poke Trail Strike Fund for the Corp and R&D. Concern Doge? It kind of is. Oh, you see the advancements now? Yeah, it's underneath the hush. We triple advanced it. Yeah, it's not the hush strength. You're right. It kind of looks like it. Hush doesn't have a strength though. Look, this doesn't win us the game, but it's like a play I'm gonna make because I don't want to play this game. Like maybe there's some respect here for an archer we can't res or a Stavka. Like this play is so egregious. There's no way. Oh wait, he has a lot of money. Oh yeah, that'll do it. That will do it. We're good. We have double border control. We can trade our entire board state for the Soaktown. Actually, if we lose on R&D, it'll be pretty fitting. Let's be honest. Imagine if Hush had strength and need to interface to Blank and Ice. That'd be cool. I think NSG might have cornered themselves with Hush. They might have cornered themselves. Okay, so hear me out. We can trade 2 border controls. Literally the most amount of ice we could possibly have paid to get a single Oaktown renovation. Now you're probably wondering, Andre, how do you win the game from that point on? That's good. He should have done that immediately. That's a really good heads up play to pull the conduit before we border control him because we had a window there. We probably should have done it because there was actually money on the trick shot. We 100% should have done it immediately. We should have said action. We should have popped the border control. That being said, the conduit is just like not exactly rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, but you know what I mean? We're going to lose to that. So I think we just walk away. Can we try putting Harm on a remote next game? Jeff, it was meant to be a 7 strength log jam. It was meant to be so good. Good game. Game theory fell out the window there in the last round, let me tell you. Do we win if we do that? No, definitely not. Oh, man. Thanks for the game. That was a log jam. Yeah, we could have cracked the boarding control right away. That would have been the heads up play, but like we're so far behind. I'm not even doing anything. Yeah. Like whatever. Titanic chairs are just as dark as no legs. I think it's worse. What caused the D-res? It was never resed. There was no D-res. Yeah, we just tree lined it. It never went down. He just hushed it and on turn 1 ran it. Or turn 2. Hey, thanks. Good luck out there. Bodied. How are we doing on time? It's 3:30? Like, what the hell? What are you meant to do with Nuvem? Wait, there's some lists that we were suggested earlier. Some people put together some lists. We did not open them. Okay. Hold on. This is one of them. Okay. Cohort, Audacity, Government Subsidized Hedge Fund, Subliminal Messaging, Mavirus, Tucana, Drafter, Magnet, Tree Line. So our win condition is honest. It is score out in a remote server. This, mind you, is from Aku. We can try it. I'm really nervous when your win condition is ice. Obviously we have a Tucana, but like ice as a win condition to me doesn't make a lot of sense. Cohort's obviously a fair bit good. And in Nuvem is good. It's just like, it's one of the IDs in general in which we cannot protect it. So we have to ice it up, which is really, really difficult. 3 subliminal is fine though. That's kind of fun. But we're also running 9 agendas instead of 12, which is kind of okay. Is Hammer bad in a super modernism shell? Is it too expensive for the impact? It's hard to tell. It's like meta dependent. The tag clause we care about. This is okay. But like imagine drawing this as your first dice is obviously kind of trash. Some modernism decks in like the mid tiers of modernism life were like playing Colossus just because it was annoying. 11 operations feels low. I agree. 11 operations feels like we could play this out of any other ID and it might be a bit more consistent. Well, we'll try it. Like what? It's not like we have a better deck. That lad deck only has a single hush and it's on cleaver, so getting two big barriers going is, I think, the line. It's hard to do it under pressure. Yeah, we couldn't do it under pressure. And then we lost really quickly. You're pulling the conduit is really good, Alex. We definitely should have, if we were going to board control immediately. But again, at that point, the game's over anyways. Seamless Nuvem is the way. Frieden, how's it going? The only Nuvem we had any success with is this one, which was 3 seamless launch, 2 audacity, 3 slash and burn, because step 1 square out of Basalt Spire was actually okay. However, this feels so middle of the road in terms of like what the deck delivers. Like it doesn't feel like we're doing anything particularly interesting. It just seemed okay, which I think is my Nuvem problem. Like when I play Nuvem, it doesn't elicit any sort of reaction. But this was the only one that I could make sense. It was like jam on advanced Basalt Spire as soon as possible. Big deal Nuvem? Yeah, big deal. I don't know. It's like advanceable ice. I'm never going to be happy to be like, I score 5 points from hand. Got you. It's like, isn't the part of Netrunner? I don't know. I'm clearly losing, but like, what was this called? This is Aku's Nuvem. Nuvem. Yeah, I think that's like, unfortunately, one of the best things about Nuvem and Basalt Spire is it allows you to play big deal and just like do nothing and be like, oh, what are you gonna do? Trash it? I'll get it back eventually. And again, that's just another part of the design space I'm not think I like. Big deal into Shaper has some issues. It's hard to play around because you install and they have to do it just to advance and then they have to do it immediately. So it's on to you to make it more difficult to like call. I also don't think Claude is as prevalent as it used to be. I've been working on a Hermes DAO deck that uses Trick Shot and Cataloger. It's actually super fun. You can use those 4 cards to steal from R&D, bounce ice off a remote, and steal more. Oh, for sure, yeah. You said you're on Hermes, yeah, very good. Yeah, I also like expect us at some point to see like Cataloger Criminal. It's a lot of influence. Maybe twinning is just better, but like having that, you know, consistent as much as it's not that consistent. Hermes is like pretty good. Control Shaper decks seem like such gas, yeah. Oh, hell, heck yeah. Hey, Bombers. Okay, 45 card Hoshiko. It's probably not good for us. Been nervous playing against. Oh, don't be nervous. Hey, good luck, have fun. Good luck, have fun. All right, we're not going to keep this hand. All right, this hand is something. Against Hoshiko, we're going to try and calm down. So we're anti-tilting. We definitely want to ice both centrals if we can. However, because we're playing Subliminal, it's like kind of bad into Hoshiko because at a minimum, Hoshiko will run archives to get the card into credit and turn off Subliminal. So we'll start with this. It's a Subliminal. That's a perfect card to trash. Mind you, we're on 3 Subliminal. Let's see how that feels. It's definitely really good. Like I could see a 3 Subliminal Nuvem being okay because of, you know, the reasons. So the question is, what are our remote server ice? Magnet is good into Botulus. Hortum is good against Buzzsaw. We could do Tucan in their remote server Magnet. If we draw, it's an unknown card here. We can also ice R&D, which is clearly where the game is. So I think we can consider doing... It's just Magnet's worse into Buzzsaw than Hortum, so it's hard to say here because we don't know anything about our opponent's deck list. Hallman is secret Glacier card? I don't think it's a secret. Hallman's sick. We'll do something like this. Now this Tucana doesn't do anything, but our opponent doesn't know that. I think people try Pawn Shop Control Shaper again with Muse Coalescence, but I think the non-Pawn Shop version of Fermenters is still the better option. I think there's a big chance. Price, Daily Cast, Strike Fund, Moshing Diesel. Okay. Oh, how do they get money first? Oh, sure, Gamble. Okay, that makes more sense. Surprised they haven't seen new DAO decks on R&DB. It's such a fun combo, especially if you can steal 2 cards from R&D in the Trick Shot run. I think with the new cards, ooh, that's a good start. More players are like excited to play like Lobby Somu and Kit and stuff like that. And then people are trying Pawn Shop stuff. So Gwen, sometimes the more like, with all due respect, straightforward stuff gets kind of cast aside for a moment. Ugly draw. Again, our deck is inconsistent. Claude isn't prevalent right now as people are trying out their tech options, but it'll probably show up. Yes. Once the, like, we're in a kind of open meta. So I guess we'll Subliminal to start. It's a hedge fund. Do we want to draw hedge fund here? No. Clicklessly 2 hedge fund is good. Draw. So we need a second ice here. So the problem is if we do Rashida, it goes Hortum, Rashida. That's really bad for us. Your stream thumbnail is the last is your last VOD for me. Ilya, did I not change it? I might not have updated it. You're right. Sorry about that. I'll change it after, but yeah, I might not have put it to the generic one. That's not a good thing to not do. I think if we bank our in the Hortum and lose the Tucana, like that's okay. We could draw once here. We could slow down. I think we might want to slow down to do Rashida border control. I don't know if the run this clearly doesn't matter. Yeah, my YouTube stream thumbnail has pad. I know I forgot to change something. I probably forgot that. So trading 2 cards from hand, I think that's okay. Ideally, we draw an agenda and we do border control push from there. I was like, where's Pat? Oops. That's why you asked where's Pat. Oh, that makes more sense. Okay, it's on server 1. Okay, I think I'll trade 2 cards for that. I was baited hard into more Pat content. We saw Pat last night for the Eclipse Day. It was good. I was expecting Pat. Oh, my bad. Sorry about that. I did not know I didn't change it. I should do them more often. Just have a thumbnail that has like some, like, oh, your favorite celebrities here? Oh, they're not running it. So Twinning Mystic coming down. So they're going to be charging the turn after turn here. The Tucana, if they trash, it's fine. Knowing that we have an Audacity. Now, Rashida into an open HQ. So ideally, we draw something we can jam here. And then we border control this, get some ice on HQ. Winchester would be good. I don't know. I haven't internalized the ice suite yet. Okay. So Basalt Spire, we can score, never advanced. So we'll do Basalt Spire. We'll put a border control in there. I think Drafter on HQ is okay. It has the most subroutines. The other option is not Ice HQ. I don't think we have a lot of cards in hand that we could just try and get lucky here. Like Banhar's sometimes a bit tricky to use. Depends on what your cards in hand are. But like now this server, we have to res 2. That drops us down to functionally 6 credits. We get this for 7. But if we can Basalt Slash and Burn, it's pretty good. Then we can res Tucana maybe. Get a Winchester on HQ. Little Winchester. But they definitely want to play an event here. They could flip Hoshiko down. It's like Marvel Champions. They're going to go to Alter Ego mode. Oh, they should have labeled it Alter Ego and Hero mode. Then I would know what's going on. So I'm assuming this is like closer to like Sokka's list, I guess. I'd Arsa ND before HQ here. Yeah, maybe. I think the magnet's okay. Like our second ice will be on R&D. I just don't want him to run because of Subliminal. And I think we have an open HQ 100% run. And probably flush 2 as well. Ability count, 1. Here, let me get the thing for that. Shit, he's running archives. So trades a card for credit, turns off our thing though, which is actually worth something. So, ugly draw. We actually can't really Audacity this, because if we Audacity this, we now throw out the Atlas. The Atlas was the worst possible top deck. That being said, like the Basalt Spire, once you score it out, like getting the Slash and Burn back is kind of butt, because then it becomes the only card in hand, and that's really quite bad. This hand is rough. I don't know what to do with this hand. We can score it out. We can do Slash and Burn Audacity, advance. But then we can make what's our hand? Tucana? But what do we get with Tucana? Do it anyways. Hey, Martin. Is this deck capable of non-rough? I don't know. I found that like when you want Audacity, the worst thing you draw is an agenda. The remote might be safe, but we don't have a click left. Wolf 2 scores out. F it, Wolf 2 scores out. Logjam HQ, lol. I hope we have a Winchester. I'm not sure what the deck list is. Oh, I thought I was going to trash another Slash and Burn. Audacity, okay. We can see the top of the deck at least. Oh my god. At least Tucana will shuffle, that's fine. I laughed out loud. Yeah, it's not good. Our ability fired again. Do we say nobody expects triple advance on Hortum? Nobody expects triple advance on Hortum. So the question is, there is 4 points in archives. Like, what? Why did we do this? This was a terrible play. Great, you need 4 points to win. It's perfect. Yeah, we're definitely closer. We're definitely closer to having a bit more points. Do we do a tree line for 3 credits? Yeah, Descent is fine. Descent is like what saves us here. Because it lets us to fix if they can't run archives. I think Logjam on archives is kind of sick, but like we need a Descent here to win. I'm doing Logjam on archives. No, there's no way that's correct. I have 1, 2, 3-4 counters. It's something. Descent HQ. Descent HQ is not very good because then they just run archives. I think we do Descent archives. You can use Basalt Spire Drafter to keep your agenda safe. Yeah, I like Descent on archives the best because we have to survive one turn now. They could go through it and they'll just take one agenda. Mind you, we could Basalt Spire right now, but then they go into Drafter. So it depends where they ban Har. Like admittedly, yeah, if they ban or Descent, then Drafter is safe. So we'll see. Doesn't feel good. Feels really clumsy. They ban hard on deciding. He ban hard. I also don't understand why Nuvem's only on your turn. R&D. No, not the option we're thinking. Let's see how that goes. Buzzsaw. Okay, that's why we're cooked. Okay. So which agenda do we like better? That's the question. And honestly, it's probably Slash and Burn. Yeah, it's probably Slash and Burn, right? I like to send on HQ and pull a Slash and Burn at the end of turn. Yeah, I double dips on Nuvem in a way that I don't like. Yeah, maybe that's right. Maybe that's right. Wait, we don't trash the top. We did trash the top. It doesn't tell us what it was. It was a sandstone, I think. Atlas is easier to score, yeah, but I think we want to do Slash and Burn. Like Basalt Spire and Slash and Burn are very good synergy. Cleaver. Oh, Drafter last click. Throws up in mouth. Oh, you're right. If we did it right away, yeah. But then they would have put this on here. Okay, last click. How good is this Drafter for us? Like, I think we have to put the Slash and Burn in their mode server, right? So add a carve to HQ. Funny. Genuinely funny. Like, Slash and Burn is so good with Basalt Spire because you can actually fast advance 4-2s from hand. Maybe that's a good reason to add Atlas token. But, so we want to put the Slash and Burn in server 1. So Audacity doesn't do it. I think it's like Sublime Hedge Fund, probably. I think it's Hedge Fund. You can score S&B next turn if you grab Audacity. We won't have enough cards in hand. Right? Because we'll have 3. We could add the Descent back to hand. Pick up Descent. Yeah, hold on. Do we want to score out? I think Hedge is good. I don't think we want to score out an empty Slash and Burn. I think it's a utility piece. Like, I think we just do this in server 1. And then ideally we can overinstall it and like Descent back. So here we can pick up Descent. We should pick up Descent. There's no reason for us to ice archives. Okay, tree line. Good. If you grab the Atlas, you could have installed scored it. Yeah, but then we lose this from hand. We 100% lose the Slash and Burn. And then, well, there is no Atlas. It's gone. You can slow over the 2 turns. I think we have to. So it's border control Hortum. That's pretty good. He has Mystic credits. We can advance Audacity, score S&B now. But should we? I don't think we should. Maybe with Tucana we should. Don't think it's good, but it's a line. Yeah, I think we have to go for the good line. Because I think it's better for us to like hedge fund, put a ice on HQ, just so the Drafter has teeth. And then like, I don't know. Tree line the Hortum. You know you want to do it. With the bus on the table, I don't anymore. It does look cool though. We have to remember we just have constantly access to this Audacity in the bin. So I think we advance. I think we do advance. Oh, they know this is a Slash and Burn, right? If you're going to Audacity now, you should have just drafted the hedge fund. Yeah, for sure. I'd bluff the logjam. It's really funny to bluff the logjam. You think there's respect for bluff the logjam? I loved it. I really like it. So we can tree line the logjam. And then we do advance. That puts us on 7 credits. That's barely enough for this. We can't do that. I think we have to start with the hedge fund. Hammer. Oh, unfortunate. Fire 3 times. So I think we need to get the Descent on HQ. We advance this once. How do we make R&D better? We can't. We need the tree line on R&D and have to advance it. No, I don't think we have to ice HQ. What have we been talking about? This is fine. Why on Descent HQ to beta run? Yeah. So it protects us against Banhar, but I think you're right. We don't really care about Banhar that much. You can still single advance and tree line? Yeah, we can. But I think this 2 ice on the remote server is going to be scary enough. Oh, no. There's a ban-her. Maybe not. Maybe not. Now here, like if there's a Mystic Miami for like a daily, what's a Dirty Laundry or a Sure Gamble or a Strike Fund, we're in a bad spot. Probably can't double break Hordem. Yeah, it depends on what this Mystic does. If this Mystic does something good for Palmers, then it's a problem. If it doesn't, what did Mystic do last turn? I think he trashed an Echelon from hand on random last turn. We didn't pay attention to it. But the Mystic was at 3 because of the Atlas steal. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, they random trashed. Yeah, so they probably have an event in hand. Yeah, Miami trashed an Echelon. Okay. Any turn he doesn't run, we get 3 subliminals back. Like, it is a goofy amount of value. But unfortunately, like, this is the issue. I have a subliminal. It's like, why wouldn't you run every turn? Sometimes Sashiko doesn't want to run. But like, maybe we should just slow down and play like mid-range Glacier. There's a strike run for 4. Mystic still has issues. So now he can barely run this twice, nearly. Well, we got res everything. And now we have to crack the border control. Even if he steals his 2 Conifiers, so it's like not the end of the world. This is either a credit or 2 net damage. Okay, it's a credit. That makes a lot of sense. Hordem, this is 4 credits. So if we crack the border control, he can't go back. But unfortunately, the trade is slash and burn to Chicana. Probably worth it. Putting us on game point with Audacities in the bin. Yeah, and fires Tucana to ice up. I don't know, HQ. So here he needs an overclock. Get out. It's ours. We'll be on 1 credit. R&D defended. So here we like probably trash all this garbage ice and just Tucana and ice on R&D that will hold. I don't know what it is. We barely have enough money to like, I don't think we can get a long jam up, which would be sick. Could Ice Archives prevent free runs? I think he'll just like free run through HQ if he needs to. But like the problem is if we ice our archives, we have no money. He just runs R&D. Sandstone probably? Yeah, Sandstone probably. It's back. So we score this. Okay, so we're down to 1 credit. So the most we can res is a 4-cost ice. So we can get something probably on R&D. We need to get something on R&D. The magnet has no utility. Was it a second Echelon that was trashed? Oh my god. Oh, was it? Was it? Did Mystic just eat 2 Echelons? Yeah, that's really funny. The way I looked at this remote and said this is very safe and we're getting Sandstone here after BC pops. Sorry, Augustus? Winchester and R&D? Yeah, it's not the worst. It gets all our credits. I think Winchester and R&D is now actually like kind of okay. Like, for what it's worth, Hoshiko breaks it for 5 credits without a breaker. Not my proudest Mystic. Cleaver eventually gets through Sandstone. I think we actually do it. And we go down to 1 credit. And we just hold. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna do it because it's fun. Who needs money? Augustus thought we were playing op. Oh yeah, we're not playing op. It sounded like we were going to border control for Sandstone, but I think Jeff was saying the Sandstone comes off the Tucana. I was autopiling op lines. Yeah, exactly. And this is like the trade. It's like playing Nuvem and not playing op. It's a huge cost. Scoring from 0, totally fine. We can score from 0. We actually can score from 0, yeah. Because if we Audacity, we can gain 2 credits on the Audacity. So we can do install Audacity Advance. So if we top deck a 3-2, we win. I think we win. We don't even need Subliminal. We just play Audacity. It gains 2 credits because it's an operation. Lost Ashen Epilogue. Removed an Echelon. Wait, hold it. I didn't even figure out what happened. They Ashened just to get their Echelon back in rotation. They lost 1 Echelon. Yeah. Draw 5 when Mystics at 4 is totally fine. Like, this is a very heads up play. Playing Ashen when you're behind is just because you need to get a new hand is often correct. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Audacity's not terminal. 100%. Checking archives here, turning off our run. So if we top deck a 3-2, of which I don't think that. Oh, wait, actually, the deck has no 3-2s. Wait, this deck has no 3-2s. Oh, no, it has 2 more Atlases. Okay, never mind. It's not above the law. I could see why. Top deck a 3-2. Beans. Twinning. Yeah, 1 Echelon RFG. So there's 1 more Echelon somewhere. Draw. Draw. we win next turn? There's no way to win that turn right now. Install my virus and debate run. I'd rather have padding on HQ. You're right, it might be okay, but having it's a 2-card swing, because instead of installing my virus, we drew. So it's hard to tell what's right there. Maybe putting in the remote server is okay. I think when you understand the deck has access to Audacity, you don't really have a reason to run server 1 unless you think it's Rashida. We didn't need to click for credit. It might be better there to draw, but I don't know what we're drawing into. Yeah, but the problem is like it's either a 3-in-1 on HQ if we put the virus, or we could have hopefully made it a 1-in-5. Unfortunately, we made it a 2-in-5 instead. Banhars on HQ, that's very bad for us because they can run a twinning and we can lose. After 4 draws there, I think running HQ with twinning is 100% correct. How many Audacity and bin? What if they install Heliamphora? We have 2. They'd be messed up. Well, this is the run. Continue to encounter ice. 2 damage. Continue to movement. We Basalt Spire. And we hope you can fetch Audacity for more padding 100%. Now, if he steals this Basalt first, it fires, so we can pad HQ even further. Use Basalt now? Yeah, 100%. It's a bit telling. I think you would dump twinning, though, into the 3-card draw there. You can have... Doesn't matter, does it? Audacity, Atlas, Hammer. Oh, that was another bad reality. Do you have a paid ability window mid-access? No, you don't. As soon as you pass the last step where you ask access and you trade paid abilities, the only paid abilities you can use are the ones with the access stamp on them. RIP, yeah, this is pretty bad. Lol GG. Yep. He found his echelon too. Oh no, just top deck last Atlas? Yeah, it's a 1-in-26. Okay, so now we have to force the issue in the remote server because he has no money. This is where you play public trail. Why is it as soon as we get off the public trail into line deck, we have so many easy public trail into line setups? Don't look at our credit pool. It's important you don't look at the credit pool. I think we're Descent here. Hedge fund? I fired 4 times. Sick. Descent to shuffle Basalt back, yeah, for sure. And now we put something into server 1, and I think we just click for credit, and we hope that it keeps him busy. If only we had infinite credits here, we would have so many ways to win. Augustus, I'm already not doing well. I think you should maybe keep that in mind with your sassy comments before you say your really funny thing. I'm not feeling this idea, y'all. If only we had 3 credits. Yes, we would need 5 credits for that combo kill. 16 cards in archives that fired 4 times. What the heck? Channeling your inner Anner can trash them all. We've been trashing all the time, Aku. How's it going, by the way, Aku? This is your deck. It's just we Audacity does like a 5-card hand. Eric, Nuvem is kind of stinky, right? I think it's kind of stinky. It's just not focused enough to do a game plan better than any of the focused IDs. If you only always had 3 credits, that's true. If we only had 3 credits, the ID causes pain and suffering. I don't know if it's that bad. How was Cohort? Never seen it. Never seen it. Wouldn't do much for us. Yeah, sure. Technically, you shouldn't undo after you see the damage that's done. But I'm assuming they're going to play. Oh, that's cool. I don't think you need a trash Tucana here. Like, whatever agenda is, the game's over. So, like, clicking for a credit for the Tucana is whatever. Okay, that's better for us. I guess we didn't hit the steel skin. Lost them all. New one will be great in draft. Yeah, it's good with that, I guess. Oh my god. Well, we just haven't drawn one. There's 3 in 25. If we res this, they take 1 net damage. We know they have a steel skin, unfortunately. We're not going to do it. We're just keeping them busy. So we have 1 Atlas in 25. If we can top deck, we win. We've also now used the Basalt Spire token, so we can't do like slash and burn cycling to score slash and burn with a slash and burn. You don't need to trash this. I argue you shouldn't trash this. Having one more credit is way more important. I think that's to respect Rashida more than it is to respect the Tukana. I think that's smart. Play the steel skin. Love to see it. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so if we top deck a slash and burn, we can install it. We can slash and burn in Audacity. So now there's 2 and 24 that are game winning. So I'm just going to do credit hedge fund. Trash descent? Yeah, I think so. Now chill, place logjam, wait for tree line. We don't have time for that. There's a twinning with 2. There's a twinning with 2. We can't wait to advance our ice. Oh, God. All of them. Big win. Make it stop. Why do we keep last clicking drawing a Basalt Spire? It's like 2 turns we've last clicked drawn a Basalt Spire because we like trash the top card of the deck. It's like maybe it would have been better to draw the thing. Another trigger. Yeah, we're on 5. Steel skin. R&D is the mark. Okay. Nuvem is peak Wayland Ice. Sucks and Wayland Glacier never worked. Yeah, unless you go like real late game. But like I think the Nuvem that we have enjoyed is like 3 seamless, 3 slash and burn, 2 audacity. You just like rip it. Which like this deck is closer to that than the other bad Nuvem decks we played today, but not as close as you can go. We find the 3rd slashing fast event to 4-2. Yeah, for sure. But we also can lose on HQ here. So we've got that going for us. They're letting us fire? Yeah, that can't have been correct. I was like, wait, we just win. Yeah, no worries. The upside is that that doesn't need DRM to get the Basalt Spire in hand. Yeah, so true. Oh, man. I'm excited for the rotation to Wayland where FFG goes. No outfit, no border control for op. Eric, what the hell, man? I like border control. So they're going to see 3 here, so there's only like a very small chance we don't lose. Oh, no, actually, they could steal a slash and burn, I guess. We only lose a win condition. Not the game. Hoshiko eat other ice. Why is the drafter on HQ? We had a really ugly opening. Hoshiko's trashed no ice. We've trashed 2 of our own ice. 3 factions on each side is nice symmetry. I guess so. Am I worried about card draw or money? I'm worried about card draw. Well, that happened. That's a really cool thing we got going for ourselves there. Access 3 out of 5. Okay. Not cool, not cool, not cool, not cool, not cool. It's a damn roller coaster, this one. You think you're out of the woods, and there's just more trees. Just more trees in every direction. Okay, what can we do? I don't understand this deck. No. This has not been kind to us. HQ looks safe? Yeah, until we draw once more. Get out of there. Why is it playing 3x slash and burns on all these 5/3s? So you can never advance, Jeff, I imagine. It's also in 3 audacities, right? This is Aku's list. I don't know if it's refined. That's what Aku's playing. That's cool. Aku shared it. But I think it's hard because like I think playing Basalt, but if this SDS was like an above the law, I have like a 73% win rate. I'm not the biggest JNet win rate believer. Top deck the Atlas. We gotta survive twinning lock with no shuffle in sight. What's the clicker doing? Axu. It's every time that we fire Nuvem. We've got, I think, 12 credits so far. Good luck top decking Atlas. Yeah, we're now locked. Like we iced HQ. Arguably a bit better to logjam R&D, I imagine, because I think our opponent thinks HQ is safe. 6 trigger to 12 credits. Build a better world sobbing. Hey, Cobalt, and crying. Yeah. Or we could like have gone for bad publicity clicklessly, but I don't know. Unseen, nothing. There are the agendas. 3 Project Atlas, 1 SDS drone, 2 slash. It's 2 slash and burn? Oh no, it's 2 slash and burn? Fuck. Okay, we can't win anymore. It's 2 slash and burn. I thought it was 3. Oh, we literally can't win. There's nothing we can draw besides the last Atlas that we can fast advance. Oh, we're cooked. Because like, welcome to the late game where like a turbine will eventually come down. Like we just have ice. Ice doesn't win. 3 was a bit much. 3 is like the reason you play Nuvem, I think. But we literally have one tool to fast events out. Just bluff another virus they ignore. It's our only line. But the problem is like, oh, I guess we could like push the slash and burn, but then we do double advanced audacity. Yeah, I guess so. But like, why wouldn't they check it? It cost them arguably 2 net damage. Oh, it's here. Okay, so in context, the Kuleshov effect. They've seen this from the top of the deck. So this is obviously what's in the remote server. So they're not going to trash an RD. Why would they trash in their remote server? Gotta just build the remote? Yeah, with this hammer? Doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything. You gotta keep in mind the Kuleshov effect at all points in time. Whatever the last image the runner has seen is going to affect what their next play is. Because all the images are related. Hammer 6 to break. Don't break it. Doesn't do anything. Oh, it kind of does something. Okay, I take it back. I'm a bit of a creative myself. Oh no, now we lost. But why? It's the cohort. You don't have to do that. Respect. Respect. But you don't, well, trust me. You can't let that Tucana fire. There's no way you can let that. Oh no. It looks like it's not enough ice. Aku, it's not that there's not enough ice. It's just that the ice doesn't do enough. Right? Like, ice doesn't win games in Netrunner. Currently, all the Wayland decks I feel like I'm playing are like, I hope this ice is good enough soon enough to keep the runner out. At some point in the game, the runner doesn't have to do anything but click for credits, and the ice does not scale well enough to make that a win condition, unless you can jam turn after turn after turn. So that's the problem. Like if we got a log jam, admittedly that's the best ice we have here. Like we have to push for a remote server. But like, it's safe for about 8 turns. Against a lot of standard decks, it won't be. Ice does add up, yeah, but when you're, you know, this far behind, and then you have to protect all centrals, like I don't think it adds up. Like we don't have the economy to res and install that much ice with that much click compression to keep ahead of a runner putting off this much pressure. Running clicks for credits, you say? The artist can... Yeah, you're onto us, not dead. You got to install it for 5 though, so I don't know. All of our ice gets broken for 2 credits with turbine. It's a joke. Yeah, all our ice does get broken for very few credits. This is the best ice we have right now. Okay, remember the Kuleshov effect? Oh, we have no more slash and burn, so we have to literally install advance. So this is 5. So this is broken for 6 credits. This is broken for 4 credits. It's like something. But like the deck, I don't know. Like the best draw we could have here is border control. And we could do border control, install advance. I think we have enough money for that. We're on 3 border controls, right? 2 border controls. Bummer. Install ice advance. It's the best we have. It's just like they have to hope this is not a border control. But the thing is like, can we res this ice and do anything? Probably not. Can they run HQ and win? Probably. Bluff and NGO? Yeah, bluff and NGO is the thing, but like... Install advance. I still think they run it or they pinhole it or something. Like, if the game plan's bluff and NGO, I don't know. Advance audacity? It doesn't win. We have to do advance audacity the following turn, yeah. So we do install advance here. The hammer also, like, we have to res it because in theory they just log jam. Like Banhar gets through log jam for 3 net damage. We're learning SI stands for sucks ass. Oh man. Yeah, like we have to res this. Like that's also the issue. Is like, how are you making your ice matter on the remote server? Like we functionally have a 1 ice remote server. It's a Hordem because they can always go through logjam. Something awful. Right, I guess we have to res this. If this was a border control, we actually could get out of here because border control beats this, and then we have 2 credits. We do advance audacity. Actually, if this survives, we do still win because we can do audacity advance. They have to run this. No reason to trash the Tucana there. Both players on match point. Oh, I didn't realize they trashed it. Yeah, you definitely don't trash the Tucana. This is done. Yeah, it's over. It's okay. We'll try it again. I don't know. What time is it actually? 4 or 7? Yeah, we can try one more. I have a thing at 5. Hey, good game. Bodied. Really, really bodied. Look at this. Corp, 42 credits. Gained. Runner, 80. We fired our ability 6 times in 12 turns. Aku, apologies. This is not meant to be like an attack on your deck. I think I would change it a bit for sure, but like it's hard. It's really hard. It's just trying to make your ice line up. And like if a deck is just ice, does genotyping trigger Nuvem? Yeah, any operation does, right? Oh yeah, but a Banhar. A Banhar is all you need. I can't double ice anything. No worries, mate. I'm with the suggestions. Yeah, I don't have any suggestions. I don't think Cohort is it. Right? Like, there's no reason they shouldn't trash this. Having uniced assets is really bad if you're trying to play Subliminal. What it does for you is not that great. I think if you want to do anything to make this more consistent, like, you probably want to have some sort of weird defensive upgrade so they get through. I don't think the money is enough. Like, I do think the agenda suite with all the 5/3s, I'd rather play more things that we can score out. Like an above the law would actually be impactful. If we had another 3/2 and we could draw, like if we could draw into last Atlas, we win. So like Slash and Burn is just so good with 3/2s that it's hard not to play as many 3/2s as you can. Yeah, yeah. I think that actually might be it for today. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm like, I have sessions from like 5 to 9:30, so I don't think I can play another game and then have a chance it goes to 4:30. All the remaining ones in RD agendas? When you saw 3 on HQ, I had 5 cards, 2 agendas. You missed both of them somehow. As usually winning with over advancing Atlas. Yeah, I think you can win games with this. I just I don't know if it's the most consistent route to do it. Yeah. Yeah, unlucky. Damn, that's lucky. Yeah, right. There's a difference. If you score an Atlas with a counter, right? Like your combo deck is set up, which is kind of why I like. Like, I think the only Nuvem deck I so far played that I really enjoyed is running like 3 Seamless, 3 Slash and Burn, 3 Atlas, 2 Audacity. Just because you're right. If you get Atlas tokens, you can chain them into chain them into chain them. And I think that is one of the strong things you could do. And does Nuvem do it better than anyone else? Honestly, maybe not. Thanks for being, hey, thanks for sharing it. Thanks for the game, eh? All right. Sorry about that, Nuvem. So, some bookkeeping stuff. Very importantly, Thursday night, I believe we're going to be joined by Eric Hayden from Neon Static. Cheers. To do some like coaching stuff on stream because we are playing together in the team tournament for Mansion Runner. Mind you, Mansion Runner is next week and I'll be gone for Mansion Runner. So next week we'll lose a Thursday stream. I'm hoping I have a bunch of like things to do before I pop out for like a couple days. Hopefully we'll have a video playing some Teia on the channel in the near future. Hopefully a deck dive. That'd be sick. I'd like to get that out next week. I'll probably schedule it for Thursday, even if I'm not here. That's the ideal goal. But yeah, next Thursday won't be a stream. This Thursday will be a stream. We'll have Eric Hayden there. Did you know Fight Club Finals is happening on Saturday? No, I have no idea. I don't know how to follow Fight Club. I'll be honest. I don't know where it gets updated besides the Fight Club channel. Who's in the finals? When is it on Saturday? I think it's on Axie's channel, I imagine. We didn't really do the news. In terms of news, again, the AMT was this weekend. Some stuff going on for sure. Well, that's my news section. Whoops. There is an update to like the organized play rules. I don't know if there's anything that's structurally that different, but it's just like more spelled out. Organized play policies update. Shout out to Jeff and Jeff's team. It looks like the updates are spelled out about like, you know, some like kind of reasonable stuff with shuffling. I think the big thing is they changed how many rounds for a single-sided Swiss tournament. I know when we ran Can-Nats, we had way too many rounds because the recommendations weren't perfect yet. I think they're a lot better now. Probably perfect. I don't know. I haven't checked them out, but I have no doubt they rolled them back. 9 a.m. UTC on Axu's channel. Who's Axu? Axu? That's really cool. The news, oh, next flight at EMEA. Andrea, yeah, huge. Actually, I had that tab open. This is a really big one. So while we're gone next weekend, the weekend after on the 27th of April is the fly to EMEA. So a bunch of the folks from the Italian Meta, they're, mind you, running the European in-person Continentals in Bergamo, Italy, I believe in June. And they're running 3 of these tournaments. They are online tournaments in which people are coming together. The first one happened a couple weeks ago, I think also on Axu's channel. And it's an all-day standard event in which, oh, that's a cool Dr. Nuka, in which money is being raised and that money is going into a prize pool, and that prize pool is being used, well, not exactly prizes, but is being used to help fund people as a way to get to Bergamo to play. in June. So the second Fly to EME8 tournament will be on this channel. It'll be streamed on the 27th. So that's not this Saturday, not next Saturday, the Saturday after it. So that'll be here. So if you want to get involved, I don't exactly know what registration is, but they are raising some money. There's some really cool prize support associated. We already have some like really good players setting up. The last event was a super competitive event as well. So there'll be more stuff coming up real soon. Rita, Levi, Montalcini, Dr. Nuka by Prenic. Oh, this is a Prenic. Of course it is. Oh, really fun. I really like Prenic stuff. When you install this resource, load 2 pack hunters. I don't know who that is. And a teeny from my wife. Oh, super cool. Claudia Pintore 2024. Good frog. D says this weekend is banned team versus unbanned. Decks are there. D, unfortunately, your link gets eaten by the internet security, so it doesn't show up anywhere. I can't share them. Famous Italian scientist and science educator. Who's that? Rita Levi Montalcini. Rita Levi Montalcini. Oh, cool. Yo, that's sick hair. Earned a Nobel Prize. IPA guide, thank you. Awarded 1986 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine jointly with colleague Stanley Cohen for the discovery of nerve growth factor, NGF. Really cool. Passed away 30th of December 2012 at the age of 103 from Italy. Alma Mater University, Turin. Oh, super cool. Really, really, really cool. Anyways, that'll be up here. If you want to get involved, find out more. I'll know more about the format and all that sort of stuff in the near future. I know I need to talk with the organizer sometime soon, but we will be streaming that on the 27th. Thanks for shouting that out, Andrea. On that note, I think that's it. We'll be back on Thursday. We'll be playing some structured lesson stuff with Eric, and I think that's it. Enjoy the tier list. Mind you, the tier list went up. You can watch the runner side on the channel, and then on Tuesday, or sorry, on last Friday, you have it up, the corp side on Jeff. It's already up. Go to Jeff's channel. Go watch it. It's great. I think that's it. I want to give a huge shout out to folks that help support the channel on Patreon. Mind you, we are entirely supported by Patreon. Today, or this week, shout out Christian, joining that Sure Gamble Club, actually going up from the Daily Cast Patreon. I don't have the name updated here. Apologies, my render time has been for that last 3.5 hour video. We're going to update that soon. And also a huge shout out to Damian Stark, who joined on the Daily Cast here. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. Again, being able to take a Tuesday off just to hang out and play some bad Nuvem decks. Sorry, Aku, that's not an attack at you. I'm in my decks, not your decks, excuse me. We really would not be able to do that without the sort of support. So thanks so much. Thanks for streaming. Looking forward to 1.1.62 deck list of the week next week. I won't be around for Thursday, but the sort of like goofy draw your whole deck decks are actually kind of interesting. And I really like Tuno's Meeting of the Mind for like infinite credits deck as much as also the the run R&D see multiple cards one makes sense. What's the different color rings on these? Seniority. It's about like bronze is relatively new. I believe silver is 6 months and then gold is a year. So there's a lot of folks who've been supporting this channel for a really long time, and I incredibly appreciate it. I need to update them every once in a while. I don't think I'm like, once you hit the next threshold, am I like as quickly updating it? So I do it every once in a while. But yeah, it's a thing I added. I don't know. There's a lot of people that have been here for a while, and I wanted to like give them something nice and shiny. Maybe a colorful graphic will do it. That's it. Thanks so much for hanging out. We'll see you on Thursday. Cheers.